Your childhood sweetheart, a big star, said that she would agree to be with you as long as you confessed your love. After 10 years of struggle, you finally said, "I love you." And after sending this message, you jumped from the rooftop of a 1,000-meter-high building without hesitation or fear of death. After all, death is already commonplace to you, because you are forever locked in August 25, 2023. As of today, you have repeated this experience 999 times. You are really numb at this moment. You are still falling, but the phone in your hand suddenly vibrates. Where are you? This news surprised you a little. In hundreds of thousands of cycles, you have confessed to John 11 countless times, and John 11's response was either teasing or joking. Only this time, John 11 actually asked you where you are, but you still didn't care too much because you were about to fall to the ground. Where are you? You smile bitterly. You are in hell and in prison. After an unknown amount of time, the piercing alarm sounds. You close your eyes and subconsciously want to pick up your phone to turn off the alarm. Because the same day keeps repeating, you have no way to cancel the alarm in advance. You will be woken up at 6 o'clock every day for a while. You begin to doubt your life. Why did you set such an alarm on August 25th? Which made you unable to sleep in every day. But today, when you reached out your hand, you were stunned because you didn't touch the bedside table, let alone the phone. How could this be possible? You have done this set of actions 999 times, and it is impossible to make mistakes even with your eyes closed. You opened your eyes in a daze and sat up from the bed. But the scene in front of you shocked you even more, because you were staying in a hospital room. At this moment, you feel like you are going to stop breathing. You quickly check the time on your phone and see it is 6 o'clock. And the date is August 260, 2023. Instantly, tears well up in your eyes. You have escaped from the cage that has held you for more than 800 years. But you are not sure if it will repeat itself today. When you calm down, you realize that someone is sleeping beside your bed. This person, who you are very familiar with, is your childhood sweetheart John 11. At this time, John 11 had a nightmare. She dreamed that you died again. And this time you died in front of her. Yes, you died again. Because John 11 was reborn once in high school. John 11 was discovered by a scout and became a well-known traffic star. Until then, John 11 gradually lost the chance to meet you again. In the previous life, on August 250, 2023, John 11 had just finished filming a movie and took advantage of the holiday to go back to her hometown, Zhangye City, to visit her relatives. She wanted to give you a surprise. But that night, she received the news that you had committed suicide. Since that day, John 11 has become taciturn. Even when she is in a scene and her acting is smooth, she becomes cold as ice. After leaving the set, she only talks to herself a few more words when she visits your grave. 10 years later, John 11 stood on the Oscar podium. Her acceptance speech consisted of only a few words. "I once promised my lover that I would become the most popular actress in the world. Now I have finally done it and I can finally meet him." At night, John 11 jumped off the stage. But when John 11 opened her eyes again, she found that she was reborn on August 250, 2023, which was the night you died in your previous life. However, before John 11 came to her senses from her rebirth, she received a message from you. 11, I love you. John 11 realized something was wrong, and she hurriedly sent a message asking where you were, but got no response. John 11 panicked. She was afraid that you would leave her again. She rushed out of the Century building where she was trying to find you, but found that you were lying quietly on the ground in front of the door of the Century building. Unharmed, John 11 quickly sent you, who were unconscious, to the hospital, and stayed with you until you fell into a deep sleep. Suddenly, John 11 felt someone hit her head, which startled her awake. When she woke up, the first thing she saw was you, who had woken up and was sitting on the bed. At this moment, John 11 burst into tears that she had suppressed for 10 years. "Alive, you are still alive." She suddenly threw herself into your arms and cried like a child. However, you were in a trance, because you had never seen John 11, who was like a tomboy in front of you, actually have such a sentimental and fragile side. You didn't know that John 11 had been reborn. And you just thought that she was too worried about you before. You hugged 11, who was crying in your arms. "Why are you crying? This is not my brother 1's style." "I'm fine, don't cry." Good. In fact, you also wanted to cry in the 300 Zaro repetitions. You confessed to John 11 countless times. John 11 told you that she wanted to travel around the world. And you agreed. John 11 told you that she wanted to visit Disney. And you agreed. John 11 told you that she wanted to have a little girl in the future. And you agreed. John 11 once had a face full of longing and made countless requests to you. But you never fulfilled any of these promises to John 11. Because no matter how far you and John 11 have progressed the day before, everything will be reset to zero the next day. You simply cannot accompany John 11 forever. This feeling of powerlessness is like a knife stabbing your heart again and again. You bury your head in Zhang Wanwan's tight hair and whisper in her ear. Wanwan, I love you. Zhang Wanwan was crying loudly. And you spoke very softly. Zhang Wanwan, who didn't hear clearly, raised her little face and looked at you with misty eyes. What did you say just now? You said, Brother Wan, you really act like a woman when you cry. You wiped Zhang Wanwan's tears after you said that. Zhang Wanwan calmed down a little after all. Most of her emotions were released when she met Shen Feng last night. She pushed Shen Feng away, her almond-shaped eyes widening. You are the one who looks like a woman. Your elder brother didn't cry at all. He just had a brick in his eye, do you understand? Well, Chen Cheng smiled doubtingly and rubbed Zhang Wanwan's head again. Zhang Wanwan slapped Shen Feng's hand away. She always felt that there was something wrong with the Shen Feng in front of her. In her memory of her previous life, Shen Feng was just a little follower who always followed her around. He has a stable and easygoing personality, is honest, and even has a little low self-esteem. It's all thanks to Zhang Wanwan's protection. This is also why Zhang Wanwan was given the nickname Wanji. As a result, Shen Feng now doesn't look honest at all. He even touched her head like she was his grandfather. Could it be that I was in a coma last night and my brain was damaged? No, I have to go find a doctor to check you out. Zhang Wanwan said this and was about to go out again. Shen Feng hurriedly stopped her. I know my own body very well. I am definitely fine now. Your body is fine. I'm looking for someone to check your brain. Zhang Wanwan said. Shen Feng, I don't think there's anything wrong with my brain. No problem. What were you doing lying in front of Century Building last night? You were lying so peacefully, as if you were dead. I don't believe you fainted while passing by there. Zhang Wanwan's words made Shen Feng raise his eyebrows. Lying at the door of Century Building? He picked up his phone and checked WeChat. In the chat history with Zhang Wanwan, Zhang Wanwan's last reply to him was, "Where are you?" It matches his memory of last night. But he clearly attempted to jump off the building last night. So why did he end up lying peacefully at the door of Century Building? Shen Feng thought about it, but came to no conclusion. I just don't want to think about it anymore. Anyway, what happened to him before was magical enough, so this is not a big deal. But in the end, Shen Feng couldn't resist Zhang Wanwan and was forced to undergo a full-body examination. The result is, very healthy. There's nothing wrong with my brain. For some reason, Shen Feng felt that Zhang Wanwan's expression was a little regretful. Shen Feng smiled and asked, "There's nothing wrong with my brain." You seemed disappointed? Zhang Wanwan, yeah, I was hoping your coma would make you smarter. What a pity. Shen Feng. Although he was speechless, Shen Feng still had a smile on his face. A repetition of the cycle 300,000 times once made Shen Feng's emotions numb and even ruthless. Only when he stays with Zhang Wanwan will he feel like a normal person. Now that he has broken out of the cycle, Shen Feng feels very happy looking at Zhang Wanwan, who is more lively than before. Hey, look, isn't that Zhang Wanwan? It seems so. Who is the man next to her? He looks quite handsome. Is he her boyfriend? I haven't heard that she has a boyfriend. Wow, did you see some explosive news? Take a picture now. There are many people and eyes in the hospital. When Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were about to leave the hospital, they saw several young people pointing in their direction. Zhang Wanwan realized that she had forgotten to bring her sunglasses and mask. She and Shen Feng are both in college now. When she was in high school, Zhang Wanwan became famous for filming several dramas. In recent years, Zhang Wanwan can be considered a second-tier star. He is still somewhat well-known in the circle of young people. Shen Feng also saw those people pointing and talking. He thought about it and decided to keep some distance from Zhang Wanwan. Pretend to be a stranger, or a cousin or something like that. Shen Cheng remembered that Zhang Wanwan cared a lot about her celebrity status. She also solemnly promised Shen Feng that she would become the most popular actress in the future. To this end, Zhang Wanwan has been working hard. So she cares a lot about her reputation as a star. Every time Zhang Wanwan goes out to play with Shen Feng, she dresses up like a dumpling. Whenever you go to a bank, you'll be treated as a suspicious person and be watched by security. Although Shen Feng has already made up his mind that he wants to grow old with Zhang Wanwan, but in the long cycle, he had long understood that loving someone does not mean holding her in your hands all the time. It's about making her happy and letting her do whatever she wants. Therefore, if Zhang Wanwan just wants to be a good star now, Shen Feng is willing to be patient for now. He had endured it for a long time anyway. But just as he was about to distance himself from Zhang Wanwan took a step towards him first. Tilting his head, he asks softly, "Fengzi, let me ask you something. A WeChat message you sent me last night, was it from your heart? Or were you provoked by something?" Shen Feng was stunned. Only then did I realize that what Zhang Wanwan said was, "I love you." After hesitating for a while, Shen Feng said, "If you can accept it now, then it is the truth. If you don't want to accept it, as treat me as being stabbed. Shen Sheng hadn't finished speaking yet. He paused for a moment. Because Zhang Wanwan had already pulled his arm in a very manly manner and held it in her arms. Then, he said loudly to the stunned passersby with a smile on his face, "I'll give you a big melon. Let me introduce you, this is my boyfriend." Chen Sheng was dumbfounded. Is this still the Zhang Wanwan who takes public opinion extremely seriously and acts like a thief when she goes out with him? Even in 300,000 cycles, he had never seen her like this. What are you still standing there for? Are you waiting to be photographed? Run. Zhang Wanwan, with a smile on her face, suddenly pulled Shen Feng and ran out. And those onlookers who were as dumbfounded as Shen Feng finally reacted. When they discovered the huge melon, they all screamed and frantically took pictures with their mobile phones. When they chased out of the hospital gate, they were shocked to find that Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng were no longer on the street. Breaking news, popular young actress Zhang Wanwan's love affair is exposed. Iron Hammer. Zhang Wanwan went in and out of the hospital with a strange man. Zhang Wanwan is suspected of being pregnant and having an abortion. When Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng were panting, hiding in a small alley and taking out their mobile phones to check Weibo. Several trending searches have already ranked in the top 50 on Weibo. Zhang Wanwan panted heavily, patted Shen Feng's arm and boasted proudly, "How about your brother Wan's popularity? It's only been less than 5 minutes and there are already so many trending searches." Shen Feng patted her head lovingly, "Yes, my eldest brother is the best." Then he pointed at Zhang Wanwan's phone. "But brother Wan, do you want to answer the call from your agent?" Zhang Wanwan then noticed that a call popped up on the phone in her hand. The note is, "Agent Sister Lin." Zhang Wanwan's expression froze. With trembling hands, she clicked the answer button, turned on the speakerphone, and said hello softly. And then, "Hey, uncle, Zhang Wanwan, what are you doing to me? Didn't you ask me for leave to go back to Zhonghe City to visit relatives? What's going on with this trending search?" Looking at Zhang Wanwan's increasingly embarrassed expression, Chen Feng couldn't help but laugh again. This girl is still so afraid of her agent. Zhang Wanwan waited until the person on the other end of the phone finished yelling before she said softly, "Sister Lin, visiting your husband should also be considered visiting relatives, right?" Sister Lin yelled, "Husband, what nonsense are you talking about? When did you get married?" Forehead. Zhang Wanwan was silent for a moment. She glanced at Shen Feng, then said into the phone, "You may not believe this, but I'm getting married in an hour." "Okay, Sister Lin, if you have anything to say, talk to me later. I have something to do here, so I'll hang up first, bye." Zhang Wanwan finished this sentence without any punctuation marks in one breath. Then she immediately hung up the phone. He also blocked Sister Lin's cell phone number. Only then did he let out a long sigh and wipe the cold sweat from his forehead. He turned around, looked at Shen Feng, and pushed him. "Is your household registration booklet where you are staying? What? Get a marriage certificate, did you think I was just joking?" Weibo is quite lively today. Photos of the popular young actress Zhang Wanwan entering and leaving the hospital with a strange man were exposed early in the morning. One stone can cause 1,000 ripples. I have to admit that Zhang Wanwan is indeed very popular now. She is beautiful and has good acting skills. After filming several popular online dramas, Zhang Wanwan is still not as good as those real top-tier and first-line actresses. But among second-tier stars, he is already considered quite popular. Moreover, Zhang Wanwan has almost no negative information about her, making her a breath of fresh air. So when this news broke out today, almost everyone who follows the entertainment industry was shocked. Those female celebrities who are Zhang Wanwan's opponents paid professional trolls to stir up trouble. Those trolls who wanted to discredit Zhang Wanwan but couldn't find any dirt on her also took the opportunity to stir up trouble. There are also many marketing accounts taking advantage of the situation. Although Zhang Wanwan is not as popular as the top stars or first-tier stars, how could these marketing accounts miss the opportunity to ride on the popularity of the celebrities? And at this time, Zhonghe Municipal Civil Affairs Bureau, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, the two hotly searched parties, just received their marriage certificates and left the Civil Affairs Bureau. Zhang Wanwan, wearing a mask and sunglasses, held the red book in her hand high. It's like appraising a treasure, putting it under the sun and looking at it over and over again. Finally he laughed out loud foolishly. "I feel like it's really like a dream." Shen Feng also laughed. He also felt like he was dreaming. Unexpectedly, after he broke free from the shackles, Zhang Wanwan suddenly became proactive. Zhang Wanwan, who originally cared a lot about fans and traffic, not only directly confirmed the relationship today, had also made it public. "And I brought him here directly to get the certificate." This made Shen Feng feel a little regretful. After going through 300,000 cycles, Shen Feng felt that he should become more proactive. He didn't expect Zhang Wanwan to be more proactive than him. That won't work. With a sudden thought, Shen Feng suddenly approached Zhang Wanwan. He lowered his voice and said, "Wanji, what are your plans after getting the certificate?" Shen Feng wants to invite Zhang Wanwan on a date. At this time, Zhang Wanwan was posting on Weibo. After hearing Shen Feng's question, Zhang Wanwan said seriously, "I'm planning to escape. You can go and read my Weibo yourself." Shen Feng took out his cell phone and opened Zhang Wanwan's Weibo homepage. At a glance, I saw the first pinned Weibo post. Zhang Wanwan. I saw a rumor online saying that I have a boyfriend. Let me clarify that it is not a rumor. Picture. Posted 1 minute ago. The accompanying picture is the little red notebook in Zhang Wanwan's hand. Shen Feng. He suddenly wondered if Zhang Wanwan was upset by something. Zhang Wanwan was a little too brave today, wasn't she? Then Zhang Wanwan is now muttering to herself. When Shen Feng heard it, he realized that she was actually counting down. 4,321. The moment the countdown ended, Zhang Wanwan's phone rang. An unfamiliar number. Zhang Wanwan pressed the answer button, rambling lie. Zhang Wanwan, are you crazy? Explain to me right now. Also, if you hang up on me again, I'll go to your house with a knife and chop you up. Even though the speakerphone was not on, Sister Lin's loud voice reached Shen Feng's ears through the receiver. Zhang Wanwan held her phone far away. She said helplessly, "What do you need to explain? I just got the marriage certificate with my boyfriend. Didn't I tell you before? Fuck you, you really pissed me off. I just found an excuse and found a team to write a PR article for you. But before the PR article is finished, you posted a Weibo like this. Why don't you go up to the sky and stand shoulder to shoulder with the sun? Because it's hot." Shut up. Sister Lin was furious. He did this behind the company's back. Do you know how much of an impact this has on the company and you? Zhang Wanwan. I'm asking you a question. Speak up. Zhang Wanwan, you just told me to shut up. Sister Lin almost passed out. She took a deep breath. After calming down, he said, "Zhang Wanwan, do you know what people are saying about you online now? They say you're dating a rich guy. They say you're being kept by a rich second-generation guy. They say you're dating a rich guy. In short, they say all kinds of things. Many of your opponents took advantage of the situation and blackmailed you. Now all the news is negative about you. I had already thought of the PR. I just said you were accompanying a friend to the hospital and played a joke on the fans. But you just showed me your marriage certificate and ruined my PR. Zhang Wanwan, tell me honestly, who is the person you are marrying? Is he a rich, second generation? Why did you get married so quickly?" Zhang Wanwan glanced at Shen Feng. After hesitating for a while, he said, "I'm not a rich second generation, and we didn't get married in a flash. I've been thinking about it for a long time." She had indeed been thinking about it for a long time. "I've been thinking about it all my life." "You've been thinking about it for a long time. So why don't you tell me?" Sister Lin is a little crazy again now. It took a long time for Sister Lin to calm down again. "Zhang Wanwan, let me tell you, although I really want to stand on your side, don't forget the contract you signed with the company. You made such a big noise without the company's permission. According to the contract, the company has the right to ask you to pay compensation for breach of contract. Even the senior executives are already discussing this matter." When Zhang Wanwan heard Sister Lin mention the penalty for breach of contract, she was startled. Finished. Before, I was in a spur of the moment and only cared about getting the marriage certificate with Feng Zi and showing off the marriage certificate to others. She forgot about her contract with the company and the penalty for breach of contract. In her previous life, she was silent for a year after Shen Feng got into trouble. Then I quit the company and went out on my own. However, the agent was still Sister Lin. Because I have been working alone for almost 10 years, I am used to doing whatever I want. So Zhang Wanwan really forgot that she is still working for others. If a major negative public opinion impact is caused without the company's knowledge, then according to the contract, the company will have to pay compensation. It's over, it's really over this time. She is no longer the golden actress of her previous life. With the little savings she has, it is estimated that it is not even enough to pay a fraction of the penalty. When others are reborn, they make money. Would she be the first person to go bankrupt after her rebirth? Sister Lin, can you think of a way to avoid paying the money? Zhang Wanwan said pitifully. Sister Lin snorted, "Not paying. If you don't pay, then find a way to suppress the current momentum. You know what the company's top brass are like unless you try to suppress your issue. Otherwise." Zhang Wanwan was depressed. Sister Lin has a very loud voice. So Shen Feng, who was standing beside her, also heard what Sister Lin said just now. Seeing Zhang Wanwan's expression, Shen Feng knew that this girl was too obsessed and completely ignored the issues of the company and breach of contract. Sighing, Shen Feng suddenly took the phone from Zhang Wanwan. And he said to Sister Lin on the other end of the phone, "Hello, Sister Lin. I am John Wan's husband. Actually, I do have a way to help Wan out a little, but I need Sister Lin to ask the company for it. Does Shen Feng have a solution? John Wan and Sister Lin were both stunned. John Wan knew that Shen Feng was also a true outsider, the type who knows nothing about the entertainment industry. Now even Sister Lin can't solve the problem, but Shen Feng has a way to solve it. John Wan immediately pricked up her ears. Shen Sheng looked at her with a smile, pinched her ear, and then walked away with his phone. Still not allowed to eavesdrop? John Wan became stubborn. She is the eldest sister, and Shen Feng is her younger brother. How can a younger brother speak behind his elder brother's back? As a result, the faster she chased, the faster Shen Feng walked. The slower she chased, the slower Shen Feng walked. Anyway, just don't let her listen. Finally, John Wan stomped her feet in anger. Feng Zi, turn on the speakerphone. Shen Feng actually turned on the hand-free function obediently. John Wan was happy. Feng Zi really didn't dare to disobey her as the boss. I just have to let her eavesdrop. But then, John Wan heard Sister Lin's angry roar on the phone. I want to talk to your husband about serious matters. Get away and don't eavesdrop, or I'll chop you to death. John Wan squatted on the ground dejectedly and drew circles. Damn it, Shen Feng actually filed a complaint. After subduing John Wan, Shen Feng turned off the speakerphone. He walked aside with his phone and continued. The general plan is just as I just said. What do you think? Sister Lin? Sister Lin was quite satisfied. Her tone finally eased. Although this operation is a bit complicated, it does provide an explanation for the marriage certificate issued by Wan. Wan is one of the company's signature brands after all. As long as there is a way to calm the impact of this incident, the company should not forcefully demand liquidated damages. But speaking of which, Shen Feng, you are really not from our circle. How come you know so much about this news? Sister Lin asked. I'm not an insider, I just know a lot about Wan. Shen Feng said. Okay, stop showing off your affection. She sighed and said, okay, let's follow your plan. I'll report it to the company and then look for cooperation in public relations. You just need to follow the plan as well. I will rush from Sushuan Hanghouse to find you tomorrow and ask you to sign the contract. The two said goodbye to each other and hung up the phone. Shen Feng then walked over to John Wan, who was still squatting on the ground drawing circles, and handed her the phone. John Wan looked up, rolled her eyes at him, and took the phone. Shen Sheng turned around and walked away. After taking the steps, he looked back and found John Wan still squatting there. Shen Feng smiled helplessly and said, Wan Ji, stop being upset. You will know what our plan is later. I'm not being upset, John Wan said in a muffled voice. And why don't you stand up? My legs are numb. Shen Feng. Finally, Shen Feng carried John Wan on his back and walked all the way home from the Civil Affairs Bureau. Since John Wan became a celebrity, her wallet has become fatter and she has bought several houses. In addition to the money given to John Wan's parents, there is another set, which is reserved for John Wan to live in. It's not too far from the Civil Affairs Bureau, so Shen Feng didn't take a taxi, but walked all the way with John Wan on his back. The big star John manages his body very well. Shen Sheng didn't feel tired while carrying the woman on his back. He just felt that the sweet and soft person was leaning on his back, which was very enjoyable. From time to time, people on the roadside looked at them. Some girls pulled the hands of the boys next to them, pouted and said, Brother Wei, look at that young couple. I want to carry them too. The boy looked at the girl next to him and the corners of his mouth twitched. Why don't you look at how much the girl on her back weighs? If you got on my back, I probably wouldn't be able to straighten my back for the rest of my life. The 200-pound girl was so angry that she sat down on the bench next to her. Then the bench collapsed. John Wan, who was lying on Shen Feng's back, glanced at the movement behind her but didn't take it seriously. She is now concentrating on browsing Weibo. On Weibo, John Wan had already seen the plan discussed by Shen Feng and Sister Lin, which was slowly unfolding. On the Weibo hot search list, several new trending searches surpassed John Wan's popularity and climbed to the top of the Weibo list in just over 10 minutes. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that someone is spending money to buy the popularity behind the scenes. The dating variety show Let's Start Dating Today is officially announced. The cast of Let's Start Dating Today is revealed. John Wan will participate. John Wan's marriage certificate is suspected to be hyping up the new variety show. John Wan blinked. When did she plan to participate in this variety show and when did she start to hype it up? She curiously clicked on a trending search and started reading. Shen Feng also began to explain the plan to John Wan. This dating variety show called Let's Start Dating Today is an online variety show featuring 8 celebrities, for men and for women, who are paired up for dating. It had not been officially announced yet, but the guest lineup circulating on the internet was rather average. The production budget seems to be quite tight. 6 guests of this show have already been confirmed. But the remaining pair of guests have not yet been finalized. They invited you, but because the show isn't very popular and your worth is a little higher, the production team can really afford it, so Sister Lin hasn't responded to the production team yet. My plan with Sister Lin is that I will get a job as an artist under Sister Lin. And then I will participate in the show with you. You are at least a candidate that the production team is looking for. As long as Sister Lin agrees to let you participate in the program, the production team will definitely not have any objections to adding one more person to the group with you. In this way, the photos of us that were secretly taken this morning, as well as the marriage certificate you issued, can all be explained as hype for the new variety show. There are countless ways to hype and promote now, so yours won't have that much impact. Chen Feng said. At least it won't be so serious that the company will chase you for liquidated damages. After all, hype and publicity can be considered a normal job for an artist. Zhang Wanwan lay on Chen Feng's back with a look of surprise on her face. You wanna be an artist, Feng Zi, you've made it big. I've always said that you have a face that can be used in fighting. You would have been famous earlier if you debuted with me. Chen Feng was helpless. It's not me who has made it. It's you who has made it in order to prevent my wife from losing everything. I can only sell myself. Zhang Wanwan chuckled. You should say that you benefited from my help. Otherwise, you wouldn't have found a way to debut. Yes, thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's just a small matter. We are just friends there, no need to be so polite. As Zhang Wanwan spoke, she continued to browse Weibo on Chen Feng's back. On Weibo, because Zhang Wanwan caused enough heat in the morning, many people are now discussing this new variety show. However, the most discussed person is Zhang Wanwan. And on the official list of the variety show, there is the newcomer that no one has ever heard of. Chen Feng. On Weibo. Wanwan Walanoff, it turned out to be hype. I was shocked. I thought my Wanwan was really married. Thermoscope Wolfberry, I was saying, Zhang Wanwan is still a college student and an actress. How could she get married so early? Rasa OWU, who is this Chen Feng? I've never heard of him, is he new? The Sam Milk Tea, joined together with Zhang Wanwan. They are not going to form a partnership, right? And let Wanwan promote the newcomer? Xing Chang's kicking. He is indeed a newcomer in the same company as Wanwan. Look at his Weibo and his interactions with Wanwan. When Zhang Wanwan saw this, she also clicked on Chen Feng's Weibo account. In other words, Sister Lin applied for a new account for Chen Feng. There are only 2 Weibo posts in the account. One is forwarded and the other is just published. Obviously, they were all sent by Sister Lin. The reposted Weibo post was the marriage certificate that Zhang Wanwan had pinned. Chen Feng from La and Yu Entertainment. It is indeed not a rumor. Please take care of me on the variety show Heart. But please don't steal props next time. This clearly indicates that Zhang Wanwan's marriage certificate is a prop and is fake. There is also a Weibo post that was just published. Chen Feng from La and Yu Entertainment. Hello everyone. I am Chen Feng. I have just joined the La and Yu family and hope you will support me. The photo below is a selfie that Chen Feng sent to Sister Lin. Although it was just a casual shot, Sister Lin's team is still very professional. In addition, Chen Feng has a good foundation, and he looks particularly sunny and handsome in the photos. Because the topic is very popular right now, there are many comments under Chen Feng's Weibo posts. Of course, there are good and bad ones. There were many passers-by praising Chen Feng for his handsome looks. There are also rational fans of Zhang Wanwan who are saying things like welcome the new junior brother. But there are also many black fans who deliberately stir up trouble. As well as some irrational Zhang Wanwan fans. These people said all sorts of things. Some people say that a newcomer who just debuted can be hyped with a second-tier star like Zhang Wanwan. So he wonders if he has a backstage. Some people say that this kind of newcomer is not worthy of being on a variety show with Zhang Wanwan. Especially a dating variety show. Zhang Wanwan even saw a marketing account spreading rumors, saying that Chen Feng was actually a gigolo kept by the boss of La and Yu Entertainment. This really stunned Zhang Wanwan. The boss of their La and Yu Entertainment is obviously a man. But anyway. Now, most of the onlookers do believe that she posted the picture of the marriage certificate just to hype up her new variety show. Sister Lin also sent a WeChat message because the rhythm was carried over and it also attracted a wave of traffic. The company did not intend to pursue her. You don't have to pay the penalty for breach of contract. Zhang Wanwan let out a sigh of relief. She had made up her mind that she would definitely go out and work on her own when she got back. Working for someone else's company all the time is subject to too many restrictions. There is no way to make an official announcement. Although in today's world, young traffic stars are mainly single, but her body is filled with a soul that has lived 2 lifetimes. so she doesn't care about her personality. When she goes solo, she will post all the photos of her and Shenfeng on her Weibo. She blinked her eyes and suddenly reached out and grabbed Shenfeng's hair. By the way, Fengzi, what's wrong with you? You are an outsider who knows nothing about the entertainment industry. How could you possibly think of such a way to help me out? This plan doesn't seem like something that Shenfeng, an outsider, could have planned. Well, I really don't know much about the entertainment industry, so I just proposed a few ideas, and Sister Lin decided on the specific details, Shenfeng said honestly. Zhang Wanwan looked at him doubtfully. The woman's intuition told her that Shenfeng didn't seem to be telling the truth. Shenfeng did not tell the truth, because he not only provided Sister Lin with a complete plan, he also knows everything about the entertainment industry, especially what's happening around Zhang Wanwan. In the once-long cycle, Shencheng had no idea how many times he had read the news about Zhang Wanwan. Shenfeng knew all too well about the situation of Zhang Wanwan's company, the situation of Zhang Wanwan's agent, and all the entertainment industry information related to Zhang Wanwan. Looking up at the sky, Shenfeng suddenly smiled again. During those cycles, Shenfeng tried to maintain his sanity and not let himself collapse. Every day I force myself to learn various knowledge and achieve various goals. He has already mastered too many skills and knows countless secrets that are difficult for ordinary people to access. In fact, if he wanted to, he had plenty of ways to quietly resolve the turmoil caused by Zhang Wanwan's official announcement. He even found out some unspeakable little secrets of the boss of Law NYU Entertainment. Based on these secrets alone, he made a phone call, not to mention pursuing Zhang Wanwan's penalty for breach of contract. Law NYU Entertainment is probably eager to give him money as hush money. Shenfeng had his own selfish motives in deliberately choosing this plan. Debuting as an artist, and appearing on a dating variety show with Zhang Wanwan. If you want to make it official, isn't a dating variety show the best way to do it? It was always Wan Ji who took the initiative before. And now it's his turn to take the initiative. Zhang Wanwan's house is a small villa. Because she often films outside and did not go to university in Zhangha, there are usually few people living in the villa. It's spacious, clean and nicely decorated inside. But the only thing missing is the atmosphere of fireworks. Only after entering the house did Zhang Wanwan dare to jump off from Shenfeng's back. Seeing Shenfeng rubbing his shoulders, Zhang Wanwan raised her eyebrows. Why, am I fat? He is indeed fat. Shencheng nodded honestly. Zhang Wanwan immediately glared and raised her hand to hit someone. Shenfeng quickly took 2 steps back and said with a smile, "If you weren't fat, why would you be so important to me?" The female star's face turned red at that moment. "You're so tacky. Are you a wild vegetable root that was just dug out of the ground? Why are you so tacky?" Still laughing, what are you laughing at? I'm hungry, hurry up and order some takeout, I'm going upstairs to take a rest. After saying that, she patted Shenfeng and ran upstairs. After entering the room and closing the door with a bang, Zhang Wanwan threw herself onto the bed. His face was still red. That damn Fengzi, he used to be a very honest person. Where did he learn all these messed up things? Zhang Wanwan buried her head in the soft pillow and muttered. After a moment, she quietly raised her head again. Ever since Shenfeng sent her a message confessing his love for her last night, Zhang Wanwan felt that even Shenfeng's personality seemed to have changed after her rebirth. The original Shenfeng was a bit like a fool. Shenfeng is now not only proactive, but also smarter, and his words seem to have become much sweeter. He seemed even more likable than before. Thinking of this, Zhang Wanwan's face turned even redder. She fished out the little red booklet she had just received today from her pocket, looked at the photo of the couple with a red background on it, and soon buried her face in the pillow again. Zhang Wanwan, you are a reborn person at least. She was an Oscar-winning actress in her previous life. Can you please stop being so girly, stop being so shy? If you aren't fat, why would you be so important to me? But the more she tried not to think about it, the more Shenfeng's cheesy love words echoed in her mind. Ah! Zhang Wanwan screamed into the pillow. Zhang Wanwan screamed at the groundhog. Shenfeng is buying potatoes and green peppers. Zhang Wanwan asked him to order some takeout. But Shenfeng couldn't bear to let his wife eat takeout. He will cook the first meal he has with Zhang Wanwan after his rebirth. In fact, Shenfeng's cooking skills were very poor. My parents cook for me at home, but I eat in the cafeteria when I live on campus. The few times I cooked, it could only be described as horrific. However, during these days of infinite rebirth, Shenfeng had already taught himself to cook. Sichuan, Shandong, Guangdong, Huiyan, China, the United States, Japan and South Korea. From top Michelin dishes to scrambled eggs with tomatoes. Shenfeng couldn't say that he had mastered everything, but he had mastered most of it. There's no way, he can't just eat takeout for more than 800 years. Shen Cheng went to the supermarket near the community to do some shopping. He almost spent all his savings. He is just a college student. Not a big star like Zhang Wanwan. This made Shen Feng feel a little uncomfortable. Because in the past, he often bought things without paying. Just take whatever you want. Anyway, I'm not afraid of being caught. Even if he was caught, he would be back in his own bed when he woke up. Bought some food and returned to the villa. Shen Feng cleaned up the kitchen and started preparing to cook. Of course he knew Zhang Wanwan's preferences. Zhang Daxing loves sweets. Sweet and sour spare ribs and sweet and sour stir-fried pork are Zhang Daxing's favorites. However, because of the need to manage her figure and under the high-pressure sanctions of her agent sister Lin, Zhang Wanwan rarely touches these sweet and greasy meat dishes. Shen Feng specially made sweet and sour pork ribs for Zhang Wanwan, and also fried a few refreshing vegetarian dishes. I also cooked a pot of soup and steamed a pot of rice. In fact, with Shen Feng's current cooking skills, he can cook dishes with higher difficulty. But many times, cooking requires not only skills but also time. About half an hour later, Zhang Wanwan followed the scent and went downstairs. She had just fallen asleep, and she rubbed her eyes and yawned. Then he smacked his lips and said, "Fengzi, has the takeaway you ordered arrived? It smells so good." Then, she saw Shen Feng busy in the kitchen. Zhang Wanwan was shocked at that time. Shen Feng is cooking. Fuck, Fengzi, please don't blow up my kitchen. Zhang Wanwan was so scared that she rushed into the kitchen. Shen Feng was helpless. "I'm not a terrorist, why are you so scared?" Zhang Wanwan said with a look of horror. "I wish the people in the kitchen now were terrorists. At least they know which is soy sauce and which is vinegar." Zhang Wanwan still remembers the first time Shen Feng cooked for her. He made a pot of soy sauce fried rice that was so sour that it was blinding. It would have been fine if it was just sour, but Shen Feng even forgot to turn down the heat and ran to get his phone to check the recipe. By the time he came back from looking up the recipe, the bottom of the pot was almost burnt. As the fire burned high, the sour and burnt smell of vinegar filled the entire room. Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng had no choice but to order takeout. When the delivery man came to the door, he smelled the odor in the house and almost fainted. Thinking of this, Zhang Wanwan looked at Shen Feng with a bit of sadness and anger again. "Fengzi, I have no grudge against you, why are you trying to murder me?" Shen Feng knew that Zhang Wanwan was thinking about his past dark history. With an awkward dry cough, Shen Feng said, "My cooking skills have improved now. Don't you think the food smells good?" "It smells good. But who knows how it will taste?" Zhang Wanwan muttered. "I have to admit that the smell now is indeed very tempting. But Shen Feng's cooking skills cannot be judged by common sense. For your own life safety." Zhang Wanwan finally ordered takeout for herself. Because she was a little hungry after a nap, Zhang Wanwan ordered a takeaway of Kaifan cuisine from a nearby restaurant. In less than 10 minutes, the takeaway was delivered. Zhang Wanwan was eating a hamburger and drinking a Coke. A few minutes later, when Shen Feng brought the plate of sweet and sour pork ribs that looked delicious, a plate of stir-fried bamboo shoots that looked crispy and refreshing, and a plate of fragrant fresh vegetables, and placed them in front of Zhang Wanwan, a hamburger in Zhang Wanwan's hand suddenly lost its flavor. She looked at Shen Feng in shock, as if she was looking at an alien. "Fengzi, this is you did it? What else?" Shen Feng handed over the chopsticks. "Try the ribs, they are very good. I have a soup in the kitchen. I will bring it over." Zhang Wanwan took the chopsticks blankly. When Shen Sheng returned to the dining table with the cooked soup, what he saw was Zhang Wanwan, who was trembling all over and sucking on a pork chop that had been eaten clean. "Fengzi, I want to cry." Zhang Wanwan held the pork ribs in her mouth, then looked at Shen Feng with tears in her eyes. "What's wrong, brother? My cooking is not tasty." Shen Feng was surprised. It shouldn't be. His skills have been honed for hundreds of years. Especially the sweet and sour spare ribs, which he has been studying for a long time. "I regret ordering takeout woo. Your ribs are so delicious. I really want to eat some, but I'm so full now burp." Ooh. She is so wronged. Sweet and sour pork ribs. Her favorite dish. What's more, Shen Feng's cooking was so delicious. Better than all the sweet and sour pork ribs she had ever eaten. But now she really can't eat anymore. Shen Sheng was also helpless. "Who told you not to believe me? Forget it, then have some soup. Didn't you say before that you wanted to eat boiled cabbage after watching it on EV? I made one for you. However, it takes time to boil the broth repeatedly to make the real boiled cabbage. Today, I didn't have enough time, so I made a simple version of my own. I simply processed it with the broth from stewing pork ribs. It tastes pretty good. When I have time later, I'll make you some real boiled cabbage." As he spoke, Shen Feng lifted the lid of the casserole. "A rich fragrance blows towards you." Zhang Wanwan looked at the pot of bone soup that looked like clear water, with delicate cabbages that looked like emerald green. Tears can't help but flow from the corners of my mouth. But soon, Zhang Wanwan turned her head with a look of despair and looked at the big cup of Coke that she had just finished. He burped a carbonic acid burp. Then I burst into tears. She can't drink anymore. What to do? In the end, Zhang Wanwan drank half a bowl of soup and ate 3 pieces of spare ribs. Only when her stomach was really full did she reluctantly put down her chopsticks. The expression on his face was still very sad and aggrieved. I was wrong, I was really wrong. There was such a delicious meal in front of me. But I didn't cherish it. I didn't regret it until I was full. If God could give me another chance, I would never order takeout again. Shensheng couldn't help but smile and rubbed her head. Okay, brother Wan, these ribs and soup can be heated up and eaten in the evening. Also, just tell me what you want to eat in the future. I am willing to cook for you every day. Cook every day. Zhang Wanwan's face suddenly turned a little red. Yes, now Feng Zi is more than just her good buddy and friend. They are a legal couple and will live together in the future. Well, then can you make braised pork? I want to eat braised pork tomorrow. Zhang Wanwan started ordering food. Of course, no problem. Shen Feng agreed. Zhang Wanwan smiled. The premise is that you are not afraid of being discovered by Sister Lin who comes to see you tomorrow, Shen Feng said again. Zhang Wanwan cried. After dinner, Shen Feng was cleaning up the dishes in the kitchen, while Zhang Wanwan, who was full, was walking around the room. Hearing the clanging sounds in the kitchen, Zhang Wanwan fell into deep thought. She remembered something her mother had said to her. A family needs both husband and wife to maintain it. If all the troubles are handed over to one person, the family will become very fragile. Just like me and your father, he is responsible for cooking and I am responsible for washing dishes. Now, she and Shen Feng are also husband and wife. If Shen Feng cooks, should she be the one to wash the dishes? Thinking of this, Zhang Wanwan walked into the kitchen. Said to Shen Feng, how about letting me wash the dishes? No, just take a rest. Shen Feng smiled, leave this kind of housework to me from now on. You are my younger brother, how can I trouble you with such a small matter? That won't work, Zhang Wanwan said seriously, a family needs two people to maintain it. How can I let you do all the work by yourself? Let me do it. Besides, I'm the eldest brother, I should lead by example. How can I let only the younger brothers do the work? Get out of the way. As he spoke, Zhang the big star squeezed next to Shen Feng. She squeezed her hand into the sink, trying to reach for the dirty dishes. As a result, he didn't catch the bowl, but he caught Shen Feng's hand. Zhang Wanwan coughed lightly and pulled her hand back. And he put on a serious expression and said, if you don't let me do anything, I will feel guilty. Since Zhang Wanwan said so, Shen Feng had no choice but to give up his seat. Then, Zhang Wanwan looked at the only dirty bowl left in the sink and sniffed. You've already washed, what else do you want me to wash? She glared at Shen Feng angrily. Shen Feng spread his hands helplessly. I didn't ask you to wash it, didn't you want to wash it yourself? Well, let's forget about it this time. From now on, you will be responsible for cooking and I will be responsible for washing the dishes. If you dare to take my job again, be careful of your brother's punishment. Zhang Wanwan bared her teeth and washed the last bowl fiercely. After cleaning up, Zhang Wanwan still felt a little bloated. She suggested going out for a walk with Shen Feng. Of course Shen Feng was happy to do so. As long as he is with Zhang Wanwan, he will be happy to do anything. Zhang Wanwan put on her mask again and took Shen Feng for a walk in the community. As they walked, Zhang Wanwan asked, Feng Zi, when did your cooking skills become so good? Just look at your sweet and sour spare ribs, I dare say they are better than any other restaurant I've ever eaten at. I taught myself when I had nothing to do. Someone told me that you really like sweet and sour spare ribs. So I studied it for a long time. Shen Feng said. Zhang Wanwan lowered her head, feeling a little moved. Who else could this person be but her? Unexpectedly, Shen Feng learned to cook just for her. Although this guy was like a goose before, he is actually quite thoughtful. As she was thinking about it, she heard Shen Feng say, do you think it tastes good? If even you think it tastes good, and I can make it for that person without any worries. Zhang Wanwan raised her head immediately. A pair of eyes stared at Shen Feng strangely. Didn't I learn how to make the sweet and sour pork ribs just for her? She grabbed Shen Feng by the collar. Who are you learning this for? Do you have someone else in your heart? Oh, I see. Are you treating me as a backup? You confessed to me last night because you were rejected by your sweetheart. You were heartbroken and gave up on yourself, so you came to me to confess. Right? Well, Shen Feng, I didn't expect you to be such a scumbag. I really misjudged you. Shen Feng really didn't expect that Zhang Wanwan could come up with so many messed up things in such a short time. He quickly raised his hands in surrender. Wanji. I'm just kidding, don't take it seriously. Zhang Wanwan snorted. Of course she knew that Shen Feng was joking just now. However, when she heard Shen Feng say that he was going to cook for others, Zhang Wanwan felt really upset. I was just teasing you just now. But Feng Zi, tell me honestly, why did you suddenly confess to me last night? Did something stimulate you? Zhang Wanwan became serious and asked seriously. Zhang Wanwan always felt it was very strange. She and Shen Sheng have been playing together for so many years. But she has never heard Shen Feng confess his love to her. And Shen Feng has always acted as if he was avoiding this matter. How come last night, Shen Feng suddenly came to her and confessed his feelings to her? In addition, Shen Feng was lying unconscious at the door of Century Building last night. Zhang Wanwan always felt that Shen Feng must have been stimulated by something. It's not that I was stimulated by anything, I just suddenly realized that I was really ridiculous. Shen Feng was silent for a while before answering Zhang Wanwan. He was indeed a bit dull in the past. And not stupid. Shen Feng has always been clear that he likes Zhang Wanwan. However, Zhang Wanwan's parents have never liked him very much. Shen Feng's parents live in the county town below Zhonghae City. I opened a small supermarket and my life was not too rich. But still pretty good. Zhang Wanwan's parents are entrepreneurs in the county. More than 10 years ago, his family's financial situation has been much better than Shen Feng's. Zhang Wanwan's father and Shen Feng's father were classmates and they had a pretty good relationship. However, Zhang Wanwan's parents have always opposed Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng playing together. They felt that it was Shen Feng who led Zhang Wanwan astray, taking Zhang Wanwan out to play and not studying hard. In short, it was a preconceived notion that Shen Feng was a bad boy. In fact, it was Zhang Wanwan who took Shen Feng out to play. Otherwise, Zhang Wanwan wouldn't have the nickname Wanji. By the time Zhang Wanwan entered high school, was discovered by a scout, and starred in several movies, the Zhang family became even richer. The gap between them and Shen Feng's family is getting bigger and bigger. At this time, Shen Feng had thought it through completely. He wanted to live with Zhang Wanwan for the rest of his life. But the huge gap in family background made Shen Feng feel inferior. In particular, Zhang Wanwan's father had once looked for Shen Feng. He sternly told Shen Feng not to have any ideas about his daughter. After that, Shen Feng deliberately stopped mentioning the fact that he liked Zhang Wanwan, and never confessed his feelings to Zhang Wanwan. It was not until Shen Feng fell into the cycle of 300 times and became mature bit by bit that he gradually saw through it. He loves Zhang Wanwan, and they must be together. Even Zhang Wanwan's parents couldn't stop it. I'm sorry, Wanwan, my confession to you is many years late. He turned his head and looked into the distance, sighing softly. Zhang Wanwan looked at Shen Feng, who was becoming melancholy, and thought about it. Suddenly he whispered, Feng Zi, turn around and look at me. Shen Feng looked back in confusion. And I saw Zhang Wanwan taking off her mask. She hugged his arm, standing on tiptoe, like a dragonfly touching the water. She left a soft but sweet kiss on his face. Shen Feng was stunned. Zhang Wanwan put her mask back on out of embarrassment. Then he lowered his voice and whispered, I don't think your confession is late. I think it came just in time. Zhang Wanwan felt that she would never forget it in her life. She had just been reborn and saw the words, Wanwan, I love you pop up on her phone. It comes neither early nor late. It came just in time. After strolling around the neighborhood, the two decided to go home. Ever since Zhang Wanwan took the initiative to kiss Shen Feng, this girl has become obedient. He just kept walking with his head down and never took the initiative to talk to Shen Feng. However, when Shen Feng talked to her, she would still reply with a word or two. It was rare for Shen Feng to see their eldest brother so quiet. I felt a little funny and very touched. He and Zhang Wanwan are each other's first love. In order to comfort him, Zhang Wanwan took the initiative to kiss him. I think it took a lot of courage. His younger brother is so nice. Shen Sheng suddenly felt that he was really happy. Perhaps those 300 reincarnations were not the cage given to him by God. I'd give him a chance. If it weren't for these reincarnations, he would still be that dull and silly boy. He wouldn't have the courage to confess his feelings to Zhang Wanwan, let alone come to this point. He could only watch Zhang Wanwan get married, have children, and drift further and further away from him. Thanks to these 300,000 cycles, he learned a lot of skills. He can cook Zhang Wanwan's favorite dishes and help her solve the problems that give her a headache. When she got home, Zhang Wanwan still felt a little embarrassed. I was so tired from taking care of you last night that I didn't get much rest. I just took a nap for less than half an hour. I was so sleepy. I want to go up and get some sleep first. After saying that, Zhang Wanwan blushed and was about to slip away. But after taking the steps, she suddenly felt that it was not a good idea to leave Shen Feng alone in the living room for too long. After thinking for a while, she pointed upstairs and said, How about you come upstairs with me and take a rest for a while? Sleeping in one bed? Shen Feng asked subconsciously. Zhang Wanwan's face turned even redder. She glared. What are you thinking? Upstairs there, as a study upstairs, with a sofa and a computer. I asked you to go to the study. Forget it, I don't care about you anymore, I'm going to rest. Looking at Zhang Wanwan, who went up the stairs quickly, Shen Feng reached out and slapped his mouth. I spoke too quickly and said the truth. Shaking his head, Shen Feng also went upstairs. On the second floor of the villa, Shen Feng glanced at the closed door of Zhang Wanwan's room, and then silently walked into the study next door. Sitting in front of the computer, he turned on the computer, took out his mobile phone and called Sister Lin. Hey, Sister Lin, what's the situation now? When Sister Lin first saw that it was an unfamiliar number, she was a little puzzled. However, she recognized Shen Feng's voice immediately. After all, Zhang Wanwan's sudden marriage certificate was a huge shock to Sister Lin. So Sister Lin was also impressed by Zhang Wanwan's husband. Xiao Shen, everything is fine now. What a coincidence that this afternoon, another big scandal broke out in the entertainment industry. A top male star was reported by his ex-girlfriend under her real name, which attracted a lot of attention. Whether it's variety shows or Zhang Wanwan, there's basically no discussion about them anymore. The company doesn't plan to pursue Wanwan's breach of contract fee. Most of the marketing accounts that previously spread rumors about Wanwan have stopped, and only a small number of our rival companies are saying that this variety show is just a smokescreen to smear Zhang Wanwan. Shen Cheng raised his eyebrows. What a coincidence. Zhang Wanwan just caused some trouble, and then a top male star appeared as a shield. But it's always a good thing. But the only flaw is that because you are a newcomer and you debuted on a variety show with a popular person like Zhang Wanwan, a marketing account bought by a rival company is spreading rumors that you are having an affair with the CEO of La NYU Entertainment. Although the incident involving the top male star has overshadowed your popularity, it seems that some people really believe this statement. Don't take it too seriously. There are too many marketing accounts like this in the entertainment industry. In response, Shen Feng just smiled and of course didn't take it to heart. Seeing that he didn't care, Sister Lin didn't mention it anymore. Instead, he changed the subject. By the way, Xiao Shen, what's going on between you and Wanwan? Wanwan never told me that she had been in a relationship. So why did you suddenly get the marriage certificate today? Is it a flash marriage? Sister Lin asked curiously. She felt that as Zhang Wanwan's agent, it was a shame that she couldn't be the first to get the news about Zhang Wanwan. Shen Feng thought for a moment and said, we have actually known each other for a long time. We have been friends since we were young, so it shouldn't be considered a flash marriage. It's just that it was a bit sudden. I'm really sorry for causing you so much trouble. Shen Feng then said solemnly, I have to thank Sister Lin for taking care of Wanwan over the years. If it weren't for your help, Wanwan would definitely not be as popular as she is today. This is not just a polite remark from Shen Feng. During the loop, Shen Feng investigated everyone around Zhang Wanwan. Sister Lin is no exception. Shen Feng discovered that although Sister Lin seemed to like Zhang Wanwan, she also really cared for Zhang Wanwan. Sister Lin will give all the resources that can be allocated to Zhang Wanwan. If there is an opportunity to audition for a good script, Sister Lin will spare no effort to recommend Wanwan to the director. Sometimes when there are drinking parties that have to be attended to, it is Sister Lin who blocks the drinking for Zhang Wanwan. The company LNYU Entertainment is indeed shady, but Sister Lin is a very good person. It can be said that Zhang Wanwan's ability to get to where she is today in La NYU Entertainment is really all thanks to Sister Lin. She is really a very important person to Zhang Wanwan. Shen Feng also thanked her sincerely. Sister Lin was quiet for a while. Shen Feng seemed to hear Sister Lin sniffle. Then Sister Lin laughed and said, don't be polite, this is what I, as a manager, should do. Speaking of which, you will be my artist from now on. Don't worry, Sister Lin will protect you. You are much more sensible than that heartless little girl Zhang Wanwan. Shen Feng smiled. The two chatted for a few more sentences and then Shen Feng hung up the phone. Looking at the computer on the table, Shen Feng wanted to search Weibo. Let's see which first-line star is so kind as to act as a shield for Zhang Wanwan. However, when he clicked on the search box and saw the row of search records, Shen Feng was numb. How to chase a boy. How to make a boy fall in love with you. How to get a guy to confess his love to you. The boy I grew up with doesn't like me. Is it because I'm not good looking? Looking at it as a whole, Shen Feng only saw one search record that was unrelated to these. Is Zhang Wanwan pretty or not? Shen Feng. Sighing, Shen Cheng rubbed his forehead. It seems that he confessed too late. Otherwise, why would Zhang Wanwan search for these things? He tapped the mouse with his fingers, and with an idea in mind, he clicked on the search record for, is Zhang Wanwan pretty? Then I opened the first search result. This is a question on a certain platform, and there are quite a lot of answers below. Shen Feng flipped through it and found that quite a few people were praising Zhang Wanwan. Although Zhang Wanwan is not a top-tier celebrity, her appearance is not inferior to those big stars. All she lacks is experience. So there are still a lot of people who like her. Suddenly, an answer caught his attention. Anonymous user, Zhang11? What's so good about her? Don't you know that she just had plastic surgery? She's just a head-changing monster. Here are some photos of her before plastic surgery. You can see for yourself she was so ugly that I don't even want to talk. Picture. I have posted a few photos below. A person in the photo is indeed Zhang Wanwan, but it is obvious that she has been photoshopped. Zhang Wanwan has been naturally beautiful since she was young. From elementary school to college, she has almost always been the class beauty and school beauty. That Zhang Wanwan in this photo was photoshopped to look dark and fat by someone. Just because they are the same person, she looks somewhat similar to the current Zhang Wanwan. At first glance, it seems as if Zhang Wanwan really looked like this. There are dozens of comments under this answer except for a few defending Zhang Wanwan. Most of them are scolding her for plastic surgery and head changing. And among these comments, there is also a comment from the original author himself. Anonymous user author, I had some big gossip about Zhang Wanwan here. There are top secret photos of her entering and leaving a hotel with a certain boss. This woman is a green team honey digger. If this answer gets over 500 likes, I will release the gossip immediately. Shen Shang took a look at the date when the answer was published. And it was today. It seems that Wanwan's popularity is too high today. And the public opinion was not favorable to Wanwan at the beginning. So Wanwan's opponents hired black fans to stir up negative information about Wanwan. Shen Feng narrowed his eyes. The entertainment industry is really deep. It would be fine to PS Wanwan's old photos, but he even wanted to he had Zhang Wanwan and her boss going in and out of the hotel. There are really all kinds of disgusting people in this world. Thinking about it, Shen Feng's fingers began typing on the keyboard. There is never true anonymity on the internet. As long as you post information, you will leave a trace. It's just that ordinary people may not be able to find these traces. Unfortunately, Shen Feng is not an ordinary person. He spent 800 years on July 31st, and had spent a long time studying some computer technology. In other words, hacking techniques. In just a few minutes, Shen Feng found the username of this anonymous user. Even his mobile phone number, real name, and identity information. And more secrets of this man. All were dug out. Shen Feng took out his cell phone and dialed the number displayed on the computer screen. Hey, I want to talk to you. He lowered his voice and spoke slowly. Liu Ciyuan's mood today was a mixture of ups and downs. Liu Ciyuan is a professional cyber troll, in other words, a cyber stalker. He was employed by Law and YU Entertainment's rival company. And his daily job was basically to discredit the artists under Law and YU Entertainment. Early this morning, his boss called him. It was said that someone posted photos online, which showed Zhang Wanwan and Amandaring and leaving the hospital. Liu Ciyuan felt at that time that life had come to him. He excitedly operated the keyboard and mouse and posted some fabricated negative information on the internet. For example, Zhang Wanwan and the man went to the hospital for an abortion. As a result, before things could get serious, the wind direction changed. First, Zhang Wanwan officially announced the photo of her marriage certificate. After that, the online variety show Let's Start Dating Today was officially announced. And Zhang Wanwan was suspected of hype. The scandals he had created instantly lost all attention. However, Liu Ciyuan quickly adjusted his mentality. Anyway, he was employed by HEI La and YU Entertainment, not a full-time HEI Zhang Wanwan. Since there is public opinion now saying that Shen Feng, Zhang Wanwan's partner, is having an affair with the CEO of La and YU Entertainment, he might as well make up some negative information about Shen Feng. As a result, just as he finished making up his negative information, the scandal of a first-line male star was exposed. Whether it's Zhang Wanwan, Shen Feng, or La and YU Entertainment. In terms of popularity and traffic, she doesn't even have a fraction of this male star. Liu Ciyuan's negative information has been buried in the sea again. It was written in vain. Just as Liu Ciyuan was covering his head in frustration, the cell phone on the table rang. He picked up the phone and answered it without even checking the caller ID. Hello, who is this? I want to talk to you. And I heard a low male voice coming from the other end of the phone. Liu Ciyuan frowned and said with a sigh, Who am I asking you? You said you wanted to talk to me? Are you sick? If you have something to say, please tell me now. If not, get out of here. I'm very busy here. There seemed to be a laugh coming from the other end of the phone. Liu Ciyuan, male, 28 years old, graduated from the Visual Communication Department of Yangcheng University. Currently living in 103, Unit 3, Building 1, Fanhua Community. EU Road, Pingcheng City. Liu Ciyuan's expression changed instantly. Who are you? Is that someone I know? I'm telling you. Don't be kidding me. Tell me who you are and don't make me angry. People in their line of work are most likely to offend others. I am also most afraid of being found by others. Now when he heard that the other party actually knew his real name, home address, etc., Yun immediately panicked. But that's not the end yet. A person on the other end of the phone continued. Your ID number is 13,110. You work at Black Rain Studios as a professional online troll. You just started your career in 2016, 5 years ago. 4 years ago, in your second year in the industry. You were hired to discredit a newly debuted female celebrity. You fabricated a lot of negative information about her, which led to the female celebrity being cyberbullied and eventually committing suicide. Although she was rescued, she also suffered from severe depression. And you showed no remorse at all, and continue to do this work in the following years, making a living by fabricating facts, throwing dirty water on celebrities and stirring up trouble. Am I right? Liu Yun's face turned pale. What the person on the other end of the phone said was absolutely correct. Especially what happened 4 years ago. It's been a long time since this happened. And the female star was obviously not famous at all. Why do some people still remember this incident? The internet has memory. Liu Yun. The voice on the other end of the phone gradually grew colder. Liu Yun's voice gradually trembled. You, who are you? What do you want to do? Are you trying to blackmail me with that incident 4 years ago? I'm telling you, it's illegal for you to do XX. Me blackmail is also illegal. And if you fabricate facts and cause someone to commit suicide, it's not against the law. In Zhang Wanwan's villa, Chen Feng was talking as he looked at the bad deeds of Liu Yun that he had searched on the computer. The expression on his face became increasingly unfriendly. What happened 4 years ago was just a more serious example. Over the years, you have set the tone for so many things, ruined so many people's reputations, and ruined so many lives. Don't you know that? Looking at your WeChat chat history, you've been telling your parents that you're a teacher in a painting studio, right? They are still proud of you. What do you think your parents would think if I sent them all the things you did? Liu Yun was completely unable to maintain his toughness. What on earth do you want? Do you want money or something else? I'm just an employee in the studio. I don't have much money. Why did you come to me? What on earth do you want to do? Chen Feng narrowed his eyes. I don't want your money. My request is very simple. Delete the negative information about Zhang Wanwan that you posted and apologize publicly on Weibo. Publicly apologize to Zhang Wanwan, to the little girl who was almost killed by you 4 years ago, and to all the people you have slandered in the past 5 years. Liu Yun was silent for a long time. Finally, he said dryly. Okay. You are from Zhang Wanwan's side, right? I can do as you say. But there are too many people doing this business. And there are many people in Zhang Wanwan. There are many people who are more dirty and evil than me. Why did you choose me? Chen Feng's fingers tapped on the phone case. Because I happen to be free right now, and I happen to see you. I'm not targeting Liu Yun. If I see someone else fabricating dirt on Wanwan, I will make him suffer the same treatment as you. Liu Yun didn't say anything for a long time. Chen Feng didn't hang up the phone either, because he could hear that Liu Yun was operating the computer over there. After several minutes, Liu Yun said, the negative information on the website has been deleted. And the Weibo account has also apologized. Go and have a look. Are you satisfied? Chen Feng didn't check the Weibo post, but just glanced at the answer fabricated by Liu Yun on a certain website. It was indeed deleted. You are definitely not from our circle. Liu Yun suddenly said this. Perhaps because he deleted the negative material and apologized. Liu Yun's tone suddenly became relaxed. Not as nervous as before. My background is considered clean in our industry. If you check those big black guys, they are much dirtier than me. So you are comparing who is worse, Chen Feng said. Liu Yun shook his head and sighed. No, I just want to say that although you are very powerful and can force me to delete Zhang Wanwan's dirty laundry, can you force everyone in the circle to do that? I am just a nobody. When Zhang Wanwan becomes famous, she will have more rivals and haters. Being in the entertainment industry, you are destined to be exploited and targeted. But I don't like her being consumed in such a dirty way. You don't like it? Man, who are you? You're just a hacker hired by her. We are all paid to do things. Don't think too highly of yourself. Zhang Wanwan is not a princess, and you are not a knight protecting a princess. I am no knight. Chen Feng said. I'm her husband. After saying that, Chen Feng hung up the phone. Liu Yun was left alone, staring at his phone in a daze. When Zhang Wanwan woke up from a comfortable sleep, it was already 5 o'clock in the afternoon. She indeed did not get enough rest last night and was always worried about Chen Feng. I stayed up until about 5 in the morning before I couldn't help but fall asleep. As a result, Chen Feng woke her up again at 6 o'clock. It was almost an all-nighter. After a long nap in the afternoon, I was able to relieve my fatigue. Stretching, Zhang Wanwan pushed the door and walked out of the bedroom. I wanted to go downstairs, but suddenly I remembered that Shen Feng seemed to be resting in the study next door. Her eyes rolled around and she tiptoed to the door of the study. He gently placed his hand on the study door handle and quietly opened it a crack. She wanted to see what Shen Feng was doing. She finally looked through the crack in the door. Just then I saw Shen Feng standing behind the door. The two looked at each other through the crack in the door. Zhang Wanwan. It's over, the peeping was discovered. Zhang Wanwan wanted to explain that she had no intention of peeking. But then I thought again. That's not right. Why is she afraid of Shen Feng? Shen Feng is her younger brother, and this is her home. Now Shen Feng is her husband and her property. Not to mention peeking. Even if I looked at it openly, so what? Thinking of this, Zhang Wanwan suddenly felt justified. She raised her eyebrows and glared at Shen Feng behind the door. What are you looking at? What are you trying to do by sneaking behind the door? Are you trying to scare people? When he heard the door of Zhang Wanwan's room open, he planned to come out to check. However, before he could open the door, Shen Feng pushed it open first. Seeing that Shen Feng was speechless, Zhang Wanwan was quite proud. Shen Feng is still a young boy. How can he be compared with her, a veteran who has been reborn? She pushed open the door and walked into the study. After taking a look at the turned-on computer, an idea suddenly occurred to me. Then he shook his head and looked at Shen Feng and said, "Tell the truth quickly. What are you doing sneaking around in the study? I've been sleeping for so long. Have you used my computer to watch something you shouldn't watch to relieve your loneliness?" This person Zhang Wanwan. He is a typical giant in words but a dwarf in actions. Even though she gets shy for a long time after kissing Shen Feng, when it comes to talking nonsense, even nine oxen can't stop me. After hearing what Zhang Wanwan said, Shen Feng acted as if he was willing to tell the truth. He said sincerely, "I did see something I shouldn't have seen." Zhang Wanwan's eyes suddenly opened wide. His expression also became unnatural. She really didn't expect that Feng Zi actually watched that kind of thing. Not only did he read it, he also dared to say it so openly. This kid is getting bolder and bolder. What a pity. I thought you were quite honest before, but I didn't expect all men are the same. Zhang Wanwan muttered to herself. His eyes glanced towards the computer. She suddenly became a little curious about what Shen Feng was looking at. What type does he like? Europe and America, Japan and South Korea? As a result, Shen Feng's next sentence made Zhang Wanwan feel numb. I am a grown man, but I spent a lot of time watching How to Chase a Boy and How to Make a Boy Fall in Love with Me. I felt like my spirit was shocked. Of course I didn't look at it on purpose. I just happened to see the record in the search bar and clicked on it. Brother Wan, you won't blame me, right? Zhang Wanwan felt numb. The kind that feels numb from head to toe. Only then did she remember. Before she confirmed her relationship with Shen Feng, she had searched for these things on her computer. And the records seemed to have not been deleted. Due to a moment of carelessness, Shen Feng saw everything. Zhang Wanwan felt extremely embarrassed. If there was a crack on the ground, she would crawl into it immediately. Shen Feng couldn't help but want to laugh when he saw her lowering her head and tapping her toes in silence. On the surface, he pretended to be serious and asked, "Wan Ji, why are you silent? Are you blaming me for seeing things I shouldn't have seen? But don't worry, even if I see more of this kind of stuff, I still like women. I will always be yours, Wan Ji." However, after saying these words, Shen Feng felt a little regretful. There is a saying that goes, everything will turn around when it reaches its extreme. But good times will come after bad times. There is another good saying. The cornered dog will do something desperate. Shen Feng's words stimulated Zhang Wanwan again, and made her anxious. She raised her head with a red face, clenched her fists and glared at Shen Feng, saying, "Shen Feng, I'm telling you, don't mention the computer search history again. If you dare to say anything about this again, not only will you no longer be mine, I will also make sure you will never be a human being again." As she spoke, Zhang Wanwan bent her fingers. There was a clicking sound. Since his wife was getting angry, Shen Feng certainly couldn't continue to act in a disrespectful manner. Okay, I won't mention it again. I'll just pretend I didn't see it. Okay? Zhang Wanwan didn't say anything. She just stared at Shen Feng. Slowly, the circles around my eyes began to turn red. Shen Feng was really panicked now. He originally just wanted to tease Zhang Wanwan, but he didn't expect their brother Wanwan to be so thin-skinned. It would be fine if I was just angry, but I was so angry that I cried. He leaned down and sincerely admitted his mistake. Wan Ji, don't cry, I really know I was wrong. I won't tease you about this in the future. Okay? If you're really angry, why don't you hit me twice to punish me? Or I'll tell you a joke. Before Shen Feng finished speaking, Zhang Wanwan sniffed and interrupted him. I don't want to cry because of this. I'm not that fragile. Why is that? I just cracked my fingers too hard. Only then did Shen Feng notice that Zhang Wanwan was covering the finger that she had just bent and made a crackling sound. Shen Feng was speechless. On the first floor of the villa, in the living room, Shen Feng used an ice pack to apply to Zhang Wanwan's fingers. Seeing that the redness and swelling had subsided, he asked, "How is it, Wan Ji? Does it still hurt?" "It doesn't hurt anymore," Zhang Wanwan muttered. "It's all your fault if you hadn't insisted on bringing up those things. Would I have threatened you by snapping my fingers? Would my hands have hurt?" Shen Feng smiled helplessly. Yes, it's all my fault, brother. As compensation, how about I cook 2 more dishes for you tonight? What do you want to eat?" When she heard there was food, Zhang Wanwan's eyes lit up. After sleeping for an afternoon, the food in her stomach had long been digested. "Although my stomach isn't growling with hunger right now, I still feel like eating something. Would you please heat up the spiribus and stir-fry some cashew shrimp for me?" "Okay, but there are no cashews at home." "Then you can have stir-fried shrimps." "No shrimp either." "Then go buy it." Zhang Wanwan waved her hand and gave Shen Feng an order. Shen Feng rubbed his hands and hesitated for a moment. Then he said to Zhang Wanwan, "Brother Wan, you can buy shrimps. But there is a technical problem that needs to be solved urgently." Zhang Wanwan frowned. "What's the problem?" "I haven't received my salary from last month's job yet. And I spent all the money on groceries this morning." After saying that, Shen Feng took out his mobile phone and opened the payment code. "It depends on how much you transfer. Can you give me a little more?" Zhang Wanwan rolled her eyes. She thought it was some kind of problem, but it turned out to be just a lack of money. Zhang Wanwan, a wealthy woman with no shortage of money, immediately transferred 1,000 yuan to Shen Feng. Shen Feng smiled and went out with the money in his pocket. He also specially picked out a lot of expensive ingredients in the supermarket, intending to make a good meal for Zhang Wanwan. At home, Zhang Wanwan, who was waiting for Shen Feng to come back, started browsing on her phone. Zhang Wanwan breathed a sigh of relief when she saw that most people on Weibo were starting to criticize the scandal of a first-line celebrity and few people were mentioning her anymore. At this point, things have completely settled down. Just as she was thinking about it, the cell phone in Zhang Wanwan's hand suddenly rang. Seeing the caller ID on her phone, Zhang Wanwan's eyes narrowed slightly. She answered the phone. "Hello, Dad?" On the other end of the phone, Zhang Wanwan's father Zhang Ziachi said in a low voice, "I heard from your mother that you went home to get your household registration booklet this morning?" "Yeah, for work," Zhang Wanwan said in a low voice. "Work? Just now your second uncle told me that you posted a picture of your marriage certificate online? That's the company's attempt to hype it up. My second uncle should have seen it. And everyone on the internet knows about it." Zhang Ziaqi's voice suddenly turned cold. Hype with that kid Shen Feng, huh? I go home for dinner and tell me if you have anything to say. Pack your things and I'll send a driver to pick you up." After Zhang Ziachi finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Zhang Wanwan listened to the busy tone on the phone and the look in her eyes dimmed a little. A moment later, Shen Feng, who was carrying a bunch of ingredients home and thinking about what to make delicious food for Zhang Wanwan in the evening, received a WeChat message from Zhang Wanwan. "Zhang Wanwan, you don't have to come to the villa. You can eat dinner by yourself. My dad asked me to go home." Shen Feng was stunned. He raised his hand to send a message to Zhang Wanwan. But the message on the other end said, "The other party is typing first." Soon, Shen Feng received Zhang Wanwan's second message. "Zhang Wanwan, I'm sorry. Zhang family. Ever since Zhang Wanwan became an actress and bought a house in the city, Jiang's father and mother, who originally lived in the county, moved to the city. Along with their businesses in the county, a black car stopped in front of the Zhang family's door. The driver got out and opened the back door. Zhang Wanwan slowly got out of the car, straightened her clothes, took a deep breath, and then walked into the Zhang family. The lights in the villa are dazzling, but the atmosphere in the room was very gloomy. Jiang's father Zhang Ziachi and Jiang's mother Suyan both sat on the sofa in the living room, not saying a word. "Dad, Mom, I'm back." It was not until Zhang Wanwan spoke that the two of them raised their eyelids and looked at her. The two still didn't say anything, they just stood up and walked into the restaurant. Zhang Wanwan also followed her into the restaurant and sat in the seat her parents had prepared for her. She suddenly felt a little aggrieved. Since she was a child, her parents always wanted to arrange everything for her. Even the location of a meal is like this. After pursing her lips, Zhang Wanwan sat down. None of the three picked up their chopsticks first, and none of them spoke first. After 5 full minutes of silence and depression, Zhang Ziachi finally spoke. "Tell me, what's going on between you and Shen Shen? Sure enough, this is what you want to ask." On the way here, Zhang Wanwan had already thought about what questions her parents would ask. "I also thought of the answer as much as possible." She followed the thoughts in her mind and whispered, My agent thought Shen Feng was a good talent, so he signed him as an artist. Because he had just debuted, the company wanted to hype him up. So they asked him and I to be on a dating variety show. The marriage certificate was just a prop for the show. And why did you go home to get the household registration book in the morning? Zhang Ziyiqi stared at Zhang Wanwan under his gold-rimmed glasses. It seemed as if he could see through the truth of every word Zhang Wanwan said. Since childhood, Zhang Wanwan has always felt that Zhang Ziyiqi's eyes are oppressive. In the past, she could never tell a lie under such a look. But it's different now. She is no longer the same Zhang Wanwan as before. She was reborn from 10 years later, and she had already experienced separation and death. She is the Oscar winner 10 years later if she wants to act. Even Zhang Ziyiqi won't be able to see through her. Zhang Wanwan looked normal, and continued to speak slowly in the same low voice as before. Because the program requires it, the production team needs to check the family situation. So I took it to Sister Lin to make a copy of the household registration book. If you don't believe me, you can call Sister Lin. I've already asked. Zhang Ziyiqi narrowed his eyes. Zhang Wanwan's hands hidden under the table suddenly clenched. But the expression on his face did not change at all. And he continued, then you should know that what I said is true. Zhang Wanwan was a little panicked at this time. She did not collude with Sister Lin in advance. She didn't know what Sister Lin said to Zhang Ziyiqi. But she knew that she had to stay calm now. Zhang Ziyiqi looked at her for a moment. Then he retracted his gaze and said in a dull voice, let's eat. Zhang Wanwan breathed a sigh of relief. Zhang Ziyiqi didn't ask any more questions, which meant that he believed her now. Maybe Zhang Ziyiqi had never asked Sister Lin before and was just deceiving her just now. If she showed any sign of weakness, she might be discovered. Zhang Ziyiqi and Su Yan started using their chopsticks one after another. And then Zhang Wanwan picked up the chopsticks, picked up a piece of food and put it into her mouth. The food is cold. It was even colder than the lunchboxes she had on the set. Moreover, the taste is completely different from the dishes cooked by Shen Feng. She took a few bites and it tasted like wax. Then Zhang Ziyiqi spoke again. Go ahead and tell your agent to cancel this dating variety show. You are still in the rising stage of your career. And you are still young when you have time. Shoot more movies and appear less in these messy variety shows. Zhang Ziyiqi said as he picked up some food for Zhang Wanwan. Especially, don't appear on these variety shows with random people. The chopsticks in Zhang Wanwan's hand froze. She looked up at Zhang Ziyiqi and said, if the person I'm working with this time is not Shen Feng, but another star, would you agree? Zhang Ziyiqi pushed up his glasses and said, it depends on who it is. You are a star now, so you have to be careful about the impact. Zhang Wanwan smiled. She put down her chopsticks and shook her head. Dad, the variety show is arranged by the company, and we have already signed a contract with the production team. If I don't go, or Shen Feng doesn't go, we will have to pay a large amount of liquidated damages, so there is no way to cancel it. I know you have always looked down on Shen Feng because you think his family is not worthy of ours. But now Shen Sheng is also going to debut with his looks. I don't know how popular he will be in the future, but he will definitely be good. Isn't it time for you to put aside your prejudice against him? Zhang Ziyiqi also put down his chopsticks. He stared at Zhang Wanwan, his voice becoming more serious. Zhang Wanwan, I know you like Shen Feng. And I hope you understand that your mother, and I don't want you to be with Shen Feng. It's for your own good. Even if Shen Feng debuts, what can he bring to you? He has been tied to you since his debut. And in the future he can only be a vampire riding on your popularity. He can't bring you anything. I hope you find a better partner because I hope he can help you reach a higher level. Like Mr. Wang as son and Mr. Sun as son whom I introduced to you before. Which one is not better than Shen Feng? At the side, Su Yan also said, Wanwan, your father is doing this for your own good. We all hope that you can find someone who is as good as you. Who can bring you happiness in the future. Shen Feng is not from the same world as us. Even if he really becomes a star, he can't be compared with you. If you really can't turn down this variety show, forget it after all. It's arranged by your company after you can. You have to stay away from Shen Feng, do you understand? Be good, don't you listen to your parents the most? Zhang Wanwan lowered her head and said nothing. Suddenly, she stood up and looked at Su Yan and Zhang Ziyiqi seriously. Dad, Mom, I don't know how you decided that Shen Feng can't bring me happiness. But I feel happy when he's by my side. You don't know how long I've been waiting for him. Nor do you understand the feelings between us. I'm sure he's the one I want to spend my life with. Zhang Ziyiqi frowned. How old are you? Do you know what love, happiness, and liking are? Why shouldn't I know? I'm not a kid anymore. Zhang Wanwan, who had never contradicted Zhang Ziyiqi before, suddenly interrupted Zhang Ziyiqi. This surprised Zhang Ziyiqi and Su Yan. Even Zhang Wanwan herself was stunned. Her eyes were red and she bit her lips. After a moment, she reached out to wipe away her tears. He said in a hoarse voice, "Sorry, Dad? I'm full, I'm going back now." After saying that, she turned and left. Suyen hurriedly followed behind and said, "Wanwan, you haven't even eaten 2 bites, where are you going back to? Just stay at home today." At the dining table, Zhang Ziyi frowned, took off his glasses and rubbed his forehead. Finally, he slammed his fist hard on the table. Zhang Wanwan ran out of the Zhang family and walked alone on the street. Although she already knew that this dinner tonight was destined to be a bad one. But I didn't expect it to end in such a bad way. Walking in silence on the brightly lit streets of Zhonghe City. The bright lights, the hustle and bustle of life, all of this seemed to have nothing to do with her. She didn't know where she was going, or even what she was thinking. Her mind was a mess. As Zhang Wanwan was walking with her head down, she suddenly felt that she bumped into someone. She finally came to her senses and subconsciously lowered her head to apologize. "I'm sorry." Then I saw the other party stretch out his hand, holding a cup of milk tea and a bag of snacks in his hands. Zhang Wanwan raised her head in surprise. Shen Feng stood in front of her and said softly, "You didn't eat enough tonight, I bought you some food. I wanted to walk to your house and send you a message so you could pick it up. But I didn't expect to meet you here." Shen Cheng was still saying something. But Zhang Wanwan couldn't hear clearly. She just felt that the grievances she had just suffered from her parents seemed to have found an outlet to vent. She threw herself at Shen Feng, hugged him tightly, and burst into tears in his arms. Shen Cheng held her in his arms and patted her back gently. The world is bustling with traffic, but it seems that this is the only place where she can live. In the pavilion of the street park, the street lights here are broken and it's very dark. Shen Feng was sitting in the dark pavilion, and Zhang Wanwan was sitting in his arms, drinking milk tea and eating snacks. Shen Cheng held up his cell phone to illuminate her. Zhang Wanwan did not mention what happened to her at home, nor did she say why she was crying. In fact, Zhang Wanwan was very afraid of Shen Feng's questioning, because she didn't know how to tell Shen Feng. Her parents were very opposed to them being together. But fortunately, Shen Feng didn't ask. In fact, the reason why Shen Feng didn't ask was because he already knew the Zhang family's attitude towards him. Zhang Wanwan's father, Zhang Zhe, had opposed him and Zhang Wanwan being together a long time ago. But to be honest, ever since Shen Feng stepped into that 300-time cycle, he has come to terms with it. He doesn't blame Zhang Ziyi, because Shen Feng discovered that if he were Zhang Ziyi, he would never agree to his daughter being with the former Shen Feng. What kind of person was Shen Feng in the past? Cowardly, humble, dull and wooden. As soon as Zhang Ziyi talked to him, he became timid and didn't dare to pursue Zhang Wanwan anymore. He didn't think about how to work hard to improve himself or how to be worthy of Zhang Wanwan. He chose to give up on Zhang Wanwan out of inferiority. As for this kind of person, Shen Feng felt that if he were Zhang Ziyi, he would not only oppose this kind of person being with Zhang Wanwan, but he would also slap this person hard and ask him whether he is a man. If Zhang Wanwan is a flower in the sun, then Shen Feng was probably just a small insect hiding in the shadow of the flower. Maybe he has his shining points, but only Zhang Wanwan, who truly likes him, can discover them. So Shen Feng never blamed Zhang Wanwan's parents. He blames himself. In the past, he was indeed not worthy of Zhang Wanwan. But now, he is different. He is no longer timid and cowardly. Nor is he incompetent and inferior. He has the ability and will definitely change Zhang Wanwan's parents' opinion of him. After eating, Shen Feng wanted to send Zhang Wanwan back to rest. Zhang Wanwan shook her head. He frowned and said sadly, "Your brother is in a bad mood right now. He wants to play for a while before going back. Do you have any objection?" "No problem," Shen Feng said immediately. "How about going to an internet cafe? I want to play games." "Is that a problem?" "No problem," Shen Feng answered quickly. "Well, life is all about struggle. I've slept for the whole afternoon. If I go back to sleep now, what's the difference between me and a pig?" "No difference," Shen Feng answered habitually. "Zhang Wanwan." She glared at Shen Feng. Shen Feng seemed to realize that he had said the wrong thing and changed his words. "What I mean is, how can you be compared with a pig?" "Zhang Wanwan?" She picked up a stick from the ground, chased Shen Feng and beat him. The two ran in the park on the street for a long time. And finally Zhang Wanwan angrily threw the wooden stick at Shen Feng. Shen Feng turned his head away, then walked to Zhang Wanwan with a smile. "Do you feel better now?" Zhang Wanwan rolled her eyes. "What a ghost, you are pissing me off to death." But having said that, Zhang Wanwan was still quite touched. Shen Feng deliberately made such a fuss with her, which indeed improved her originally depressed mood a lot. She reached out and poked Shen Feng. "I was tired from running just now, and now I can't walk anymore. Do you know what to do?" "I know, I'll call you a taxi." "Why take a taxi? Just carry me." In the end, Shen Chun obediently carried Zhang Wanwan on his back and walked out of the street park. Zhang Wanwan lay on Shen Feng's back, leaning on his shoulder. Looking at Shen Feng's profile, Zhang Wanwan had a smile on her face. No matter how unhappy she was before, her mood would seem to improve once she saw Shen Feng. In particular, Feng Zi now seems to have a much higher emotional intelligence. It's really comfortable to be with him. However, when she thought of her parents' opposition, the smile on Zhang Wanwan's face gradually faded and she became a little disappointed. Shen Feng has been observing Zhang Wanwan's little emotions. Seeing Zhang Wanwan looking lonely again, Shen Feng sighed in his heart. He turned his head and gently touched Zhang Wanwan's face. You don't have to worry about your uncle. I know their attitude towards me. And I have ways to change their perception of me. Just be happy every day and leave the rest to me. Okay? Zhang Wanwan's face turned a little red. She pressed her head hard on Shen Feng's shoulder and said in a muffled voice, I don't want to leave everything to you, at least I will wash the dishes in the future. And you can't snatch them from me. Shen Feng smiled and said, Okay, I won't fight with you from now on, we'll let you wash our dishes. This way, even if you can't be an actor, at least you'll have a skill and won't starve to death. And we can open a restaurant, you cook and I wash the dishes. No, don't we need someone to serve the dishes? Then we have to hire someone. And we have to pay him a salary. Hearing Zhang Wanwan really mumbling and calculating, Shen Feng couldn't help but interrupt. If we have another child, we won't have to hire anyone. Zhang Wanwan, who was thinking, froze in her tracks. Then, the little face turned red. She slapped Shen Feng hard. What nonsense are you talking about? Why is Feng Zi becoming more and more outspoken? Even giving birth was brought up. And we won't have the baby. If you don't like children, then we won't have it. Shen Feng looked as if he was admitting his mistake and giving in. I didn't say didn't like children. Zhang Wanwan patted Shen Feng again. Can you please stop misinterpreting what I mean? Is it because you didn't learn Chinese well and your reading comprehension is not good enough? Shen Feng was helpless. So you mean you like children? Do you like boys or girls? Of course I like girls. I don't want to raise a little boy, he is so naughty. Then let's have a little girl later. Is this something you can have just because you want it? Do you think you're buying vegetables at the market and can get whatever you want? No, why are we talking about having children again? I'm going to piss you off to death just by chatting with you. Zhang Wanwan was confused by Shen Feng, so she just took turns patting Shen Feng's back with both hands and gave him a combination Thai massage. Shen Feng was beaten so hard that he begged for mercy repeatedly. All those times when I teased Zhang Wanwan and pretended to be stupid were fake. But now the begging for mercy is genuine. After all, who can withstand such a combo from Brother Wan? Almost beat up Shen Feng's dinner. After playing and laughing all the way, Shen Feng carried Zhang Wanwan on his back to a relatively remote small internet cafe. This is the old place he and Zhang Wanwan often come to. Before Zhang Wanwan became a star, she had dragged Shen Feng along many times in the middle of the night, climbed over the wall of Zhang Haeno, one middle school, and come here to surf the internet. Pushing open the old door of the internet cafe, Zhang Wanwan jumped off Shen Feng's back and said excitedly, Lao Wang, let's go online. Come to think of it, she actually felt a little nostalgic. In her previous life, ever since Shen Feng got into trouble, she had never come to this internet cafe again. By this calculation, she hasn't been here for 10 years. The internet cafe was very quiet, with only a few people surfing the internet when she shouted. Everyone looked at her. Zhang Wanwan suddenly realized that she didn't seem to be wearing a mask. She was just thinking about whether to cover her face to avoid being recognized when Shen Feng leaned towards her. It directly blocks the view of other people surfing the internet. At the front desk of the internet cafe, an old man with barely any hair was eating a plate of dumplings. He is the Lao Wang mentioned by Zhang Wanwan, the owner of the internet cafe. Lao Wang took a bite of the dumplings, glanced at Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng, and suddenly chuckled. It's been a while since you came here. I heard that this guy is going to be a star too? Although this old man is quite old, he is engaged in the internet industry after all, and is exposed to a lot of news online. Shen Feng smiled and didn't respond. Instead, he said, Whole place, open 2 and 2 bottles of Arctic Ocean. Cold. Okay. Lao Wang casually clicked on the computer, brought drinks to the 2 people, and without asking for their ID cards, signaled that they could go online. Sitting in front of the computer, Shen Feng wanted to ask Zhang Wanwan what she wanted to play. But when he turned around, he found that Zhang Wanwan was staring at him. The eye circles seemed to be red again. Shen Feng was startled. Wan Ji, what happened again? No, it's okay. Lao Wang didn't clean up. There was too much dust, it flew into my eyes. Zhang Wanwan rubbed her eyes. In fact, when she looked at Shen Feng, she remembered her past life. In her previous life, she had skipped school with Shen Feng countless times to come to this internet cafe. Every time, she would sit here, and Shen Feng would sit next to her. Sometimes they play a few games together, and sometimes they watch movies or TV series. At that time, they were very happy every day. In fact, Zhang Wanwan felt like it was a dream the whole day. She was reborn, and Shen Feng was still alive. Shen Feng confessed his love and they got married. It all seems like a dream, especially now. When Shen Feng sat beside her, the scenes in her memory overlapped with the scenes before her eyes. Zhang Wanwan felt as if she was in another world. No, not the feeling. She took a long sip of her Arctic Ocean soda. The cold carbonic acid gas mixed with the sour taste of orange went down her throat, stimulating Zhang Wanwan soberly. She rubbed her eyes and laughed out loud. This is the other world. Thank God for giving her a chance to be reborn. In the corner of the internet cafe, two people started a game of League of Legends. In the match, no one played ADC and support positions, so the two of them took over the bottom lane duo. Zhang Wanwan herself is the type of person who is both novice and playful, and her ability is average. Plus, she hasn't played this game for 10 years. So after much thought, she finally chose a pendant-type auxiliary hero, the magical cat Yu Yume. This hero's skill, Yu Yume moves out, allows it to possess other players and act as a pendant without having to move. Shen Feng thought about it and chose the hero Kalista, the Spear of Vengeance. At the beginning, Zhang Wanwan hung behind Shen Feng and leisurely picked up the soda and took a sip. Leaning comfortably on the gaming chair, Zhang Wanwan waved her hand and gave Shen Feng an order. Blow up the other side. Okay, I'll make sure to complete the task, Shen Feng said with a smile. Because the opponent's bottom lane duo was relatively strong and Zhang Wanwan was relatively lazy, Shen Feng did not have any killing intent in the early stage and just honestly farmed the minions. As he approached level 4, he ran to the bushes on top of the tower and sent a signal to Zhang Wanwan. Brother Wan, put a ward here. Although Zhang Wanwan was slacking off, she was still obedient and immediately placed a sight in the bushes. As a result, less than half a minute after I set up vision, I saw the opposing jungler running towards me. Although the opponent's jungler's skin covered this vision, the opponent showed no intention of retreating. The jungler and the opposing bottom lane duo pressed towards Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan who were hiding in the tower. 3 against 1.5. As the 0.5, Zhang Wanwan immediately screamed, It's over, Feng Zi, run! But Shen Feng not only did not run away, he also deliberately stuck to the opponent's jungler, allowing the opponent's jungler to hit him. Thus when Zhang Wanwan thought that Shen Feng's operational mistake would allow the two of them to go home for free, Shen Feng suddenly flashed and widened the distance between them. Feng Zi, the bull on the opposite side is about to hit us. Before Zhang Wanwan had time to breathe a sigh of relief, she saw the opposing supportman Otter Chieftain rushing towards her with his head. However, Shen Feng seemed to have guessed this would happen long ago, and he just launched a normal attack on the opposing jungler closest to him, triggering Kalista's passive martial arts stance. Kalista, nicknamed Canyon Skateboard Shoes, has a passive ability that allows her to move a short distance after a normal attack. Using this displacement, Shen Feng once again dodged the control of the Minotaur Chief. At this time, all the enemies on the opposite side had already gone deep under the tower, and the jungler who first attacked Shen Feng had half of his health reduced by the defensive tower. The previous situation of 3 against 1.5 has now turned into 2.5 against 1.5. But the battle is obviously not over yet. The shooter on the opposite side was a little out of touch just now, but now he finally approached Shen Feng. A consecutive normal attacks knocked off a portion of Shen Feng's health bar. Zhang Wanwan became anxious and cast a weakness spell on the opposing shooter, reducing his output. Shen Feng ignored the opposing shooter at all, and continued to stab the opposing jungler with his spear, and constantly used his passive skill to adjust his position. Zhang Wanwan, who had been shouting about dying before, now looked a little dumbfounded. Although she is not very good, she can tell who is good. Shen Feng just used flash and the passive of skateboard shoes to avoid an unknown amount of damage. They should have been killed instantly, but were delayed for another 5 or 6 seconds. When did Feng Zi become so fierce? And because the opponent was a little too excited. The opponent's jungler had been beaten to low health by the defensive tower and Shen Feng. Seeing that the situation was not good, he wanted to escape. But Shen Feng, who had already adjusted his position, aimed at him and pressed the Q key. A spear shot out and stabbed straight at the opposing jungler. This spear directly triggered the tearing effect and killed the opposing jungler, taking the first blood. Then, it even pierced through the ADC on the opposite side who was standing in a straight line with the jungler with a tearing effect. It reduced some of his health. At this time, Shen Feng's own jungler finally arrived. Shen Feng, who was in a bad condition, saved his life with the help of Zhang Wanwan's healing spell, while their jungle harvested the heads of the opposing bottom lane duo. Zhang Wanwan felt a little thrilling. It was originally a fatal wave. But not only was Shen Feng able to turn it around, he also killed the opponent. This is so exciting. Feng Zi, when did you become so strong? Zhang Wanwan smacked her lips. Shen Feng was actually a little speechless. I thought I couldn't escape, so I wanted to forcibly replace the opponent's jungler to stop the loss. I didn't expect the opponent to be so excited and just gave away everything. Zhang Wanwan, well, your positioning is also very strong. You dodged a lot of skills. I just dodged one, and they missed the rest. Shen Feng is an honest man. Zhang Wanwan. In fact, Shen Feng's level is really not bad. After all, in the 300,000 cycles, he had played this game countless times just to kill time. Although he is not at the top level, he is also a small master. But he really didn't expect the game to turn out like this. There were multiple jungle RS on the opposite side, and Zhang Wanwan beside him was not of much use. Shen Feng felt that it would be great if he could replace one of the opponents. In the end, we won. I can only say that the opponent is a bit stupid. Zhang Wanwan was very self-aware and said, he is really an opponent who is on par with me. Relying on the advantage just gained, Shen Feng's bottom lane almost completely suppressed the opponent. Coupled with Shen Feng's own operations, he was suppressing the opponent throughout the whole process. But the situation on Shen Feng's top and middle lanes was a bit miserable. Probably to balance the strength, although the opponent's bottom lane is a pair of idiots. The mid and top are both very strong. Zhang Wanwan saw that Shen Feng was having a good time while his teammates were suffering. But the idea of helping each other when one was in trouble. She said to Shen Feng, you can play here by yourself. I'll go take care of my teammates. After saying that, the kitten on the computer screen swayed and floated over to the teammates. A few minutes later, a prompt appeared on the screen that Song Dan and Zhang Wanwan were both killed. An old useless guy, damn, do you know how to play this cat? Where is your skill? You will die if you give me a bite of blood. You are too useless, stop playing LOL and go play Connect the Dots. When Zhang Wanwan saw that she was being criticized, she couldn't bear it anymore. No more drinks. Roll up your sleeves and pick up the keyboard. Shen Feng observed a 3-second moment of silence for his mid-lane teammate named Yizhi La V. His youngest brother might not be good at gaming, but if we really want to talk about trolling, I heard some typing on Zhang Wanwan's keyboard, and then a long string of text popped up on the screen. 1GEWUD, you still have the nerve to criticize me. I sprinkled a handful of rice on the keyboard, and the chickens can move better than you. 1GEWUD, when you didn't say anything, I thought the system had assigned me a human computer. As soon as you spoke, I realized that the system had assigned me something else. 1GEWUDI, even waste can be recycled, but you are not even worth recycling. 1GEWD, I wonder if God thought I was having too much fun today and sent you to disgust me. I can only say that you succeeded in disgusting me. 1GE is invincible. There are only two differences between you and the soldiers. One is that you can type, and the other is that it is easier for the enemy to kill you than to supplement the soldiers. 1GEWD, why are you silent? No way, no way. There won't be someone who is so bad at gaming that he can't even criticize others. There won't be anyone that pathetic, right? 1GEWD. I feel that not only your operation is poor, but your eyesight is also poor. And you can't see the results clearly otherwise, how can you? Who is 08, have the nerve to criticize me? Who is 328? The mid lane R, who had just been scolded by Zhang Wanwan and had no place to interrupt, finally found a point of entry. A useless old man, 328? You still have the nerve to say that? Isn't it all because of that bot laner who carried you? If I were to fight against a shooter like that, I would have a better record than you even with my eyes closed. An old useless guy, a useless assistant like you should just find a boyfriend to take care of you instead of causing trouble for us. No, you are so foul-mouthed. How can you find a boyfriend? Who is so blind to like you? An old useless guy, skateboard boss. Don't you think so? Seeing that Shen Sheng was already going crazy, the mid laner felt that only if the big guy spoke up himself could he scare this useless support. Feng Zi, I am her boyfriend. An old useless man. An old useless person. An old useless guy, excuse me. After having a conflict with the mid laner, Zhang Wanwan was too lazy to help him. Then he went straight to the road again. A few minutes later, the top laner who was killed and returned home typed subconsciously, love to eat caramel candy fruit, you cat. Zhang Wanwan glared. 1GEWUDI, think about it again? The top laner took a look at the verbal fight that just happened between Zhang Wanwan and the mid laner. Finally, he swallowed and added a few more words. Love caramel candy fruit. Really cute. Zhang Wanwan was finally satisfied. Although the opponent's mid and top lanes are strong, they are still a little inferior to Shen Feng. In less than 30 minutes, Shen Feng led his teammates to defeat the opponent and won the victory. After finishing a game, Zhang Wanwan felt refreshed looking at her pretty good performance. She patted Shen Feng beside her and said, "Not bad. Feng Zi, I didn't expect you to be so good, you must play a lot." Chen Cheng said modestly, "I play it occasionally when I have time." Come on, play 2 more games while my hands are hot. You are just blasting people for being hot-headed. What are you talking about? Hurry up and start." The two played a few more games until 12 o'clock. When they finally won, Chen Feng saw that it was getting late and wanted to take Zhang Wanwan back home. Zhang Wanwan was reluctant to leave, however, and insisted on staying in the internet cafe. "Why go home? I'm staying up all night today. Actually, there's a show I've been wanting to watch, so why don't you watch it with me?" Chen Feng had no choice but to accompany her and watch TV series with Zhang Wanwan. Because Lao Wang's internet cafe is relatively remote, there are not many people surfing the internet, and even fewer people staying up all night. After 12 o'clock, only Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were left in the internet cafe. When Lao Wang strolled over to Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng, he wanted to ask them when they would leave. "I saw that Zhang Wanwan had fallen asleep at some point." Shen Feng deliberately moved his chair closer to Zhang Wanwan so that Zhang Wanwan could rest her head on his shoulder. Shen Cheng looked at Lao Wang and made a hushing gesture. Lao Wang nodded and lowered his voice and whispered, "Are you leaving later? Our network administrator who works the night shift is not working today. And there are no customers now. I plan to go home first." Shen Cheng helplessly glanced at Zhang Wanwan who was sleeping soundly, and then said to Lao Wang apologetically, "I shouldn't leave for now. Maybe it will be later." "Okay, then you can rest here. I've put the door lock at the door, just lock it when you leave." Chen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were both customers he was very familiar with, so Lao Wang felt comfortable keeping them in the store. Before leaving, Lao Wang turned off the lights in the internet cafe. The internet cafe suddenly became dark, with only Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's computers still emitting light. The light from the screen shone on Zhang Wanwan's face. Looking at her sleeping face, she looked so peaceful and calm. A smile appeared on Shen Feng's face unconsciously. "It must be uncomfortable to sleep while sitting with your head tilted." Zhang Wanwan woke up after sleeping for more than an hour. She wiped the saliva from the corner of her mouth dazedly, looked at the dim internet cafe, and asked, "What time is it now?" "It's past 2 o'clock, do you want to go back?" Shen Feng replied. Zhang Wanwan mumbled, "Well, but I still want to stay up all night." "It's already 6 o'clock now, we pulled an all-nighter. Do you want to go home and catch up on some sleep?" "Really? All right then." Zhang Wanwan was already confused at this moment, and she just followed whatever Shen Feng said. Shen Feng smiled, rubbed her head, and helped her stand up. After turning off the computer and locking the door of the internet cafe, Shen Cheng took Zhang Wanwan, who was still asleep, and walked down the street at 2 o'clock in the morning. There were no pedestrians around, only a few cars passing by occasionally. The night seemed so quiet. It was as if it belonged only to him and Wanwan. Shen Cheng really enjoyed this feeling. In the past cycle, Shen Cheng really wanted to walk on the quiet streets in the early morning with Zhang Wanwan. But he never succeeded, because every time it reaches 12 o'clock, he will loop directly back to 6 o'clock in the morning on July 31st. He had no early morning at all. However, although he enjoyed this feeling, Shen Feng still found a taxi. This place is quite far from Zhang Wanwan's villa. If you walk there, it will probably take more than an hour. Zhang Wanwan was so sleepy that she could hardly walk steadily, but Shen Cheng was reluctant to let her wander outside for too long. After taking a taxi back to the villa, Shen Feng carried Zhang Wanwan, who had fallen asleep in the car, upstairs. After putting her on the bed, Shen Cheng wanted to leave, but Zhang Wanwan somehow grabbed his hand, quite hard. Shen Feng stood by the bed, hesitating for a long time. Finally, "Take a deep breath. They are already a legal couple. What's wrong with sleeping together?" He also lay on the bed, next to Zhang Wanwan. He reached out and gently hugged Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan uttered her, in confusion. She squinted her eyes and glanced at Shen Feng. Shen Feng smiled and said to her, "Go to sleep, good night." "Well, good night." Zhang Wanwan mumbled to herself and fell into a deep sleep again. Shen Cheng hugged her gently and wanted to sleep too. But when Zhang Wanwan put all her limbs on him like an octopus, Shen Feng felt that he was having trouble sleeping. Early the next morning, at 6 o'clock in the morning, Zhang Wanwan was awakened by the ringing of Shen Feng's cell phone. She opened her eyes. As a result, at the first glance, I saw Shen Feng with dark circles under his eyes. Zhang Wanwan. Shen Feng. The two looked at each other for a moment. Then, Zhang Wanwan suddenly screamed. Then he used the rabbit kick eagle trick and kicked Shen Feng off the bed. You, Feng Zi, why are you sleeping with me?" Jiang Wanwan's face was like a ripe apple. Chen Sheng climbed up from the ground, holding his stomach and sighed. I carried you to bed last night and wanted to sleep outside. But you held me back and wouldn't let me go. Nonsense. How could I be that kind of person? Probably not. As she spoke, Jiang Wanwan suddenly felt a little unsure, because she vaguely remembered that she had a dream last night. I dreamed that she turned into Yumi in the game, holding Shen Feng's thigh and fighting in Summoner's Rift. Because she was afraid of being thrown off, she seemed to hold on tightly. Chen Sheng didn't know what this little girl was thinking at the moment, but he felt that he was quite wrong. It's not that he doesn't want to be a gentleman. It was clearly Jiang Wanwan who pulled him to sleep together. As a result, not only did he not sleep that night, but he also got kicked in the morning. Feeling very aggrieved, Shen Feng silently left the room and went downstairs. Seeing his back walking away, Jiang Wanwan felt a little embarrassed. Not only did he wrongly accuse Shen Feng, he also kicked him. Feng Zi wouldn't be angry. Should she go find Feng Zi and apologize? Thinking of this, Jiang Wanwan quietly went downstairs. I saw Shen Feng making breakfast in the kitchen. Feng Zi. I was too sleepy yesterday, so I might have pulled you by accident. I misunderstood you this morning, I'm sorry. Shen Sheng didn't even look back at her. He just said, it's okay, Wan brother, I'm not such a petty person. How could I blame you? Jiang Wanwan breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, her daughter Feng Zi was magnanimous and didn't take it to heart. Soon, Shen Feng came out with breakfast. Jiang Wanwan looked at the fried egg and glass of milk in front of her. He looked at the sweet and sour pork ribs in front of Shen Feng again. The expression on his face fell. You're just blaming me. You're just holding a grudge. I don't believe you. I want to eat sweet and sour pork ribs too. Ooh, Feng Zi, I was wrong. I shouldn't have misunderstood you and shouldn't have kicked you. Shen Sheng had a kind smile on his face. Do you really know you are wrong? Shen Feng, then repeat after me. Shen Feng is a gentleman. Jiang Wanwan, Shen Feng is a gentleman. Shen Feng. I wrongly blamed Shen Feng. Jiang Wanwan, I wrongly blamed Shen Feng. Shen Feng can sleep with me tonight. Jiang Wanwan. Tonight Shen sleep with you big-headed ghost. Jiang Wanwan blushed. What kind of gentleman is this guy? It seems that the kick was not hard enough. Shen Feng picked up a piece of pork ribs with chopsticks and handed it to Jiang Wanwan's mouth. The tempting aroma made Jiang Wanwan swallow her saliva. And then she opened her mouth. As a result, Shen Feng suddenly put away his chopsticks. I got kicked today, and you misunderstood me. You should at least show some appreciation. Jiang Wanwan glared at Shen Feng. Then we can't sleep together. At least not now. They have just confirmed their relationship for one day. Why are they already thinking about having sex? Then you can think of a compensation yourself. If it can satisfy me, I will give it to you. Jiang Wanwan thought about it. Suddenly ran into the kitchen. Shen Feng thought that this girl was going to cook him breakfast to express her apology. As a result, Jiang Wanwan ran out with a kitchen knife in her hand. How about I give you a level 10 disability as compensation? Shen Feng. He silently pushed the sweet and sour pork ribs in front of Jiang Wanwan. Jiang Wanwan then put down the knife and a smile appeared on her face. However, she did not eat it immediately, but walked around to Shen Feng. She gently kissed Shen Feng on the side of his face. After the kiss, Jiang Wanwan immediately hugged a plate of pork ribs and started eating, not daring to even look at Shen Feng. Shen Feng couldn't help but smile as he savored the moist feeling on his face. After breakfast, Jiang Wanwan ran to wash the dishes. Shen Feng didn't fight with her for it, and just browsed his phone in the living room. On Weibo, the news about Let's Start Dating Today, and Shen Feng and Jiang Wanwan has basically been suppressed. Right now, 9 out of 10 pieces of news on the hot search list are related to the scandal of that top male star. It looks like Liu Qianfan is going to be completely confused. Shen Feng said towards the kitchen while browsing the news. Jiang Wanwan in the kitchen responded, yes, and he has done a lot of bad things. This time he will go to jail. If you do too much evil, you will eventually perish. Shen Feng shook his head and sighed with some regret. What a pity, the money spent by the company and the program team on buying hot searches has been wasted. Jiang Wanwan, who was washing dishes, also felt it was a pity. And it's a bit regrettable. In fact, since she had memories of her past life, she should have known that this top male star named Liu Qianfan would have a car accident in the next few days. However, Shen Feng had just gotten into trouble these few days in his previous life. Jiang Wanwan was so heartbroken that she had no intention of paying attention to any news from the outside world. So Jiang Wanwan didn't have a very deep impression of Liu Qianfan's matter. Shen Feng was browsing Weibo when there was a knock on the door. After looking at Jiang Wanwan, who was still cleaning in the kitchen, Shen Feng got up and opened the door. As soon as I opened the door, I heard a woman cursing, "You damn girl, you really pissed me off." It's okay that you didn't tell me about such a big thing in advance. But you even dared to secretly post on Weibo. You Ray really capable. I really want to kill you. Halfway through her scolding, the woman noticed that the person who opened the door was not Zhang Wanwan. But when she saw the man's appearance, the woman's expression became strange. Shen Xiaoshen. Morning, Sister Lin. Shen Feng naturally recognized the woman in front of him. It was Zhang Wanwan's agent, Sister Lin. Sister Lin looks to be in her 30s. She has short hair, wears professional attire, and has a very capable and straightforward temperament just like her hot temper. Shen Sheng took the suitcase that Sister Lin was dragging from her hands. Smiling, she said, "Come in first, Wanwan is washing the dishes." Sister Lin was led into the house and looked at Shen Feng a little embarrassed. "I'm sorry, Xiao Shen. I thought it would be that damn girl Wanwan who opened the door. I didn't expect it to be you." "Fine." Shen Sheng smiled politely. I sat on the sofa with Sister Lin and poured her a glass of water. In the kitchen, Zhang Wanwan shouted, "Sister Lin, wait a moment. I'll be done with it soon. This girl will actually have to do housework one day." Sister Lin glanced at the kitchen and couldn't help but sigh. It seems that marriage really does change a person. "By the way, Xiaoshan, you came early enough." Sister Lin took a sip of water and looked at Shen Feng and said. Shen Feng spread his hands honestly. "I stayed here last night." Buff. Sister Lin spat out a mouthful of water. "You slept here last night?" A gold medal agent from Lanyu Entertainment stared at Shen Feng in amazement. Although these two people had obtained their marriage certificate, they seem to be still college students, right? Are today's young people too open-minded? Or are her thinking too old-fashioned? "Well, I played outside with Wanwan for quite a long time last night. It was very late when I sent her back, so I rested here," Chen Feng said. After hearing this, Sister Lin felt more at ease. It turned out that it was just because it was too late. "So I took a break here." "That's understandable. After all, Zhang Wanwan's place is a villa after all. There are still 1 or 2 guest rooms. And you don't necessarily have to stay in one room." After wiping off the water that had just been sprayed out, Sister Lin picked up the cup and took a sip. Chatting. "Did you sleep well last night? You seem to have some dark circles under your eyes." "I slept okay, but Wanwan kicked me when I woke up this morning. And it still hurts a little." Puff. Sister Lin spat out another mouthful of water. You two slept in the same bed?" "Yes." Sister Lin was silent for a while. The expression on his face was somewhat complicated. After a long time, she said, "I feel a bit like I'm watching a good cabbage being eaten by a pig." At this moment Zhang Wanwan just came out of the kitchen. When I heard Sister Lin's words, I immediately became unhappy. "Sister Lin, I may be your precious cabbage, but Shen Feng is not a pig. How could you say that about him?" Sister Lin rolled her eyes at Zhang Wanwan. Then he said seriously, "The pig I'm talking about is you, Zhang Wanwan." Sister Lin sighed and placed her hand on the back of Shen Feng's hand. "Xiaoshen, I know this girl's temper very well. How could such a sensible and handsome young man like you fall into her clutches?" Shen Feng smiled. "Wanwan is very good, I like her very much." "Oh, is she good? If she were good, there would be no bad people in the world." Zhang Wanwan couldn't help it. "Sister Lin, why are you belittling me like that? I'm not that bad. Besides, even if I'm really bad, I found a husband. Why are you still single?" When Sister Lin heard this, she stood up immediately. Then he rushed into the kitchen and picked up a kitchen knife. Pointing at Zhang Wanwan, he said, "What did you just say? You little bitch, I've been single and I provoked you. If you dare to say that again, I'll chop you to death." Looking at the kitchen knife in Sister Lin's hand, Shen Feng finally understood. It turns out that Zhang Wanwan's habit of threatening people with a kitchen knife is a tradition. Zhang Wanwan had already hidden behind Shen Feng, and looked at Sister Lin aggrievedly and said, "You are the one who said bad things about me first. And you don't allow me to fight back?" "Is." Sister Lin raised the kitchen knife. Okay, I was wrong, I'm sorry, Sister Lin." Zhang Wanwan immediately became timid. Only then did Sister Lin put down the kitchen knife. He snorted and sat back on the couch. Looking at Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan who were leaning against each other, she suddenly sighed again. "It's really outrageous. Even a damn girl like you can find a man, so why can't I find one?" Sister Lin is almost 40 years old, and she hasn't even had a boyfriend, let alone getting married. Zhang Wanwan ran over and pinched Sister Lin's shoulders flatteringly. "Sister Lin, as long as you are less angry and more gentle in the future, you will definitely find your ideal husband." Alright, stop pinching me, sit down and let's get down to business." Zhang Wanwan sat obediently on the sofa again. Chen Sheng felt a little emotional. Zhang Wanwan was many times more honest in front of Sister Lin than in front of him. The only one who can suppress the younger brother and turn him into the younger sister is probably Sister Lin. Sister Lin took out 2 stacks of contracts from the suitcase and handed them to Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan respectively. This is the contract between Shenfeng and the company, as well as the contract between the two of you and the dating program team. Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan looked at the contract in their hands. Sister Lin was explaining some details of the contract to the two of them. We didn't ask for the higher price in the contract with the production team. After all, we joined the team to settle things, not to make money. As for the contract between Xiaoshen and the company, since I signed it personally and it didn't go through the company, I can only ask for a cheaper 6-month contract first. Sister Lin said, looking at Shenfeng. Xiaoshen, after you finish this online variety show, you can disappear. The company will not assign you any other tasks. The company will then pay you a few more months' salary, and you can just consider it as free money. Zhang Wanwan snatched the contract from Shenfeng's hand, took a look at it, and frowned. It's really only half a year, and the salary is so low. It's not as much as Feng Zi can earn as a summer job outside. For a 6-month contract, the total salary is only over 20,000 yuan. The monthly salary is only more than 3,000 yuan. After hearing Zhang Wanwan's complaints, Sister Lin rolled her eyes. You still want a high price, you know how shady Lion Yu is. I'm glad I didn't ask you to pay for it. Zhang Wanwan was a little unhappy. She put the contract down and said sullenly, how could my Feng Zi be worth so little money? When I get back, I will definitely go it alone, sign Feng Zi as my artist, and give him the highest priced contract. Wait until he comes home, and then ask him to give me all his wages. Sister Lin. Shenfeng. After being speechless for a moment, Sister Lin continued, I support you going it alone. Liu is indeed not suitable for your development. Other companies, when their artists encounter something like this, the first thing they think of is a PR plan. Liu, on the other hand, is only thinking about how to get liquidated damages from you. This is a typical case of draining the pond to catch the fish. Fortunately, Xiaochen found a way to keep it secret for you and shut up those senior executives. Otherwise, you would have to find a way to raise money now. Their contract expires at the end of the year when it's over. You can change companies or go out on your own. Zhang Wanwan nodded. In fact, it was Sister Lin who gave her the advice to go solo in her previous life. Although Sister Lin is still an employee of Lion Yu Entertainment, she has always been thinking about her sincerely. Shensheng took the contract. After going through it roughly and making sure there were no traps or major problems, I wrote my name on it. After handing the contract to Sister Lin, Shenfeng said, Sister Lin, I have another small request. I wonder if you can satisfy it. You said, as long as it's reasonable, I can help you raise it. I want to advance my salary for the past 6 months. Is that okay? After Shenfeng finished saying this, Sister Lin looked at him strangely. Are you in urgent need of money? Chao Chen? Zhang Wanwan also looked at Shenfeng and asked, if you want money, I can lend it to you? Although I can't afford the penalty, it's still okay for me to lend you some money. Shenfeng smiled and shook his head at Zhang Wanwan. And he said to Sister Lin, I do need some money. I wonder if it is convenient for the company. Sister Lin thought about it, took out her cell phone and sent a message. After a while, I received a reply from the company. Shenfeng's salary was already very low. And no matter how shady Lion Yu Entertainment was, they wouldn't be so reluctant to advance even 20,000 yuan. After signing the contract, Sister Lin talked to the two about the variety show. Because the production team is relatively poor, the few artists they signed, except Wanwan, are not very famous and their schedules are empty. So the production team said that as long as Wanwan is free, we can start filming at any time, and we hope it can be as soon as possible. So we are talking about August 5th, which means we will join the group 3 days later. Chao Chen, you should have time, right? Shenfeng nodded. That's good. The format of the show is recording live broadcast. Nowadays, live broadcast variety shows are very popular because they can interact in real time and are more realistic. The filming location is in the ancient capital of Changhan. I will stay here for the next few days. We will take a plane to Changhan together on the 4th. Sister Lin is quite competent as an agent. The time plan has already been outlined. Shensheng had no objection, but Zhang Wanwan suddenly became a little hesitant. Sister Lin, are you going to stay here for the next 2 days? Sister Lin stared at Zhang Wanwan. Why, you have so many guest rooms. Can't I stay in one? Besides, I didn't stay at your place the last time I came here. Zhang Wanwan's expression became conflicted. It's over. It's over. If Sister Lin lived here, how could she eat her sweet and sour spare ribs, sweet and sour stir-fried pork, her braised pork, and her chicken stewed with mushrooms? Sister Lin would definitely not let her eat any of these high-fat foods. Is she going to have to live a hard life of eating eggs and vegetables every day again? Sister Lin has no idea what Zhang Wanwan is thinking. She glanced at the conflicted Zhang Wanwan, then at Shen Feng. As if he had thought of something, his expression suddenly became interesting. She sneered, "Zhang Wanwan, I know what you mean." Zhang Wanwan was shocked. Could it be that she just accidentally said the name of the dish she wanted to eat? Zhang Wanwan, let me tell you, you young people must learn to be moderate and not be too indulgent. Zhang Wanwan's face fell. I didn't indulge myself too much. I just did it yesterday. That's because you've only lived with Xiaoshen for one day. If he lived with you every day, wouldn't you be indulged every day? Sister Lin said seriously. Zhang Wanwan thought about Shen Feng's superb cooking skills. If Shen Sheng cooked delicious food for her every day, she would seem to indulge in eating it to her heart's content. She lowered her head in embarrassment. It's not impossible to indulge every day. Zhang Wanwan. When Sister Lin heard this, she immediately yelled, "What are you talking about? How can you, a little girl, think about these things? Don't you have any shame? What's so shameful about this?" Zhang Wanwan felt a little aggrieved. Isn't this human nature? If you tried it, you would definitely be unable to stop. She was sure that if Sister Lin ate the food cooked by Shen Feng, she would become addicted to it like her. The taste is absolutely amazing. As a result, Sister Lin's face suddenly turned red and she slammed the table in anger. Zhang Wanwan, what are you talking about? Can you please stop being so outspoken? Fuck it, forget it. I really don't want to bother with you. But I have to tell you one thing, you can indulge yourself, but you must take protective measures, okay? Protective measures? Zhang Wanwan was puzzled. What kind of protective measures are needed when eating? Eat? What do you mean eat? Sister Lin was also confused. What are you talking about? Zhang Wanwan looked at Sister Lin in confusion. Aren't you talking about the dishes cooked by Shen Feng? I indulged myself a bit yesterday. I ate a lot of sweet and sour pork ribs after eating a burger. And of course I ate it this morning as well. But this is not my fault. It's really Shen Feng's cooking skills are so good. Really, Sister Lin, you must try it. Sweet and sour spiribus? Yeah, isn't that what you just said? Zhang Wanwan also noticed the strangeness in Sister Lin's expression at this moment. I noticed that something seemed to be wrong. The two looked at each other for a few seconds. Then, both of them reacted. Zhang Wanwan's face turned red when she realized what Sister Lin had just said. Sister Lin picked up the kitchen knife again. He glared at Zhang Wanwan and yelled, "You ate hamburgers and sweet and sour pork ribs yesterday. So the photo of the stir-fried bamboo shoots you sent me yesterday was a lie." "I didn't lie to you. I did eat bamboo shoots. I also ate 3 kinds of fresh vegetables and boiled cabbage. Why don't I eat you to death?" Sister Lin rushed towards Zhang Wanwan with a kitchen knife. Zhang Wanwan was so scared that she held her head and begged for mercy. "Stand up, get on the treadmill, and do 5 kilometers first," Sister Lin yelled. Shen Sheng felt a little sorry for his older brother. Shen Feng coughed lightly and said, "Sister Lin, Wanwan, shut up." As a result, Sister Lin, who had been very friendly to Shen Feng before, shouted at him angrily, "Xiaoshen, I haven't settled the score with you yet. You are so brave to make sweet and sour spare ribs for Zhang Wanwan. Go to the treadmill and do sit-ups. You can stop when Zhang Wanwan finishes running." Shen Feng. Shen Sheng finally understood why Zhang Wanwan was afraid of Sister Lin. To be honest, he was a little scared. At noon, Sister Lin wanted to order takeout, but Zhang Wanwan strongly recommended Shen Feng's cooking skills, saying that if Sister Lin didn't eat the food cooked by Shen Feng, she would regret it for the rest of her life. Since Zhang Wanwan said so, Sister Lin agreed. However, she specifically told Shen Feng to cook some vegetables for Zhang Wanwan and never let her eat meat. Zhang Wanwan felt very aggrieved. She sneaked into the kitchen several times when Shen Feng was cooking, and used the excuse of visiting the set to steal a lot of dishes. Seeing her like this, Shen Feng couldn't help but laugh and said, "If you eat secretly again, you will only be able to serve an empty plate to Sister Lin later. How can I eat that much? Besides, do you have the heart to let me eat only vegetables at noon? I will die," Zhang Wanwan said seriously. Shen Feng also said seriously, "If Sister Lin finds out that you are cheating, you will really die." Zhang Wanwan. Okay, let's do this. Eat less vegetables at noon. I'll cook a special dish for you and bring it to you secretly when you return to your room. Okay? As soon as Shen Feng said this, Zhang Wanwan immediately became happy. She gave Shen Feng away from half a meter away. "Fengzi, you are still on Wan Ji's side. And do you want to get closer and kiss me?" Shen Sheng moved his face closer. Zhang Wanwan slapped him in the face. "You wish. We've already kissed each other this morning. We've reached the limit. If we kiss again, we'll exceed the limit." After saying that, Zhang Wanwan picked up another piece of meat from the plate and stuffed it into her mouth. And he wiped his mouth vigorously to destroy the evidence before walking out of the kitchen. When it was time for lunch, Shen Feng served for dishes and a soup. Cumin lamb, wild tofu, braised shrimps with soybean sauce, stir-fried rapeseed, and a pot of stewed chicken soup. The rapeseed was naturally Zhang Wanwan's exclusive dish, while Shen Feng and Sister Lin shared the rest. Zhang Wanwan, this foodie has praised you to this level. I have to try your cooking skills. Xiao Shen, let's see whether it's just her lover's eyes that see beauty in others, or whether you really have some skills. Sister Lin said this and put a piece of food into her mouth. After chewing for a few times, the expression on her face changed. Then he took several more bites of food. Finally, he swallowed it and said in surprise, Xiao Shen, did you graduate from New Oriental? How come your cooking skills are so good? Before Shen Feng could say anything, Zhang Wanwan said with a proud look on her face, what do you think, Sister Lin? His cooking skills are pretty good. I'm telling you, you didn't eat his sweet and sour pork ribs and boiled cabbage yesterday. That was really amazing. As Zhang Wanwan spoke, she secretly stretched out her chopsticks, wanting to pick up a piece of cumin lamb. The result still didn't escape Sister Lin's eyes. It's delicious, but you can't eat it. Zhang Wanwan took back her chopsticks angrily. Sister Lin then looked at Shen Feng and said, Xiao Chen, I'm not praising you, your craftsmanship is really good. Do you have any secrets to cooking? Teach me if I could be as good as you. I would definitely be able to find a partner. Shen Feng thought about it, and finally said seriously, in fact, the secret may be practice makes perfect. And you will get it if you do it more. Practice really does make perfect. After all, he has been cooking for himself for more than 800 years. After the meal, Sister Lin, who was full and satisfied, praised Shen Sheng with satisfaction. Then I went to the guest room to rest. When Zhang Wanwan saw Sister Lin leaving, her eyes immediately lit up. She stared at Shen Feng. Fengzi, where is the dish you made just for me? Shen Sheng walked into the kitchen and took out a large piece of golden fried chicken from the thermos lunchbox. The fragrance went straight into Zhang Wanwan's nose. Fengzi, are you the little chef? Shen Feng smiled and said, I don't have that ability. You will know after you try it. But don't eat here. If Sister Lin goes downstairs, you'll be discovered. Go back to your room and eat. Zhang Wanwan swallowed and nodded. Then he hurriedly pulled Shen Feng upstairs and went back to the room. In the room, Zhang Wanwan took a bite of the golden fried chicken fillet. After eating, the expression on his face became interesting. Wow, so sweet, it's honey. Shen Feng reached out to help her wipe the honey off her mouth and said softly, I know you like sweet things, so I made this honey juice especially for you. You're so nice, Fengzi. Zhang Wanwan ate with big mouthfuls and spoke incoherently. Only after finishing the whole chicken steak did Zhang Wanwan let out a sigh of satisfaction. Oh, it's really delicious when I think about the fact that I can only eat such delicious food secretly. I really want to cry. Fengzi, you don't know, living under Sister Lin's high-pressure sanctions is really too hard. Shen Feng rubbed her head. Do you want to escape her punishment in the next 2 days? Do you have a solution? Zhang Wanwan's eyes lit up. I'm going to go home and tell my parents about this. Do you want to come with me? Okay, no, let me think about it. Zhang Wanwan agreed immediately. But soon he seemed to remember something and started to worry with his head down. Zhang Wanwan is in a complicated mood now. She actually really wanted to go with Shen Feng. She had met Shen Feng's parents countless times. Both of them were very nice people and she liked them very much. But now, her identity is different. Originally she went there as Shen Feng's friend. But now she went there as Shen Feng's wife. The gap is too big. I secretly asked Fengzi to get married. Will my uncle and aunt blame me? Whether they check Weibo or not, will they already know? What if they are like my parents and don't agree with us being together? She felt like she was about to have a headache. Shen Sheng could roughly guess what Zhang Wanwan was worried about. He squatted down and looked at Zhang Wanwan, and said softly, don't think too much. In fact, my parents have been wondering for a long time when I can catch you. They all like you very much, really. Having said that, Zhang Wanwan still felt nervous. Finally, Shen Feng sighed and used his trump card. Anyway, I have to go home. I may not be back before tomorrow night. If you don't come with me, you'll have to eat with Sister Lin. And I won't be able to secretly cook for you then you. Let's go. When do we leave? Zhang Wanwan said immediately. When Sister Lin woke up from her nap at noon, she found that there was no one in the villa. She wanted to take out her cell phone to ask where Zhang Wanwan had gone. As a result, as soon as she opened WeChat, she saw the message Zhang Wanwan had sent her before. Dead girl, Sister Lin, I have something to do and I have to stay out for the next 2 days. I will be back on the 4th. Don't miss me too much. Bye. This Zhang Wanwan actually ran away. Sister Lin made a phone call immediately. You stupid girl, you are the master of this house. Now you, the master, leave the guests behind and run away. What the hell did you do? And don't think I don't know what you're thinking. You just want to have a good meal behind my back, right? I'm telling you it's impossible, get back here right now. Zhang Wanwan on the other end of the phone said honestly. Sister Lin, you misunderstood me. I really have something important to do. I haven't told Shen Feng's parents about my marriage certificate yet. I, an ugly daughter-in-law, have to meet my parents-in-law. Right? I'm already on a long-distance bus going to Shen Feng's house. Oops, it seems the signal is not very good. I'll hang up first. After saying that, Zhang Wanwan hung up the phone. Sister Lin was so angry that she gritted her teeth. On the other side, Zhang Wanwan let out a long sigh after hanging up the phone. She looked at Shen Feng and asked, Fengzi, are you almost done cleaning up? In fact, she and Shen Feng never took a long-distance bus. At this time, the two of them were staying in the dormitory where Shen Feng lived when he was working, helping Shen Feng pack his things. Shen Feng's summer job is as a lecturer in an after-school training institution of an elementary school. Although he hasn't graduated from college yet, he has no problem tutoring elementary school students. Accommodation is provided here, and there is a dormitory kitchen where you can cook your own meals. There are weekends off. Shen Feng has been working here for a month. When I told my boss that I wanted to resign, he agreed readily. He also asked Shen Feng for an autograph. It turned out that the boss also saw the news about Shen Feng on Weibo and knew that Shen Feng was going to debut as an artist. Shen Feng packed his things for accommodation and looked at the dormitory, feeling somewhat melancholy. On the surface, he had only lived here for a month. But in fact, he has lived here for more than 800 years. Every morning, he would be woken up by the alarm clock on this simple hard bed. Because July 31st was a Saturday and he had a day off, he could do whatever he wanted on that day. In this small dormitory, he experienced too much and learned too much. I remembered too much and also forgot too much. Zhang Wanwan stood beside Shen Feng. For some reason, she felt that Shen Feng seemed a little lost. Zhang Wanwan is not very good at comforting people. She didn't know what to say, so she could only walk to Shen Feng's side and gently hold Shen Feng's hand. The warmth of Zhang Wanwan's hand brought Shen Feng back to his senses. He looked at Zhang Wanwan with a smile and said, It's okay. Let's go. Here, it has become the past. The person standing next to him is his present and future. After packing up and leaving the dormitory, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan went to the station and took a bus to Qingliu County under Zhonghe City. There happened to be 2 empty seats in the car, so the two of them sat side by side. Zhang Wanwan sat by the window and looked at the scenery along the way. Shen Feng sat next to Zhang Wanwan and looked at her all the way. Qingliu County is not far from the city, about an hour away. Soon, the two got out of the car. Looking at this familiar yet unfamiliar city, both of them were filled with emotion. Zhang Wanwan sighed because in her previous life, she rarely came to this county town after Shen Feng's accident, because she was afraid of being reminded of someone when seeing the object. She would only come every year when she worshipped Shen Feng and visited Shen Feng's parents. Shen Feng sighed because he had come back here many times in the 300 cycles. But it was only this return to Qingliu County that truly gave Shen Feng a sense of reality, a feeling that he was really back. The two looked at each other and smiled. The county town is not big, and Shen Feng's home is not far from the station. The two of them walked side by side along the street. Fengzi, that's our elementary school. It looks like it's been renovated. See that big tree? We climbed over it together and you fell down. Remember? This store is still there, and it seems the owner is still the same. But he has become an old man. Zhang Wanwan talked non-stop all the way. Although she had come back here many times in her previous life, she had never been in the mood to see the scenery here. Because wherever she looked, all she saw were memories of her and Shen Feng. In her previous life, she didn't want to think about all this. And now, she was eager to recall everything and share their past with Shen Feng. Shen Feng just smiled and listened, accompanying Zhang Wanwan. They recalled their childhood together. It's great. A lot has changed here, but a lot has remained the same. Zhang Wanwan suddenly sighed, at least it can still hold our memories. After walking for more than 20 minutes, the two arrived in front of a somewhat old residential building. In the small courtyard in front of the residential building, several old men and women were fanning themselves with palm leaf fans and chatting in the shade. Seeing Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan coming, an old lady suddenly said, Hey, isn't this their Fengzi? Are you back? Yes, Grandma Wang. You're back. Shen Sheng nodded politely. Grandma Wang responded and looked at Zhang Wanwan who was beside Shen Feng. Hey, did you bring your girlfriend back? No, this little girl looks so familiar. Zhang Wanwan took off her mask and smiled at Grandma Wang. Grandma, you still remember me? Hey, Wanwan, I was wondering why you looked so familiar. It turned out to be you, little girl. I saw the TV series you starred in. And they said you are a big star now. No, I've only filmed a few movies. I'm not a big star. Grandma Wang, how are you feeling lately? Grandma Wang said with a smile, very good, very good. By the way, we are having dumplings at home tonight. Come and eat together then. No need to trouble you, Grandma Wang, thank you. After chatting with Grandma Wang for a few words, the two walked into the residential building. Entering the stairs, Zhang Wanwan smiled and said, Grandma Wang doesn't look any older. She looks the same as she did several years ago. When I was a kid, I often ate dumplings made by Grandma Wang. They were much better than the ones I made at home. Shen Sheng held her hand and walked upstairs while saying, if you want to eat dumplings, how about I make some for you tonight? Really? Okay, I want celery and meat. Going up to the 4th floor, Shen Sheng knocked on the door of room 402. Zhang Wanwan looked at the door of room 401. She subconsciously reached out and touched the door handle of room 401. There was a layer of dust on it. A long time ago, there lived a little girl here. She often goes to school, goes home from school, and goes out to play with the little boy next door. Grow up together, fall in love together, get a marriage certificate together. That little girl is her. This was her former home. Mom. Fengzi, why are you back? The voice behind her brought Zhang Wanwan back to her senses. She turned around and found that the door of room 402 was open. Shen Feng's mother Tang Ping was standing at the door, talking to Shen Feng. She was a little nervous, but she still stepped forward and greeted Tang Ping. Hello, Auntie? Just now, Zhang Wanwan was standing behind Shen Feng, and Tang Ping really didn't notice that there was another person in the corridor. After taking a closer look, Tang Ping's face suddenly lit up with a smile. Isn't this Wanwan? Old Shen, look who's here. Having said that, Tang Ping ignored Shen Feng and pulled Zhang Wanwan into the house. He almost locked Shen Feng out of the door. Shen Sheng touched his nose when he saw this, and thought that Zhang Wanwan was Tang Ping's biological daughter. In the room, Shen Xiaojiuo, who was sitting on the sofa watching TV, hurried out upon hearing the sound. As soon as he saw Zhang Wanwan, he immediately came over with a smile. Wanwan, why are you here? Are you here alone? Come on, sit down, you haven't been here for a long time. Hearing this, Shen Feng complained helplessly, Comrade Shen Xiaojiuo. What do you mean she came here alone? Didn't you see that I am such a big person? Hey, Fengzi, if you hadn't said anything I really wouldn't have noticed you. Alright, stop making fun of me, go to the refrigerator and get a bottle of drink for Wanwan. Shen Sheng suddenly felt a little sad. As someone who had just walked in, Gang Wanwan was treated with great kindness. On the other hand, Shen Feng, as the only child of the Shen family, had to be busy serving tea and water to people. I walked to the kitchen and took a few drinks from the refrigerator. Shen Feng looked at the familiar furnishings in the kitchen and was filled with emotion for a moment. I'm back home, he muttered, returning to the living room with his drink. In the living room, Tang Ping and Shen Xiaojiuo were surrounding Zhang Wanwan and asking her questions. Ask Zhang Wanwan how she is doing, ask Zhang Wanwan if she has been filming recently, and ask Zhang Wanwan how her family is doing. Zhang Wanwan, who had been so domineering in front of Shen Feng, now seemed like a good kid, answering their questions honestly. Shen Sheng put the drink on the table, glanced at Tang Ping and Shen Xiaojiuo, and said, Mom and Dad, we came back this time for something. He originally wanted to say that he and Zhang Wanwan had obtained their marriage certificate. As a result, Tang Ping rolled her eyes at him and said, What are you talking about? Do you have any good eyesight? You know to bring the drink over, but you don't know how to open it? Shen Sheng had no choice but to open the bottle of drink. Then he said, We came back this time because we have something to tell you. As a result, Shen Xiaojiuo glared at him again and said, Get Wanwan a cup, you want Wanwan to drink from such a big bottle of drink. Shen Sheng had no choice but to take another cup of water from under the coffee table. Then he said again, We came back because we have something to tell you. Actually, Tang Ping reached out and slapped him, You just hold the cup. Don't you know how to pour it for Wanwan? How can you be so stupid? Shen Feng sighed. He honestly poured a drink for Zhang Wanwan and handed it to her respectfully. Only then did Tang Ping and Shen Xiaojiuo feel satisfied. Tang Ping looked at Shen Feng and asked, Fengzi, what did you want to say just now? Originally Shen Feng wanted to slowly nurture their relationship and tell Tang Ping and Shen Xiaojiuo bit by bit about his marriage to Zhang Wanwan. But Shen Feng, who had been interrupted several times in a row, really couldn't come up with anything now. He said directly, I married Zhang Wanwan. At the side, Shen Xiaojiuo, who had just picked up the teacup and took a sip of tea, spit out the tea on the spot. Tang Ping was also stunned for a long time, then glared at Shen Feng and said, You little bastard. Are you kidding me? Shen Feng took out the marriage certificate and slapped it on the table. When Tang Ping picked it up and looked at it, she was immediately stunned. This it, as such an important matter. Why did you take so long to tell me after you got home? Shen Xiaojiuo snatched the marriage certificate and looked at it for a long time. and started to scold Shen Feng. Shen Feng was helpless. I wanted to say it earlier, but you have to give me a chance. He has never been idle since he returned home. Shen family. Comrade Tang Ping convened the 43rd sofa meeting of the Shen family. Comrade Shen Xiaoji Yuo attended the meeting. Comrade Shen Sheng is the person on trial. Comrade Zhang Wanwan attended the trial. Bang! Tang Ping glared angrily and slammed the table. Shen Fang, how come you didn't tell us about such a big thing as hitting a marriage certificate in advance? You suddenly got married to Wanwan, did you force her to do that? Tao Li. Shen Xiaoji Yuo slapped the table and said, speak. Zhang Wanwan feels that everyone should be responsible for their own actions. She raised her hand weakly. Uncle and aunt, actually. Tang Ping held out her hand and said, Wanwan, you don't have to speak for this brat. Let him speak for himself. Shen Feng, tell the truth. Shen Feng spread his hands helplessly. It's mainly because it happened suddenly. It happened suddenly. Tang Ping slammed the table again. What the hell is sudden? Getting a marriage certificate is such a big deal. How can it be so sudden? Shin Xiaoji Yuo also slammed the table and said, that's right. Zhang Wanwan spoke weakly. Uncle and aunt. This is indeed quite sudden, because, Wanwan, I told you not to speak for him. This kid has his own way. After Tang Ping finished speaking, she glared at Shen Feng fiercely. You stinky boy, if you are a man, you should tell me what's going on. Don't always let a woman speak for you. I don't want to speak for him. Aunt, please listen to me. Zhang Wanwan suddenly spoke loudly. Tang Ping and Shen Xiaoji Yuo immediately looked at Zhang Wanwan gently. Well, Wanwan, go ahead and talk. It was completely different from the look he had given Shen Feng before. Zhang Wanwan lowered her head, hesitated for a moment, and then said shyly, actually, I was the one who forced Feng Zi to get the certificate. Feng Zi can't be blamed. I was too impulsive. Tang Ping said to Zhang Wanwan in a gentle voice. It's okay, it's good for young people to be impulsive. Besides, I've been looking forward to you to being together for a long time. Feng Zi is a slow-moving kid, so we have to rely on you to take the initiative. Shen Feng, Comrade Tang Ping, this was not the tone you used when you spoke to me just now. Tang Ping glared at him. Shut up, you have no right to speak here. Shen Sheng closed his mouth silently. Afterwards, Tang Ping, Shen Xiaoji Yuo and Zhang Wanwan talked a lot. For example, how the two of them feel now, and whether they are adapting to life with Shen Feng. For example, whether Shen Feng is good to her, and for example, what Zhang Wanwan's family says. Zhang Wanwan answered the first few questions with a smile, but for the last one, she remained silent. Seeing Zhang Wanwan fall silent, Tang Ping and Shen Xiaoji Yuo looked at each other. They have both lived for 40 or 50 years. How could they not understand what Zhang Wanwan's behavior meant? Shen Feng suddenly said to Tang Ping, Mom, come here. I want to talk to you. Tang Ping knew that Shen Feng was probably going to talk about Zhang Wanwan's family affairs, so she nodded. The two walked to the balcony, and Shen Feng said, Mom, you know what kind of temper old Jiang's family has. There are no bad people in their family, but they do look down on ordinary people like us. So Lao Zhang has always been reluctant to let me date Wanwan, and he even came to talk to me about this. Tang Ping's expression was a little complicated. Feng Zi, what are you thinking? After all, Zhang Ziyi is Zhang Wanwan's father. If Zhang Wanwan's parents do not agree with them being together, then I'm afraid their future will be difficult. Shen Feng smiled slightly. I only know that I love her. Don't worry too much. Mom, I've already thought about my future plans. I have a way to make Zhang Ziyi fall in love with me. And I'll also let you all live a good life. Tang Ping sighed. What's the difference between good days and bad days? If you can live a good life, your parents will be very happy. You're a grown-up kid now since you know what's going on. I won't say much, but if Zhang Ziyi comes looking for you again, remember to tell Mom and Dad. We are of the same generation as Zhang Ziyi. If we say some things, it will be more effective than if you say them. Thank you, Mom, Shen Feng said with a smile. Tang Ping rolled her eyes at him and said, Why are you being so polite to Mom? Okay, I know what's going on. Go back and don't make Wanwan feel embarrassed. The two returned to the living room, and after that, Tang Ping never mentioned anything about Zhang Wanwan's family again. Zhang Wanwan breathed a sigh of relief, but felt a little sad in her heart. They are both parents, so why are Shen Feng's parents so understanding and considerate of her? But her parents? She knew that Zhang Ziyi and Su Yan were doing this for her own good, but sometimes it was so good that it made her feel suffocated. While cooking in the evening, Shen Feng told Shen Xiaoji Yuo and Tang Ping that Zhang Wanwan wanted to eat dumplings stuffed with celery and meat. Tang Ping agreed repeatedly. She needed the dough at home and asked Shen Xiaoji Yuo to go out and buy celery and minced meat. When it came time to make dumplings, Zhang Wanwan also said she wanted to make some contribution. She sat at the table, with her hair tied up and wearing an apron. Holding the dumpling skin in one hand, he carefully scooped some meat filling with a spoon and put it into the skin. She tried to pinch it carefully, but the soft dumpling skin slipped from her hand and the meat filling almost fell out. Zhang Wanwan was so scared that she was in a panic. Shen Feng walked over to her, held her hand, and instructed. If you put your hand like this, it will be more stable. When you wrap it, pinch it like this. No, it will come out if you do this. Shen Feng taught step by step, and Zhang Wanwan wrapped it step by step. It took a long time to wrap up 7 or 8 of them crookedly. Across from them, Tang Ping and Xin Xiaojiyuo, who had already wrapped 30 or 40 buns, looked at each other. There was smile in both of their eyes. After wrapping the dumplings, put them in the pot and served them on the table. The family sat around the dinner table, talking and laughing while eating. Zhang Wanwan picked up the drink and said to Tang Ping and Xin Xiaojiyuo, "Uncle, Aunt, I toast to you." As a result, Tang Ping was a little unhappy. "It's already this time, and you're still calling us like that." Shen Sheng smiled and kicked Zhang Wanwan from under the table. Zhang Wanwan certainly understood what they meant. Just somewhat, and a little shy. After lowering her head and thinking for a while, Zhang Wanwan blushed and whispered, "Dad, Mom. Hey. My dear daughter, here's a big red envelope for you." Tang Ping and Xin Xiaojiyuo were so happy that their faces were full of smiles. I don't know when Tang Ping prepared the red envelope for Zhang Wanwan, but now she took it out and handed it to Zhang Wanwan. At this time, Zhang Wanwan also knew that she couldn't be polite, so she accepted the red envelope and called Mom and Dad sweetly. This made Tang Ping and Shen Xiaojiyuo even happier. Shen Xiaojiyuo drank some wine during the meal. He drank a little too much. And while eating, he said to Zhang Wanwan in a drunken state, "Wanwan, you don't know back then, Tang Ping and I really hoped that you would be our daughter. At that time, I felt that you would definitely be more promising than Shen Feng. Luckily Shen Feng managed to catch you. Otherwise we wouldn't know how long we would have regretted it." Shen Feng touched his nose. He always felt that today was not like a daughter-in-law meeting her parents-in-law, but more like his parents adopting a daughter. Moreover, this goddaughter is more favored than his biological son. After eating and drinking, Zhang Wanwan wanted to take the initiative to wash the dishes, but Tang Ping stopped her and sent Shen Sheng to wash the dishes. She also said to Zhang Wanwan earnestly, "Wanwan, you are a big star. How can you do something like washing dishes? I'm telling you. From now on, all the housework at home, such as cooking, washing dishes, mopping the floor, sweeping the floor, and washing clothes, you can just leave it to Feng Zi." After saying that, Tang Ping shook her head again. No, Feng Zi's cooking skills will definitely blow up the kitchen. Let's not let him cook." Zhang Wanwan said hurriedly. "Uncle Mom, actually Feng Zi's cooking is really delicious now. He fried chicken steak for me at noon today, and made sweet and sour spare ribs for me yesterday. They were both very delicious." "Is it true?" Tang Ping was skeptical. "If you don't believe me, I'll cook tomorrow," Shen Feng said after coming back from washing the dishes. "Forget it, I haven't thought about renovating this kitchen yet. I don't expect you to tear it down." Tang Ping curled her lips. After chatting for a while, Shen Feng got down to business. "Mom and Dad, actually, I came back this time and there is something I want to tell you. I signed with Wanwan's agency and I'm an artist now." Shen Feng deliberately delayed talking about this matter until now, because compared to getting the marriage certificate with Zhang Wanwan, this matter is really nothing. He roughly explained the whole story to Xin Xiaojiyuo and Tang Ping. Not only did they not express any objection, they even felt a little regretful. Xin Xiaojiyuo sighed. "My son has the same looks as his father. So he's not bad looking. How come Wanwan's company only signed him for half a year? They really don't have good taste." "That's enough." Tang Ping rolled her eyes at Xin Xiaojiyuo and said, "Didn't you hear Feng Zi say that he signed the contract temporarily just to solve a problem? It's good enough that he's willing to sign for half a year. But Feng Zi, you said you were going to film some variety show with Wanwan later. Where can we watch it? Can we watch it then?" Shen Feng doesn't know much about this. Zhang Wanwan is more professional. Zhang Wanwan said, "It should be a live broadcast on the internet. You can download an app on your phone." "Yes, it's the one on your phone. Then you can search the name of our program and watch it." "Okay, I'll invite our relatives over later," Tang Ping said with a smile. Zhang Wanwan still felt quite embarrassed. Chen Xiaojiyuo and Tang Ping went to bed early. And at around 10 o'clock in the evening, they went back to rest. Zhang Wanwan had been sitting in the car for half a day and was somewhat tired. She stretched and asked, "Feng Zi, which room should I stay in tonight?" As a result, after she asked the question, she noticed that Shen Feng's eyes suddenly became strange. Why are you looking at me like that?" Zhang Wanwan asked curiously. "My house has 2 bedrooms and a living room," Shen Feng said. Zhang Wanwan blinked. "And then?" "My parents live in one room." So, Zhang Wanwan's expression also became a little unnatural. So there's only one room left. Chen Feng spread his hands. Zhang Wanwan was suddenly embarrassed. Do I have to sleep in the same bed with Feng Zi again tonight? Although she had slept in the same bed with me yesterday, she had no idea about it. Today is different. Not only was she sober today, but she was also at Shen Feng's parents' home. Zhang Wanwan felt like her face was getting hot. Shen Feng saw this and suddenly smiled and moved closer to Zhang Wanwan. He whispered in her ear, "Honey, do you want to go to bed?" Bang! Zhang Wanwan slapped him with her backhand. Shen Feng was beaten so hard that he became numb. Shen Sheng said helplessly, "Why are you hitting me? I just said I want to sleep. But I didn't say I want to sleep in the same bed with you. I can sleep on the floor." Zhang Wanwan now understood and knew that Shen Feng was deliberately teasing her. Her face flushed, her eyes rolled, and she suddenly turned the tables and said, "I didn't say I hit you because I didn't want to sleep in the same bed with you." Shen Feng was stunned. "So you agree to sleep with me?" Zhang Wanwan snorted. "I originally agreed, but since you are so determined to sleep on the floor, I can't refuse you. You can sleep on the floor tonight." After saying that, Zhang Wanwan turned around and ran to Shen Feng's room. Oh no, it seems like she has figured out everything. Shen Feng sighed in his heart. How come his eldest brother suddenly became smart? Following Zhang Wanwan back to the room, Shen Feng made the bed for Zhang Wanwan, then brought out a quilt and spread it on the floor. After turning off the lights, Zhang Wanwan lay on the bed and Shen Feng lay on the floor. Zhang Wanwan rolled over on the bed, then rolled to the edge of the bed and looked at Shen Feng. Shen Sheng was not asleep either when he raised his eyes. He saw Zhang Wanwan's big eyes staring at him. He couldn't help but laugh and said, "Why, you want me to go to bed?" "No, I just suddenly realized that you are so ugly." Shen Feng. He raised his hand and poked Zhang Wanwan's little face beside the bed. "You found out too late. If you take my mother's red envelope, you will be the daughter-in-law of our Shen family." Zhang Wanwan rolled her eyes. "Oh, if I tell my parents that only one of you and I can stay in the Shen family, who do you think they will chase away?" "TSK, Comrade Zhang Wanwan. You are being arrogant because of your favor. This is not advisable." "I am willing. Why do you care?" Zhang Wanwan snorted. "I can't sleep. Tell me a story, or I will tell my parents that you bullied me." Shen Feng was speechless. His eldest brother has found the imperial sword. When you are in doubt, bring your parents out. But Shen Feng has no way to deal with it. The oppressed Shen Feng sighed, and finally succumbed to the tyranny of his elder brother. "Okay, let me tell you a story." Zhang Wanwan smiled with satisfaction. The story Shen Feng told was a battle of story between a scholar and a young lady in ancient times. A poor scholar who was frustrated and unhappy met a rich lady. They fell in love but were opposed by the rich lady's family. The scholar worked hard, studied diligently, went to Beijing to take the imperial examination, and finally won the top spot. But when he returned home, he found out that the rich lady had just been betrothed to someone else a few days ago. Hearing this, Zhang Wanwan felt quite touched. She is like the rich lady, and Shen Feng is like the scholar. But fortunately, at least she is with Shen Feng now. What happened next? Did the scholar bring people to the house to grab the bride? Zhang Wanwan asked. Shen Feng shook his head. No, the young lady had always loved the scholar, so on the night of her marriage, she wore a red dress and hanged herself. The day the scholar returned was the day of the young lady's funeral. The bright red robe of the champion brushed shoulders with the plain white robe on the coffin. Zhang Wanwan was a little moved after hearing this. It was only a matter of days before the two of them could live happily ever after. But fate always plays tricks on us. Zhang Wanwan rubbed her eyes. A scholar must be very sad. Did he commit suicide for love? Shen Feng, however, smiled mysteriously. Then he slowly shook his head. There was no suicide, not even sadness. Because the scholar, who was used to seeing the romantic affairs in the capital, actually no longer liked the young lady. He had already lived a life of debauchery in the capital, and was even engaged to a lady from a wealthy family in the capital. Originally, the scholar was a little worried, not knowing how to break up with the young lady. When he heard that the young lady had died, he even laughed out loud with joy, saying that God was helping him. What a scumbag! Zhang Wanwan's previous sadness turned into anger at this moment, and she roared. What happened next? He must have died a miserable death. Shen Feng did not reply, but continued. That night, the scholar went home after eating a lot. It was very late at night, and the scholar was the only one on the street. But he always felt that someone seemed to be following him. But when the scholar looked back, he couldn't see anyone no matter how hard he looked. The scholar was a little scared. He remembered some stories he had heard in the capital and was worried that he might be haunted by the young lady's ghost. So he hurried back home. After returning home, he lay in bed and nothing happened at first, which made him let his guard down. But just as the scholar was about to fall asleep, the door of his room suddenly made a click. Shen Feng lowered his voice and said mysteriously. The scholar was startled and squinted his eyes, and saw a woman in red walking towards the bed step by step. The scholar was so frightened that he almost fainted. He suddenly closed his eyes tightly, did not move, and did not make a sound, wondering if he could escape the disaster if he pretended to be asleep. As a result, the woman in red walked up to him, leaned close to his ear, and whispered, "I know you're pretending to be asleep." Shen Feng said this in Zhang Wanwan's ear. Just after hearing Shen Feng talk about the wrong souls, Zhang Wanwan felt that something was not right with the development of the story. She quickly wrapped herself tightly in the air-conditioning quilt and closed her eyes. Shen Feng's whisper in her ear scared her so much that she screamed. She kept beating Shen Feng with both hands. "Damn Feng Zi! Damn Feng Zi, who told you to tell horror stories? Will you let me sleep at night?" Besides being afraid of Sister Lin, Zhang Wanwan's second greatest fear might be ghost stories. Shen Feng quickly said, "Brother Wan, calm down, calm down. Didn't you ask me to give this scumbag a miserable death?" Zhang Wanwan gritted her teeth in anger. "I didn't ask you to tell a ghost story. You must have done it on purpose. You are taking revenge on me." She threw a pillow from the bed and hit Shen Feng. Then buried her head in the quilt, wrapping herself tightly and not daring to show her head. Shen Cheng hugged the pillow, looked at Zhang Wanwan who was shivering in the quilt and said, "Brother Wan, I was wrong. I shouldn't have told you this kind of story to scare you." Zhang Wanwan ignored him. Shen Feng sighed. "I just wanted to make a joke. But it seems I went too far." He stood up and sat on the edge of the bed, gently lifting the quilt that Zhang Wanwan was wrapped in. As a result, just as he opened it, Zhang Wanwan suddenly stood up and yelled at him. Shen Feng, who was about to comfort Zhang Wanwan, was frightened. Seeing Shen Feng was frightened, Zhang Wanwan laughed out loud. "Feng Zi, let's see if you dare to scare your elder brother again." Shen Cheng had a dark look on his face. He silently covered Zhang Wanwan's head with the quilt again, and went back to the floor to sleep. Zhang Wanwan snorted complacently and lay down to sleep. But she didn't fall asleep even after lying down for half an hour. As soon as she closed her eyes, she always thought that someone would whisper in her ear, "I know you are pretending to be asleep." I felt a chill on my back. Zhang Wanwan was depressed. She is so sleepy. But she couldn't sleep. Zhang Wanwan looked at Shen Feng who was already asleep on the floor. Finally, he got off the bed silently and squeezed onto the mat laid by Shen Feng. Only after lying together with Shen Feng did Zhang Wanwan feel a little more at ease. Her face flushed as she hummed softly at Shen Feng. "I don't want to sleep with you, it's all your fault for scaring me at night." After mumbling, Zhang Wanwan closed her eyes and soon fell asleep. When Zhang Wanwan fell asleep, Shen Feng beside her opened one eye and looked at her. And he smiled and held her in his arms. Good night. Early the next morning, Zhang Wanwan woke up after sleeping on the floor all night and felt sore in her back. In the morning, I was watching TV in the living room while pounding my waist and legs. Pang Ping, who was making breakfast, saw this scene and couldn't help asking, "What's wrong, Wanwan? Didn't you get enough rest last night?" Zhang Wanwan nodded honestly. "I slept on the floor last night." When Tang Ping heard this, she got furious. "Sleeping on the floor? That brat Shen Cheng dared to let you sleep on the floor. He is rebelling. You sleep on the floor and he sleeps on the bed. Why doesn't he go to heaven?" Zhang Wanwan said honestly. "Actually, he also sleeps on the floor." Tang Ping. Tang Ping? She ran to Shen Feng's room and took a look. After confirming that there was indeed a bed in the room, he asked in astonishment, "You too, why are you sleeping on the floor instead of sleeping on the bed?" Zhang Wanwan's face turned a little red. Nodded. Tang Ping thought for a long time before finally coming up with a comment. Young people have quite a lot of ideas. Shen Feng, who had just come out of the shower, couldn't help but complain after hearing this. "It's not that I have a lot of ideas, it's that I can't think straight." Zhang Wanwan, it's all your fault. Mom, Shen Feng bullied me last night. She hugged Tang Ping's arm with tears in her eyes, as if she felt very wronged. Tang Ping turned around and picked up the feather duster, started hunting down Shen Feng. Zhang Wanwan put her hands on her waist and raised her eyebrows proudly at Shen Feng. The day Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan stayed at home for most of the day again. At noon, under Zhang Wanwan's strong assurances, Tang Ping and Shin Shaoji Yuo finally agreed to let Shen Feng into the kitchen. Chen Cheng lived up to everyone's expectations and cooked a large table of delicious dishes. Sweet and sour pork tenderloin, stewed beef with tomatoes, and fried meatballs are all Zhang Wanwan's favorite dishes. I also fried a few vegetarian dishes, free meat and free vegetarian, which was quite rich. Tang Ping and Shen Shaoji Yuo initially thought that even if Shen Feng suddenly got the hang of it, his cooking skills would probably only be limited to not blowing up the kitchen. But when they tasted Shen Feng's cooking, their expressions changed immediately. "Feng Zi, when did you learn this skill? It's much more delicious than what your dad cooks." Tang Ping took a bite of the stewed beef and said in surprise, Chen Xiaojiuo tasted a few bites of the food and was shocked. At home, he has always been the chef. I think my cooking skills are pretty good. But compared with Shen Feng's level, it immediately pales in comparison. Finally, Shen Xiaojiuo nodded and said proudly, I was wondering why my son's cooking skills were bad. Sure enough, he inherited the same skills from me. Tang Ping rolled her eyes at him. If you had half the cooking skills of your son, we would open a restaurant instead of a supermarket. TSK, what do you know? This is called the disciple surpassing the master. At around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Shen Feng planned to return to the city with Zhang Wanwan. Tang Ping held Zhang Wanwan's hand, looking reluctant. It's already this late, it would be better to have dinner before leaving. If you're any later, there won't be any trains at the station. Shen Feng said. What's the worry if you don't have a car? Ask your dad to drive you back to the city, it's not far anyway. Zhang Wanwan said hurriedly, really, don't bother me. Dad, Mom, after Feng Zi and I finish this variety show, I will come back to see you. Well, alright. Tang Ping looked at Shen Feng again. Feng Zi, take good care of Wanwan outside if you dare to bully her. I won't forgive you. Shen Feng looked sad. Mom, how about we do a paternity test to see if I was picked up and Zhang Wanwan is your biological daughter? Alright, stop talking nonsense, doctor slowly. Well, goodbye, Mom and Dad. The two left the community and walked towards the station. Halfway through the journey, Zhang Wanwan suddenly felt a little thirsty. I wanted to find a place to buy some water, but when I turned around, I saw Zhang Wanwan was happy. Fengzi, isn't that your supermarket? Shen Feng's family runs a supermarket. At first it was just a small supermarket similar to a convenience store. After that, it gradually expanded and became the largest supermarket in the area. Since the business became big, Shen Feng's parents hired someone to manage the supermarket. And the two of them stayed at home every day to enjoy their retirement. Zhang Wanwan pulled Shen Feng's arm and asked, Fengzi, do you think the store clerks know that you are their eldest young master? Shen Feng poked Zhang Wanwan's face. If I were the young master, would you be the young mistress? Go away, you are such a talker. I'm thirsty, let's go buy a bottle of water. Zhang Wanwan pulled the mask on her face and dragged Shen Feng into the supermarket. The two female cashiers were chatting at the cash register. When I saw someone coming in, I subconsciously said welcome. After saying that, one of the female shop assistants suddenly looked at Shen Feng. And he was stunned. Shen Feng? Are you Shen Feng? Shen Feng didn't expect that he would actually be recognized. Although this is their supermarket, he hardly ever comes here. When did he become so famous? He turned around and looked in confusion. When the female clerk saw Shen Feng's face clearly, she suddenly became excited. Is it really you? You look so familiar to me. I saw you on Weibo the day before yesterday. Am I seeing you in person? The female clerk actually ran out from the front desk excitedly. Shen Feng then realized that the female clerk recognized him from his previous Weibo post. Is this considered a fan? Chen Cheng was a little hesitant for a moment. To be honest, in some ways, he can be considered a man who has lived for a long time. But this is probably the first time I meet fans. After a light cough, Shen Feng nodded. It's me. Zhang Wanwan, who was standing by, heard this and quickly pulled Shen Feng aside, whispering, You are so stupid, you should say no now. Oh, no. Chen Cheng immediately changed his words. But it was obviously too late. A female clerk ran to Shen Feng excitedly. He took out his phone, turned on the camera, and stood next to Shen Feng while asking, Can I take a photo with you? However, when she asked this question, she had already taken a selfie. Both her and Shen Feng were captured in the picture. So passionate. Shen Feng thought to himself. I never thought that he would have such enthusiastic fans just by posting a photo. It seems that his appearance is still very recognized. At this time, the female clerk had finished taking the photos, and then asked Shen Feng excitedly, Can I ask you a question? You ask. Facing the enthusiastic little fans, Shen Feng felt that he should still show them enough kindness. He has made up his mind that no matter what the fan wants to ask, he will answer it. Why were you able to appear on the show with Zhang Wanwan right after your debut? Are you the gigolo paid by the boss of Lai and YU Entertainment? Are you related to him? The Salister asked. Shen Feng. When Shen Feng heard clearly the question from the enthusiastic little fan in his heart, Shen Feng felt numb. Asking in front of others if he is a gigolo or if he has connections. Is this a fan? Can this be a fan? Are all fans this kind of people? Shen Feng felt that his young heart was traumatized. How can you ask such a question? Are you not my fan? The female clerk was also stunned when she heard this. Then he reacted and said as if it was a matter of course. Of course not, are you kidding? Without any works and just a photo posted online. How many fans do you think you can have? She snorted. Don't underestimate me because I'm just a clerk, this is actually a part-time job. My main job is self-media, specializing in posting entertainment gossip. I have hundreds of thousands of followers on Weibo. I was a little excited because I saw a big fresh melon walking in front of me. Why, you don't think I'm your fan, do you? But you look pretty handsome. If you really acted in a movie, you would probably be famous. Why can't you think straight and insist on taking this path? The female clerk said. Which way did I go? Shen Feng was speechless. Don't pretend if you know there are a lot of gossips about you on the internet. Ever since you and Zhang Wanwan officially announced that they would be on the show together, many people have been saying that you are having an affair with the CEO of Lion Yu Entertainment. It's just that Li Tianfan's incident broke out and overshadowed you. Otherwise you would have been a hot topic in the past few days. After the female clerk finished speaking, she glanced at Zhang Wanwan behind Shen Feng. As an experienced star, Zhang Wanwan takes much better care of her face than Shen Feng. She was wearing sunglasses and a mask, so the female clerk didn't recognize her. Instead, he smiled and reminded Zhang Wanwan, "Girl, is this guy your boyfriend? Do you know the negative information about your boyfriend on the internet? He is being kept by someone's boss. You should stop being with him. Who knows how dirty he is?" Zhang Wanwan was actually a little angry when the female clerk asked Shen Feng questions just now. Now the female clerk ran up to her and talked nonsense. Zhang Wanwan couldn't hold back her temper anymore. She pulled Shen Feng and pulled him behind her. Then he said to the female clerk viciously, "I think you are the one who is kept. I think you are dirty. Hey, do you have any qualities?" The Salister's face changed. Who said support first? Who has no manners? Zhang Wanwan glared at the female clerk. If you have nothing to do and you want to read gossip online, that's fine. If you want to make money by spreading gossip as your main business, that's fine too. But if you take the so-called gossip and the so-called scandal as the truth, then you have a problem with your brain. You bring those gossips and scandals to the owner and ask them questions recklessly. Not only do you have problems with your brain, but your character is also problematic. I'm telling you, I know exactly what kind of person my boyfriend is. I don't need you to point fingers at me. Finally, let me warn you again, be careful with your words next time. I don't like to fight now. If I'm still in a bad mood and you dare say this to me, I will make sure you get a beating from the society. After saying that, Zhang Wanwan took Shen Feng and left. The remaining female clerk stared at her phone for a long time. Finally he curled his lips in anger. She's crazy. After saying that, he raised his phone and took a photo of Zhang Wanwan holding Shen Feng. Then he posted a Weibo. Insider V, come and eat melons. Live photos of walking melons. Shen Feng and his girlfriend came to our supermarket to buy things. His girlfriend is of poor quality and curses people. Shen Feng also plays big. He really deserves to be a person with a backstage. Wow picture. After pulling Shen Feng all the way out of the supermarket, Zhang Wanwan angrily let go of Shen Feng. She gritted her teeth and waved her fist angrily. What kind of person is this? How can she be so well-mannered? My good mood for the whole day has been ruined by her. Chen Sheng looked at the extremely angry Zhang Wanwan and whispered, "Don't be angry, to be honest, I am the victim." He wasn't that angry. So why was Zhang Wanwan so irritable? As a result, Zhang Wanwan reached out and hit him. Do you think I'm just mad at her? You're enough to make me mad too? Don't you think about it? How can you have fans now? You foolishly admitted your identity. Also, she asked that question just now. Why didn't you refute her? Don't you have a temper? Chen Cheng smiled and touched her head. Isn't it that you are here to vent my anger? I think your scolding was pretty good. You said everything I wanted to say. I was thirsty to begin with. And I'm even thirstier after scolding you. Zhang Wanwan turned her head away and said in a muffled voice, "And I'll go back and buy you a bottle of water." No, Zhang Wanwan grabbed Shen Feng and said, "You still have the nerve to go back after all this?" Chen Sheng smiled bitterly and said, "That's the supermarket my family runs. Why should I be embarrassed to go back?" Zhang Wanwan, it seems so. Only then did she let go of his hand. Chen Sheng went back to the supermarket and bought a bottle of water. When paying, the female clerk saw that Zhang Wanwan was not beside Shen Feng. So she said to Shen Feng, "Your girlfriend has a really bad temper. But you're also a scumbag, you, Ray, being kept by the CEO of Lion Yu Entertainment, promoting a love variety show with Zhang Wanwan, and you have a girlfriend in private? TSK, that's awesome." The female clerk kept muttering to herself and didn't take Shen Feng seriously at all. She was not afraid of Shen Feng getting angry at all. At worst, Shen Feng would beat her, and she could use this as evidence to continue posting online to gain attention. He can also extort some money from Shen Feng. She earns this money and is eager to make things bigger. Anyway, she knew that Shen Feng was a newcomer. Apart from being suspected of being kept, he doesn't have much power at all. She can still afford to offend a star of this size. In the end, Shen Feng neither hit her nor scolded her. just quietly took the water and paid. After paying the money and about to leave, Chen Sheng suddenly spoke. Without even looking at the female clerk, he said as if talking to himself, "Actually, I don't care what you say about me. But you just made our husband angry, so I'm a little angry too. No one has ever taught you how to respect others or speak like a human being, right? Okay, I'll teach you." After saying this, Shen Feng turned around and left the supermarket. The Salister was shocked at first. But when she saw Shen Feng walking away without doing anything, she curled her lips. You can say such soft words even when you're being harsh. You really are worthy of being called a pretty boy. I thought you wanted to do something to me, but this is all you are? Trash. She thought to herself and continued to post on Weibo. He started writing a post complaining about how he had just been verbally abused and threatened with violence by Shen Feng and his girlfriend. As a result, when she was halfway through writing the article, she received a call from the supermarket owner. There was only one sentence on the other end of the phone. You don't have to come tomorrow. Then, he just hung up. The female clerk was stunned, but then snorted coldly. If you don't want to come, then don't come. I come to work in your shop just to kill time. Do you really think I care about your crappy job? She makes money from Weibo, not from working in a supermarket. But she had just hung up the phone and was about to continue writing her essay when her mobile mailbox indicated that she had received a new email. The Salister opened it and took a look. His face turned pale in an instant. In the email, her name, address, life story, all the celebrities she had blackened or offended, and related blog posts were all sorted out. At the end of the email, there are a few words attached. I sent a private copy of these emails to everybody you've hacked. I hope these stars teams can teach you how to speak human language. I wish you a bright future, Ms. Shangwei Nja. On the bus from Qingliu County to Zhonghe City, Zhang Wanwan was leaning against Shen Feng and resting. Shen Sheng held his cell phone and looked out the window. A line of words appeared on the phone screen. The email was sent successfully. At around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan took a bus back to the city. However, the two of them did not return to the villa immediately. According to Zhang Wanwan, if they go back now, dinner will definitely be under Sister Lin's high-pressure control again. So she has to eat dinner out. The two found a barbecue restaurant, bought a lot of skewers, and then ran to Lao Wang's internet cafe with the skewers. I stayed in the internet cafe watching TV series and eating skewers. Zhang Wanwan was particularly proud of herself and ate 2 skewers of meat in front of Lao Wang, which made Lao Wang so angry that he ordered a takeout. However, because Zhang Wanwan was very full after eating the food prepared by Shen Feng at noon, she couldn't eat too much of this greasy food at night. So there were a lot of skewers left after grilling. In line with the principle of not wasting food, Zhang Wanwan had no choice but to take the skewers back home. Of course, Zhang Wanwan didn't intend to give these skewers to Sister Lin. She knew very well that once Sister Lin saw these skewers, it would be like Sister Lin had evidence of her eating skewers in the evening. She is definitely going to die. So Zhang Wanwan planned to sneak home and bring the skewers back to her room secretly. At night, eat it as a midnight snack. She quietly opened the door of the villa, holding Shen Feng in one hand and holding the skewers in the other, and walked in carefully. Seeing that there seemed to be no one in the room, Zhang Wanwan let out a long sigh, picked up the skewers and ran back to the room. As a result, I had just run to steps when I heard a cold call from the kitchen. Zhang, late. Zhang Wanwan's body stiffened. She immediately put her hands behind her back and hid the skewers behind her. At the same time, he winked at Shen Feng, indicating that Shen Feng should take the skewers away quickly. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan have been friends since they were young, and have been working together for many years. He immediately took the skewers that Zhang Wanwan hid behind her back and planned to slip away. Zhang Wanwan also covered for Shen Feng at this moment, and greeted Sister Lin with a smile, saying, "Sister Lin, I'm back, did you miss me?" While Zhang Wanwan was talking, Shen Feng sneaked upstairs. But old ginger is still spicy. Even though Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan cooperated so well, they still couldn't escape Sister Lin's eyes. Sister Lin didn't even look at Zhang Wanwan, but looked at Shen Feng, who was about to go upstairs. "Xiao Chen, come here," Sister Lin said softly. Shen Feng coughed lightly. "Sister Lin, I'm going to put something down. Come over," Sister Lin shouted. Shen Sheng had no choice but to walk over silently with his hands behind his back. "Put your hand out." Shen Sheng obediently stretched out his 2 hands. "My hands are empty." Sister Lin raised her eyebrows and looked at Zhang Wanwan. I noticed that Zhang Wanwan had her hands behind her back, looking around at the scenery. "Zhang Wanwan, stretch out your hand." Shen Sheng put his hand behind his back first, and then Zhang Wanwan stretched out her hand. "Both hands are empty." Sister Lin rolled her eyes. "Do you two think I'm stupid? Both of you, reach out together." Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan looked at each other. They stretched out their hands together. It's all empty. And Sister Lin walked behind the two of them and picked up the bag of skewers that Shen Feng had just thrown away. She held the skewers and looked at Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. You two work together really well, you have such a tacit understanding, she said sarcastically. Zhang Wanwan smiled complacently. That's right, Feng Zi and I ate secretly at school back then. And when the teacher came to check, we got away with it that way. As a result, Sister Lin slapped Zhang Wanwan on the head very quickly. I told you you're fat and you guessed. You're pretty proud of it, aren't you? Zhang Wanwan's expression wilted again. Sister Lin looked at the skewers in her hand and suddenly said with a smile, but it's just skewers, do you have to hide it? Do you think I'm going to punish you for eating kebads outside? Zhang Wanwan's eyes suddenly lit up. No? Sister Lin's smile suddenly disappeared. Of course, get on the treadmill. Zhang Wanwan. Seeing Zhang Wanwan leave, Shen Feng also sighed. I planned to quietly go to the treadmill and do sit-ups. But Sister Lin stopped him. Wait a moment, Xiaoshen. I have something to ask you. As she said that, Sister Lin sat down on the sofa and stuffed the skewer of meat into her mouth. Then he said to Shen Feng, who was sitting opposite him, Xiaoshen, I want to ask you something. You must answer me truthfully. Something happened in the industry this afternoon. Several celebrity agents received an email that exposed the true identity behind a Weibo marketing account. This account isn't very big, but it often posts negative information about celebrities to gain attention. So many celebrities actually dislike her. But there are too many small marketing accounts like this. If we have to control every one of them, celebrities will not take other jobs. So few celebrities will pursue them. The email they received this time not only exposed the identity of the marketing account on Weibo, but also compiled the fabricated negative information she had posted. Some slanderous Weibo posts, including many Weibo posts she had deleted. But these things, it is entirely possible to get the owner of this Weibo post to come in for some tea. Shen Feng raised his eyebrows, spread his hands and said, So what do you want to ask, Sister Lin? Sister Lin looked at Shen Feng deeply and said, I want to ask, do you know who exposed this marketing account? Shen Feng was silent for a moment. Then he smiled and nodded slightly. It's me. He knew that since Sister Lin asked this, there must be evidence. It would be meaningless to play them now. Sister Lin took a deep breath. Really? I have several good friends who are agents in the industry. And they all received this email. They contacted Shang Wei Nja, the owner of the Weibo account, and Shang Wei Nja said that it was Shen Feng who exposed her. Shen Feng nodded. And he gave a brief account of what happened in the afternoon. From the time when Shang Wenjie insulted him and angered Zhang Wanwan, to Shang Wei Nja's unscrupulous behavior when he went back to buy water. Shen Feng described it very calmly. I don't really mind her. But since Wanwan is so angry, it's okay to punish her a little. After hearing this, Sister Lin suddenly rubbed her forehead and smiled bitterly. Give me some punishment? Your punishment is too harsh. If any of those stars wanted to sue her, she would at least pay tens of thousands of dollars in compensation. Especially since you found a lot of her deleted Weibo posts. They not only contain rumors about celebrities, but also rumors and hype about major social events. She defamed a celebrity. The most she could do is pay compensation and apologize. But she spread rumors and caused panic, which is enough to warrant detention. Shen Feng shrugged. This has nothing to do with me. I'm just an email sender. The records in the email are all true. And none of them are made up by me since she sent them herself. She should be responsible for her remarks. Sister Lin ate another skewer. After taking a sip of water, he finally said, Forget it. I don't mean to blame you, on the contrary, I think it's quite refreshing for you to do this. And several of the agents seem to be very grateful to you. You are somewhat popular in the circle. And I want to remind you that you'd better refrain from doing this kind of thing in the future. Douching someone else is also an infringement of copyright. If Shang Wei Nja exposes you again, it will also damage your reputation. Shen Feng knew that Sister Lin was doing this for his own good. So he smiled and nodded in agreement. But I'm still a little curious. Where did you get this technology? I studied it before. But I don't have any skills, I can't compare with professionals. Sister Lin didn't doubt it. After eating two more skewers and talking to Shen Feng for a few words, Sister Lin waved at Shen Feng. Okay, it's okay, go ahead. Shen Feng nodded and went upstairs to rest. At this moment, Shen Feng felt a little relieved. It seems that Sister Lin is not going to let him do sit-ups. Escaped the disaster. As soon as I reached the stairs, I heard Sister Lin say, I asked you to do sit-ups, but who told you to take a rest? Shen Feng. Okay, he still thought Sister Lin was too kind. The next day, early in the morning of August 4th, after breakfast, Sister Lin took Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan to the airport. In fact, Generally speaking, just because someone officially joins the crew on the 5th does not mean that filming will start on the 5th. Even if you take a flight on the morning of the 5th and arrive on the evening of the 5th, you are not considered late. But Sister Lin said that Chen Feng is a newcomer. Chen Cheng had never been involved in filming a drama or variety show before. So joining the crew early would allow him to get familiar with the environment and adapt. Chen Feng and Zhang Wanwan had no objections. Zhonghai City is not actually that close to Changhan City. But the plane is still very fast. In less than 3 hours, the three of them arrived in Changhan City. Sister Lin had already contacted the program crew and told them the time their plane would arrive. So as soon as they left the airport, they got on the program crew's car, head straight to the filming location. On the way, Zhang Wanwan asked the staff and found out that the recording location was not in the urban area of Changhan City. Instead, it is in the county town under Changhan City, Huayu County. What is the format of our variety show this time? Is it a live variety show, where we just show our love and live our normal lives? Zhang Wanwan asked again. The director said that although this is a dating variety show, the format is very special, said a staff member. Special? How special? And I can't tell you, the director said that before the filming officially starts, no secrets can be leaked. This made Zhang Wanwan frown. We are all going to participate in the variety show. How can it be considered a leak if you tell us? Chen Feng also asked with some confusion. Didn't the internet say that variety shows are all scripted? Why, doesn't our variety show have one? This time, Sister Lin answered for the staff member. Usually variety shows with scripts are recorded. This variety show is mainly live broadcast. And if it follows the script, it will seem fake and deliberate. Chen Feng nodded. Zhang Wanwan kept asking again and again what was so special about the program format. This staff member is also determined. Even though Zhang Wanwan kept complaining the entire time and was about to throw a tantrum, the staff member remained tight-lipped and didn't reveal a single word. In the end, Zhang Wanwan had to use her trump card. She fished her wallet out of her pocket. Seeing this, the staff member hurriedly said, "Don't bribe me, I won't tell you even if you give me money." Zhang Wanwan took out 10 yuan. Staff, although I won't accept your bribe, can you at least give me a little more to show your sincerity? Zhang Wanwan took out another 10 yuan. Staff, Zhang Wanwan took out another 5 yuan. The staff member was speechless. Can you take out a red belt? Zhang Wanwan gritted her teeth and took a photo for 100 yuan. Then he took back the $25 she had just taken out. Although Zhang Wanwan is not short of money, but she still felt that it was not worth spending so much money on news that she would know sooner or later. Of course, in the end Zhang Wanwan didn't get any information from the staff. It's not that the staff are strong-willed and regard money as dirt. It's really Zhang Wanwan who gave too little. The program crew's car drove for an hour and a half and finally drove into a tourist town in Huayu County. They stopped in front of a relatively large BB. The staff took Chen Feng, Zhang Wanwan and Sister Lin out of the car and walked into the BB. In the courtyard of the BB, the director, assistant director and crew members were discussing filming matters. When he saw Sister Lin and Zhang Wanwan coming, he immediately came over to greet them. "Hey, Wanwan, Sister Lin, you're here." The director walked up with a smile and shook hands with Sister Lin. "Director Chen, I haven't seen you for 2 years. You gained weight again." Sister Lin greeted the director familiarly. The director's name is Chen Ming. He is chubby and always has a smile on his face. He looks like Maitreya Buddha. He switched to being a director in his middle age and filmed several variety shows. But none of them were very popular. Zhang Wanwan also greeted Director Chen. And then Chen Ming looked at Chen Feng, who was standing at the edge. As a director, how could Chen Ming not know that Chen Feng was a new artist who was bundled into the group with Zhang Wanwan? However, he still pretended not to know Chen Feng and asked, "Who is this?" He was leaving this opportunity for Sister Lin to introduce herself. Sister Lin introduced with a smile, "This is my newly signed artist, Chen Feng. Chen Feng, this is Director Chen Ming, please meet him." "Hello, Director Chen," Chen Feng greeted Chen Ming. Director Chen shook hands with Chen Feng enthusiastically. In fact, Director Chen's understanding of Chen Feng is limited to the rumors from those marketing accounts on the internet. Even he himself felt that for a newcomer like Chen Feng to be able to be with a second-tier star like Zhang Wanwan who had debuted for several years, there must be someone supporting him behind the scenes. Director Chen is a shrewd man, and he doesn't want to offend someone like Chen Feng who has someone behind him. After chatting for a while, Director Chen took Zhang Wanwan and Chen Feng to familiarize themselves with the venue. He also specifically explained to Chen Feng many things to pay attention to during filming and gave Chen Feng a lot of help. This made Chen Feng very grateful to him. For the next day and a half, Chen Feng basically spent time familiarizing himself with the shooting equipment, venue and environment. By the way, I accompanied Zhang Wanwan for a stroll in the tourist town. Several other guests also arrived one after another. We waited until the evening of August 5th until everyone arrived. Director Chen treated everyone in the production team to a good meal at a restaurant in a tourist town. Ordinary staff sat at one table, and agents sat at another table. Director Chen, the assistant director, and 8 male and female guests, the main creators of the show, sat at the same table. At the dinner table, Director Chen raised his glass and said to everyone, "Everyone, we are fortunate to be together. I would like to toast you all. I hope everyone will have a pleasant cooperation in the next half month or so. And I also wish our program will be filmed smoothly." Everyone raised their glasses and toasted. After that, it was time for everyone to toast. Needless to say, the director and the assistant director were the two people who received the most toasts. The person who received the third most toasts was Zhang Wanwan. After all, the biggest star here is Zhang Wanwan, and the other guests are just third and fourth tier celebrities. Two of them are internet celebrities who haven't even made their debut yet. These people are definitely no match for Zhang Wanwan. So they are naturally busy trying to curry favor with Zhang Wanwan. As for Shen Feng, he was the one who received the least toasts. This is normal after all. Shen Feng has no other works except a photo. His popularity is far less than those two internet celebrities. However, Shen Feng was too lazy to deal with these fame and fortune circles. No one paid any attention to him, so he felt free, just as he was happily eating his food. A male guest sitting next to him suddenly raised his glass and said to him, "Brother, shall we have a drink?" Shen Feng raised his eyebrows, but didn't refuse and clinked glasses with him. After taking a sip of wine, the male guest moved closer to Shen Feng and said with a chuckle, "Brother, did you not recognize me? You helped me a few days ago? Do you remember me?" "Help? 2 days ago? Has he seen this guy before?" Seeing that Shen Feng didn't seem to remember, the male guest hurriedly said, "Didn't you tell those celebrities who had been rumored about Shang Wei and Jie a few days ago? I am one of the people she has rumored about. I've been annoyed with her for a long time. But the company always says there's no need to waste time on such a small marketing account. I can't do anything about her, so I can only curse her out on a small account to vent my anger. Thanks to you, I exposed her yesterday with ready-made evidence in hand. There was no need for the company to go to great lengths. My agent helped me sue her directly," the male guest said, and then laughed. It's really refreshing to think about it. This kind of small marketing account only dares to use the negative materials of us third rate stars to gain popularity. When something happens, they delete their posts and pretend to be dead. After the storm has passed, they come out again. They think we are easy to bully and treat us as soft persimmons. Now they finally get their revenge. Only then did Shen Feng realize that this guy had also been slandered by Shang Wei and Jie. To be honest, Shang Wei and Jie has defamed quite a lot of celebrities. At least about 100. Shen Feng thought about it and then remembered the guy in front of him. "Are you the Jayatnam, the one who molested the girl?" Jayatnan, who was beside Shen Feng, quickly made a gesture to keep quiet. Then he said with a look of grievance, "Brother, no. Brother, that's a rumor. I was holding my niece and was filmed. Shang Wei and Jie then spread rumors about me, saying that I did this and that to the girl. As a result, many people scolded me online. I posted photos of myself and my niece, and my household registration booklet, to prove my innocence. It's really easy to spread rumors, but it takes a lot of effort to refute them. But afterwards, few of the netizens who had scolded me apologized, and the culprit who spread the rumors simply deleted his Weibo post and pretended to be dead. Because I wasn't a big name, the company didn't take me seriously and didn't hold me accountable. I was so frustrated during that time." Shen Feng listened to Jiatnan's complaints and took 2 bites of food. Then he said, "Oh." Jiatnan seemed to be quite talkative. He didn't care whether Shen Feng paid attention to him or not. He kept chattering to himself for a long time. Finally, he toasted Shen Feng again and said, "Brother, you have helped me so much. You are my brother from now on. If you have anything to say, I will definitely help you if I can." Shen Feng looked at him. Suddenly he asked, "Do you have money?" Jayatnam was startled. He nodded and said, "Yes, a little bit. What's wrong? Lend me 500,000 and I'll pay you back later." Jayatnan. Shen Feng looked at him. "Why, didn't you say you would help if you could?" Jayatnan. "I was just being polite. Besides, how can I borrow so much money just by meeting you once?" Shen Feng thought about it. Then he said, "Then borrow 50 Xiao first. It's not about the amount." Jayatnam is depressed. Why does this guy seem to not play by the rules? Early the next morning, on a certain live streaming platform, the variety show Let's Start Dating Today was quietly launched. The attention this variety show receives is indeed not very high. This variety show itself is relatively poor and the production team has no money for publicity. Previously, with the support of Lai and YU Entertainment, A hot search was purchased, but it was soon suppressed by the scandal of a first-line male star. In addition, for their variety show, the guests who participate, except Jang Won-won, are not very famous, and the traffic they bring is not that much. Therefore, this variety show was not very popular when it first came online. It only attracted a part of the guests' fans and the onlookers who were just watching the show. A number of viewers was less than 20,000. Director Chen didn't feel disappointed. He has filmed several variety shows over the years, but none of them were very popular. He was used to this kind of heat. At this time, Director Chen was standing in the courtyard of the BB. He was explaining the rules of this variety show to 8 guests. For men and for women. Our show this time is a survival love variety show. When this first sentence came out, several guests were a little stunned. Survival, romance, variety shows? Do you think these words go together? Jang Won-won said. She has heard of survival variety shows and dating variety shows. What is survival love? Will you die if you don't fall in love? Director Chen explained with a smile. Of course, it's not the kind of survival in the wilderness. It's not that cruel. It's like this: the money and mobile phones that the guests bring with them must be handed in during the show. At the beginning of each live broadcast, we will give each group of guests a small amount of money. Your 3 meals a day, including the expenses required to complete the tasks we issued, must be solved with the money we give out. If you spend money lavishly, not only will you fail to complete the mission, you may even go hungry. During the live broadcast every day, the audience can vote for the group of guests they think is the sweetest. After the live broadcast every day, the 4 groups of guests will be ranked according to the number of votes. The group of guests who receive the most votes will receive an additional financial reward the next day. But this reward will be deducted from the guest who receives the lowest number of votes. Director Chen chuckled. For the guest with the lowest number of votes, even eating and drinking may become a problem. Is this enough to survive? You know what? This rule is quite novel. Jang Won-won and the others all became interested. Some of the viewers who were watching the late broadcast also started a discussion. Don't mention it. It sounds quite interesting. The audience can even decide the life and death of these guests. The sweetest ones have the most money, and the least sweet ones can't even afford the food. Whoever doesn't love each other will be embarrassed. Then whoever has more fans has the advantage, right? Jang Won-won has so many fans, so she must have a lot of votes. Oh, what should we do with our Xiaojia? The public has sharp eyes. If Jang Won-won's group had the most votes but was not sweet, someone would definitely complain to the production team. At this time, Director Chen was still explaining the rules. Next, the 8 guests will pair up in pairs. Choose the person you like to form a group, and come up with a name for your group. In fact, before the filming, several guests had already planned who they would be paired with. So in theory, there should be no suspense in this part. But at this moment, one person raised his hand high. He asked loudly, "Director, I have a question." Director Chen looked at the man. "Oh, Xiaojia, what's your problem?" Jiet Nan looked at Director Chen seriously and said, "Can we pair up with anyone we want?" Director Chen nodded. "As long as both parties are willing." Jiet Nam gets excited. He ran to Shen Feng, hugged Shen Feng's arm and said, "Brother Shen, let's be a couple." Director Chen, Shen Feng, Jang Won-won, Lib Barrage. Shen Feng silently pulled his arm back. Jiet Nan had a heartbroken expression. "Brother Shen, don't you like men? I can go to Thailand for you." Shen Sheng shook his head seriously. "It's not impossible for men. I just don't like you." Jiet Nan. The scene was a bit awkward for a while. In the barrage, after a group of people sent out ellipsis, some people started laughing. "My little Jia is such a fool. Looking for a man to match with, it's so funny. Fuck. This guy is going to make me laugh to death. It's not that men can't do that. I just don't like people like you. Can you be more tactful with our Xiaojia? Bullying our Xiaojia like this will make us fans want to laugh." The show was a great success, but I know this Jay Atnam. But who is this Shen Ji? Is he an internet celebrity? Why haven't I seen him before? Can anyone introduce him to me? It is said that she debuted with the hype of Jang Won-won, and it seems that she has a backstage. Damn, is this a connection? After euphemistically rejecting Jiet Nan's invitation, Shen Feng still formed a group with Jang Won-won. A remaining 6 people also formed groups. Jiet Nan was in a group with a female star named Li Ding. They both are from the same agency and came here together. The situation is similar for the remaining 2 groups. One is with the 2 internet celebrities, and the other is with the 2 stars from the same company. After the groups were formed, Director Chen asked them to name their respective groups. The combination of Jiet Nan and Li Ding is called the Unpleasant Combination. Another group of stars, the male is named Shang Wei, the female is named Meng An, and the group is called Wei Ai Meng. 2 internet celebrities, one named Xiao Chen Shu and the other named Chen Lu. formed the Tianlu group. The camera turned to Zhang Wanwan and Xin Feng. The audience originally thought that their group would just be called Wanfeng Group. Sure enough, Zhang Wanwan said, "Let's call you Wanfeng." It's really nothing new. A barrage popped up. As a result, before he finished his comment, Zhang Wanwan continued. The evening breeze gently blows across Fenghu Bay. White waves chase the beach. There are no coconut trees or setting sun. Just a vast expanse of blue sea. Is this okay? Director Chen rubbed his forehead. Speechless. Lie. You couldn't help singing just now. Do you think it's okay? And you changed to a shorter one. Zhang Wanwan nodded with a bit of regret. Then let's call it Penghu Bay. Audience. Whoever said that my Wanwan has no new ideas, please stand up. I laughed twice in just a few moments. This variety show is already so effective before it even starts. Penghu Bay and their names cannot be said to have nothing to do with each other. They can only be said to have nothing to do with each other. Why are you just sitting here? My Wanwan is really interesting. What a pity that she is paired with such a relative. I feel sick every time I see Xin Feng. Not everyone in the barrage has good intentions. Some of the audience were trolls hired by Law and YU Entertainment's rival company. Their purpose today is to blackmail Zhang Wanwan and Xin Feng. What he said was naturally unpleasant to hear. Director Chen coughed lightly, then asked, Zhang Wanwan, are you sure your group is called Penghu Bay? After it's confirmed, the production team will use this name for the voting machine, and it can't be changed after that. That's it. Zhang Wanwan seemed quite satisfied with the name. Director Chen looked at Xin Feng again. Seeing that Xin Feng didn't seem to have any other objections, finally, the name of the group Xin Feng and Zhang Wanwan was decided. Penghu Bay combination. After deciding on the group and its name, Director Chen signaled the assistant director to put a voting machine in the Leap broadcast window. There are 4 voting machines in total, each with the names of the 4 combinations on it. To see which pair of couples you think is the sweetest, you can send the names of the corresponding couples through the barrage, and the system will automatically count the votes. Only the first vote of each user is valid every day. Director Chen explained to the audience how to use the voting machine. Immediately someone tried to start voting. Many viewers who watched the live broadcast thought that Zhang Wanwan, who was the most popular, would get more votes. But after a while, I found that Zhang Wanwan's group was only ranked second in the number of votes. Although I liked Zhang Wanwan very much, I heard that the man in her group is a relative of someone with connections, so I decided to vote for another group. I am a Wanwan fan, and I voted for other groups as well. I am not targeting Xin Feng. I just think Lion YU Entertainment is too disgusting, using our Wanwan as a tool to promote others. Although some of Zhang Wanwan's fans also voted for Zhang Wanwan. However, under the influence of those paid haters who were trying to lead the trend with ulterior motives, some of Zhang Wanwan's fans began to be led astray. Under the confusion of Koroko, they also voted for other groups in a daze. Zhang Wanwan and the others were unaware of this. At this time, Zhang Wanwan was receiving the task card from the director. A dating variety show is, after all, a variety show. It's impossible to just film the daily lives of the male and female guests all day long. In order to achieve the best show effect, each group of guests still needs to be assigned tasks. After Zhang Wanwan received the task card, her expression became a little strange. Common ask, check in at 3 specialty snack shops in the tourist town and taste the special food. You will receive a bonus subsidy after completing it. Secret mission, tell your partner 3 jokes and make them laugh. You will receive a bonus if you complete the task. Zhang Wanwan asked doubtfully. What does this secret mission mean? Feng Zi, is there any secret mission on your mission card? Let me see. As she said that, Zhang Wanwan was about to snatch Xin Feng's task card. Director Chen quickly stopped her. Secret missions are our special mechanism. Each of you has a secret mission, but you must not let your partner know. Otherwise, even if you complete it, you will not get any bonus. Zhang Wanwan said, oh, but her eyes were still glancing at Xin Feng. At this time, in the live broadcast room, the director has already put everyone's secret mission on the screen. After seeing Xin Feng's secret mission, the audience was speechless. Does this director have a personal grudge against Xin Feng? They sent this kind of task on purpose. The program team is really good at having fun. There is also such a task. But would Wanwan, who is so gentle, really undertake such a task? On the screen, Xin Feng's secret mission was ranked first. Secret mission, let your partner beat you up. When Xin Feng saw this secret mission, he was speechless. Finally he raised his hand to the director and said, Director, can we change the task? Director Chen shook his head seriously. No, if you think it's too difficult, you can choose to give up. But you can't change it. Xin Feng raised his hand again and asked, does it count now that we've finished the math? Director Chen nodded. Then Xin Feng looked at Zhang Wanwan and said softly, I'm going to tell you a ghost story. Do you want to listen? Zhang Wanwan's eyes suddenly widened. He punched Shen Feng and said, "What the hell are you talking about? If this is your mission, give up immediately." As she said that, she punched Shen Feng twice in succession. Shen Feng spread his hands towards Director Chen. "It's done." Director Chen. Audience. Oh my god, so fast. Why do I feel like Shen Feng knows Zhang Wanwan so well? They seem to be very familiar with each other. Are they really just colleagues? Yeah, it's so natural for the people. When Zhang Wanwan hit Shen Feng, it was like my girlfriend hitting me. Wake up, you don't have a girlfriend. Director Chen didn't expect that Shen Feng could complete the task so quickly. After being shocked for a moment, he coughed lightly and said, "Then, I declare Shen Feng's secret mission completed, and I will give you the bonus later." Zhang Wanwan is still in a daze at this moment. She had no idea how Shen Feng completed his secret mission. Zhang Wanwan finally understood after snatching the task card from Shen Feng. It turned out that Shen Feng's intention to tell a ghost story just now was to deliberately provoke her. Zhang Wanwan suddenly raised her hand as well. Director Chen took one look and asked hurriedly, "Why, do you want to complete the task now too?" Director Chen's little darling is actually a little bit in pain. He intended to use these secret missions for show effects. As a result, the secret mission was completed before the show officially started. Isn't this just a waste of his efforts? That's not the case. Zhang Wanwan said. Director Chen breathed a sigh of relief. "So what do you want to ask?" Zhang Wanwan held up Shen Feng's task card and asked, "I want to ask if this task can be completed repeatedly, so that I can beat him up a few more times. Also, is there any extra reward for severely injuring someone?" Director Chen's face darkened. "What are you thinking? This is a dating variety show, not a fighting variety show. If you're seriously injured, our production team won't even pay for your medical expenses. We're very poor. Zhang Wanwan, you have to make me laugh to death, so that you can inherit my Huobi bill. We are very poor," justified JPG. "Whoever said Zhang Wanwan was gentle before? Come out and let Zhang Wanwan give you a beating." After sending Zhang Wanwan away, Director Chen finally gave money to the 4 groups of guests present. The other 3 groups of guests each had only 20 yuan. The Penghu Bei combination of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan has $25, of which $5 is Shen Feng's bonus. Several people were dumbfounded when they saw it. "Director, 20 yuan is not enough to buy 2 bottles of water, let alone check in at the snack bar. It's not enough to spend." The internet celebrity Xiaotian Shu complained. The main feature of this kind of tourist town is the high prices. A bottle of mineral water can be sold at a high price of 5 or 6 yuan here. Director Chen chuckled. Otherwise, why is it called a survival love variety show? There must be challenges how to complete this task. You have to figure it out on your own. Also, I'm telling you, starting tomorrow, you can only receive 5 yuan in basic living allowance from me. Only if you complete the task and receive the reward today. You can get more money tomorrow. Okay, now all the rules have been introduced. Good luck to everyone. After saying that, Director Chen slipped away. The remaining groups of guests stared at each other in amazement. I now understand what this survival variety show is about. It is indeed quite difficult. It turns out that this program group is really poor. This mechanism is quite interesting. I'm going to ask my friends to watch it. At this time, the number of people in the live broadcast room has increased from less than 20,000 at the beginning to 30,000. Everyone has seen general variety shows. And we have also seen quite a few dating variety shows. But for many viewers, this is the first time they have seen such a special dating variety show. Many people found it interesting and shared the live broadcast room with their friends, thus attracting a group of new viewers. While the audience were discussing the format of the show, the 4 groups of guests had already left the BB. Each of them began to look for their mission targets. The task of Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng's group is to check in at 3 special attractions in the tourist town. However, their first destination was not a tourist attraction. Instead, we went to a restaurant. There is no other reason, just because the program crew in the morning. No. According to the director, from today on, the guests will have to pay for their own daily meals. So Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng are still hungry now. Shen Feng was fine, but Zhang Wanwan couldn't stand it. She felt that if she didn't eat anything, she would eat people. The most famous food in Changhan is probably Arujiamo. So the 2 of them found the Arujiamo restaurant in the small town. I wanted to order a steamed bun for each of us, but I found that in this tourist town, Arujiamo costs 15 yuan. They only have $25 in total. In the end, the 2 of them had to walk out of the restaurant hungry again. Standing on the side of the road, Zhang Wanwan let out a long sigh. If I had known today would be so miserable, I should have eaten to death last night. My Arujiamo, I'm so hungry, I want to eat it so much. After hearing Zhang Wanwan's long sigh, Shen Feng suddenly said, "Wait here for a moment, don't wander around." After saying that, he walked back to the hotel. The cameraman hesitated for a moment, and finally did not follow in, choosing to continue filming Zhang Wanwan. The cameraman felt that Zhang Wanwan was very popular, so there should be more people who wanted to see Zhang Wanwan. As a result, after a few minutes, Shen Feng came out again. There was also a Arugiyamo in his hand. Shen Cheng walked back to Zhang Wanwan and handed the Arugiyamo to her. "Eat it." Zhang Wanwan was stunned. You bought it? Don't worry, I definitely didn't steal it, otherwise I would have dragged you away long ago. Shen Feng smiled. Zhang Wanwan looked at the Arugiyamo and swallowed. Finally he said a grieved lie. "Can I return it? I'd better not eat it. It only cost them $25, and everything in this tourist town is ridiculously expensive. Even if you wanna buy instant noodles, 25 yuan may not be enough. If we buy her a Arugiyamo now, won't they all go hungry later? You can't return food, eat it, don't worry, you'll have enough money to spend later." Zhang Wanwan knew that this thing could not be returned, so she could only take the cake and eat it. At this time, a barrage of comments that were watching their live broadcast was a bit out of control. The live broadcast adopts the form of one main live broadcast room, and for sub-live broadcast rooms, the director is responsible for switching screens in the main live broadcast room, showing several groups of guests in turn. The sub-live broadcast rooms each broadcast the situations of 4 groups of guests. In the Penghu Bay live broadcast room of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, the black fans hired by the rivals of Lan Yu Entertainment immediately seized the opportunity and took the opportunity to target Shen Feng. Isn't this a really lavish way of spending money? It's only $25 in total, and you've already spent 15. I don't know how you're going to eat the remaining 2 meals. You are really a person with connections, young master, the kind who doesn't know the sufferings of the world. You have no concept of money at all. Led by these professional internet trolls, some ordinary viewers also began to criticize Shen Feng, a pure passerby. But isn't Shen Feng a little too stupid? Do you plan to go hungry at noon and at night? It's so miserable for Wanwan to be in the same group with him. I feel sorry for Wanwan. Not to mention the audience. Even director Chen frowned. Spending so much money at once. It seems that Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's group will suffer in the next half day. Zhang Wanwan ate a few bites of Arugiyama with tears in her eyes. Suddenly remembering that Shen Feng hadn't eaten yet, he handed the remaining half of the Arugiyama to Shen Feng. "Would you like to have a couple of bites?" "No, I'm not hungry yet." Shen Cheng said this and pointed at the camera that was filming. "By the way, Wanwan, while you were eating, you said to the camera, 'Lao Yang's Arugiyama, authentic and delicious.'" Zhang Wanwan, why are you talking about this? Shen Feng shrugged. "I just talked to the owner of the store. I said you are a star and you are doing a live broadcast. I told the boss that if he could give us to Arugiyama for free, we would help promote his store." Zhang Wanwan, holding a cake in her mouth, looked stunned. "So, this is free?" "Not entirely," Shen Feng said. "I told my boss that if he didn't believe me, he could watch the late broadcast. But then my boss found out that his computer was broken. He didn't know how to fix it, so I simply fixed it for him. This Arugiyama is my reward for fixing the computer. The boss should be watching the live broadcast on his computer right now. If you promote it for him, he might give us another one if he's happy." Shen Feng had just finished speaking. In the Arugiyama shop at the back, the boss came out carrying 2 cups of soy milk, 2 tea eggs and 2 Arugiyama. He handed the thing to Shen Feng with a smile. He even made a yeah gesture to the camera and said, "Lao Yang's Arugiyama is authentic and delicious. Everyone is welcome to come and try it." After saying that, the boss went back. Zhang Wanwan was left holding the cake in her mouth, looking disheveled in the wind. It's a pity that she felt so distressed when she ate this cake before. "I didn't expect this cake to be free?" Were her tears shed in vain? What about those people who were just mentioned as spending money lavishly? Even if they didn't spend a penny, they are still considered lavish? Fuck, is this considered cheating? Can I get it for free? It seems that the rules don't say that you can't get it for free. Right? And wasn't the money Zhang Wanwan turned by Shen Feng from repairing computers? A science and engineering guy, he can even repair computers. Shen Feng is quite capable. Nowadays, everyone knows how to repair computers. He didn't stay in there for too long, so it's probably not a serious problem. He got away with it. The commentators also didn't expect that Shen Feng could get a few Arugiyama for free without spending a penny. Those people who had previously scolded Shen Feng for spending money lavishly now felt a little embarrassed. Each of them is still a bit stubborn. But soon, they stopped being stubborn, starting to feel greedy. Knowing that Arugiyama was free, Zhang Wanwan tasted it much more deliciously this time. After finishing the half in his hand in a few bites, he took another one from Shen Feng's hand and started to eat it happily. The audience in the live broadcast room were immediately envious. Wanwan's food smells so good, I want to eat a Rujiamochu. I've already placed the order. I'm going to eat this for breakfast. Wanwan should change her career to become a food broadcaster. It will definitely be more popular than being a celebrity. Are you implying that my Wanwan wouldn't be popular if she became a star? Some people even went to other live broadcast rooms for a look. Brothers, I just went to the next door to take a look. Among the remaining 3 groups, some were eating instant noodles, some were chewing biscuits, and one group was planning to skip breakfast. Only Zhang Wanwan's group was having the most comfortable time. Zhao Jia fans from next door, I heard someone is eating a Rujiamo here. Damn, it's true. By the way, it also attracted a lot of viewers from other live broadcast rooms. At this moment, the unpleasant duo, Jiet Nan and Li Dingting, happened to pass by Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. They were the group that planned to skip breakfast. Seeing Zhang Wanwan chewing the Arujiamo so deliciously, Jiet Nan also became greedy. He rubbed his hands, pulled Li Dingting forward, looked at Shen Feng with a smile and said, "Brother Shen, are you eating?" Shen Feng actually didn't eat it. He was not hungry now and planned to save the food for later. But he still nodded and said, "I'm eating. Why, have you finished eating?" "Eat, I'm done," Jiet Nam said. Then his stomach started to growl. The expression on his face immediately became much more awkward. Scratching his head, Jiet Nan said, Brother Shen, how much did you pay for this Arujiamo?" He didn't know that Shen Feng got this Arujiamo for free. When I saw Shen Feng carrying Arujiamo, eggs and soy milk, I thought these things should be quite cheap, 15 each. As a result, when Shen Feng made the offer, Jiet Nan was dumbfounded. So expensive. If you don't believe me, you can go in and see for yourself. After Shen Feng finished speaking, he suddenly felt something in his heart. He raised the soy milk and Arujiamo in his hand and said, "Since you call me Brother Shen, if you wanna eat, I can sell it to you at a low price. Arujiamo is 4 yuan. Soy milk is 3 yuan, and an egg is 1 yuan. You can't even buy a steamed bun at this price in the store." Li Dingting and Jiet Nan looked at each other. To be honest, both of them were a little moved. They had investigated before and found that a box of instant noodles and a bottle of mineral water here cost 9 yuan in total. A bag of cookies also cost $7. Arujiamo, a cup of soy milk, and egg only cost 8 yuan in total, which is actually very worthwhile in comparison. Besides, they are really greedy now and can't stand it anymore. Zhang Wanwan, it's fine if she just eats, but why does she keep smacking her lips? Isn't this tempting? Finally, Jiet Nan made up his mind and bid $8. Shen Feng handed the things to Jiet Nan with a smile. Just as Jiet Nan was about to leave, Shen Feng suddenly said, "You've already bought the soy milk, don't you want a straw? Come on, 1 for $1. Only then did Jiet Nan realize that Shen Feng was holding the straws in his hand. But there was not a single straw in his soy milk. Then have a straw." Jiet Nan handed over another $1. "It's not appropriate for you, a man and a woman, to use only one straw. Would you like another one?" Shen Feng took the money and said. Jiet Nam began to hesitate. Zhang Wanwan suddenly swallowed the Arujiamo in her mouth and advised, "It's just $1 more if Ting Ting's fans see you and Ting Ting using the same straw. You'll probably be beaten to death." Jiet Nam gritted his teeth and slapped out another piece. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's assets suddenly increased to 35 yuan. Jiet Nan suddenly looked at the other cup of soy milk in Shen Feng's hand. Confused, he asked, "Then how do you drink without a straw?" Shen Feng silently ran back to the Arujiamo shop. Soon, he came out with several straws. "This thing is free. Can't I just ask the boss for 2 more? By the way, you asked for 2 or do you still want them? I'll sell them to you for 50 cents each this time." Jiet Nam, damn, that was sloppy. Too careless. I feel sorry for my silly little Jia, I am dying of laughter. I originally thought that Shen Feng was a rich young master, but I didn't expect that he was actually a profiteer. Zhang Wanwan also cooperated with Shen Feng to deceive people together. Are they a fraudster couple? This is really interesting. I kind of want to vote for them. In the live broadcast room, many people laughed out loud when they saw that Jiet Nan was fooled by Shen Feng. The votes for the unpleasant group led by Jiet Nan and Li Dingting, and the Penghu Bei group led by Shen Feng Zhang Wanwan, also increased significantly. However, the group of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan still has not won the first place in the number of votes. After all, those professional water armies who have received money are still quite effective. It was difficult for Jiet Nam, who had been cheated, to collect the debt. So he could only be the scapegoat. After refusing the 2 straws that Shen Feng was trying to sell him, he ran away quietly and shared the breakfast with Li Dingting. Chen Feng ate the remaining egg and drank some soy milk. After Zhang Wanwan finished eating, he asked, "Are you full?" Zhang Wanwan patted her belly and nodded with satisfaction. "I'm full, let's go find some tourist spots to check in." The two lead the cameraman and headed straight for their first target. As target location had already been discussed when Chen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were having dinner. That is a love museum in a tourist town. Since the two of them had lived in the town for 2 days, they knew some information about the love museum. This love museum is a well-known check-in spot for internet celebrities in the town. Many internet celebrities come here not for tourism, but just to take a few photos in this museum. The reason why Zhang Wanwan and Chen Feng chose this place was not to cater to the theme of the dating variety show. The biggest reason is, here, it's free. This love museum offers challenging tasks to visiting couples every day. If you can complete it, you will get free entry. In order to save money, this is obviously one of the most suitable attractions for them to check in. When the two walked to the love museum, they found that there were already several cameras set up there. When I got closer to take a look, I saw another star duo besides Jiat Nan and Li Dingting, a mighty duo of Shang Wei and Meng An, standing at the entrance of the love museum. Someone actually got there first. Zhang Wanwan quickly pulled Chen Feng over. Shang Wei and Meng An's group had obviously just arrived not long ago, and they were both inquiring about the free spots at the love museum. Zhang Wanwan and Chen Feng ran over and heard the museum staff say, "There is only one group of free spots today. You need to complete the tacit word guessing challenge. Only after you meet the requirements can you get a free spot." One person gestures and the other person guesses the words. If you can guess N correctly within 2 minutes, you'll pass the test. Zhang Wanwan quickly raised her hand and asked, "Can we participate in this too?" The staff member apologized and said, "These two came first. You'll have to wait for them to join. If they fail, you can continue." Zhang Wanwan's face fell. Shang Wei and Meng An quickly started the word guessing challenge. Shang Wei was responsible for comparing, and Meng An was responsible for guessing. The director also cut the camera from the main live broadcast room to this side. Wami CP teamed up to guess the word. Isn't that a crushing victory? Shang Wei and Meng An are not only from the same company, but have also worked together on several dramas. They seem to be good friends in private. So this kind of challenge is definitely not difficult for them. Or Wanwan, it seems she won't be able to wait for the next free spot. What is Zhang Wanwan doing? Why is she squatting? Some sharp-eyed people noticed that in the corner of the camera, Zhang Wanwan was squatting on the ground, doing something unknown. Seeing that the challenge here was still in the preparation stage, the director temporarily cut the camera to Zhang Wanwan. I noticed that Zhang Wanwan seemed to be drawing something on the ground. The audience was puzzled. Director Chen was also confused. Seeing that some viewers asked Zhang Wanwan what she was doing in the barrage, Director Chen quickly asked Zhang Wanwan through the headset, "Zhang Wanwan, what are you doing?" Zhang Wanwan raised her head and looked at the camera that was staring at her. Suddenly he said, "Can you give me a code when you broadcast it later? Promise me and I will tell you what I am doing." Sure. Director Chen quickly agreed to her request. "I'm drawing circles and cursing Shang Wei and Meng An." Director Chen, are you an elementary school student? Zhang Sansui, right? I'll draw a circle and curse you. Zhang Wanwan is so cute. What should I do if I have to do a live broadcast after the code is coded? My baby, are you a little stupid? Amid Zhang Wanwan's curse, Shang Wei and Meng An's word guessing challenge began. Although neither of them is a very popular star, they are indeed old partners who have worked with each other many times. There were even quite a few marketing accounts that suggested that the two might actually be together. Under this premise, everyone felt that such a word guessing challenge would not be difficult for them. But soon, the audience no longer thought so. The words given by the Love Museum are not difficult, but Shang Wei and Meng An guessed several times in succession, but none of them were correct. It was like a simple stealing a sheep. Shang Wei gestured for a long time, but Meng An could only guess one sheep. The anxious audience kept sending comments. Why can't I guess such a simple word? The randomness just now is also very simple. It feels like the two people's brain circuits are not on the same level. Didn't they say this couple has a good chemistry? That's it? It seemed like Shang Wei was getting anxious. He frowned and started stamping his feet. Isn't it just a game? Is it necessary? After failing to guess several words in a row, Shang Wei's expression did not look very good. These words seemed very simple to him. But Meng An always guessed in the wrong direction. It's like having no brains. Finally, Shang Wei simply raised his hand and said, "You want to swap? Let me guess." He couldn't understand how it was possible that he couldn't guess such a simple word. Then Shang Wei, who was standing at the word guessing position, was also dumbfounded. Because he found that guessing words and gesturing are two completely different things. When he was in the position of guessing the word, all the information could only be obtained from Meng'an's body movements. For some actions, the audience in Meng'an, who can see the words, and understand what they mean. But Sheng Wei had no idea. He could only make blind guesses without any basis. The words guessed and the ones Meng'an gestured were both in a very different style. As a result, his results were not much better than Meng'an's. Soon, 2 minutes passed. The group of Sheng Wei and Meng'an only guessed 6 words correctly. It was far from the goal of 10 words and the challenge failed. Sheng Wei and Meng'an's expressions didn't look very good at the moment. The two of them didn't speak to each other and walked aside silently. Are you giving me a cold shoulder now? Is it that serious? I read gossip before. Didn't it say that they had a very good relationship? How could they fall out so easily? Could those gossips be hype? Sheng Wei had previously blamed Meng'an for not guessing correctly. But it turned out that his guesses weren't much better. I feel like my boyfriend and I would have guessed more correctly than them. I was originally planning to vote for this couple. But now I think I'll give up. Hurry up and change the person. I want to watch one guess the word. In the barrage. Some people were criticizing Sheng Wei and Meng'an. Some people have already started to urge them, wanting to see how Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng perform. As a result, the internet trolls and black fans started to show up again. They will not miss any opportunity to improve their performance. Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng, I'm afraid none of them can guess what they are like. What kind of tacit understanding can they have? That's right. The company forced the CP together for hype. Forget about the tacit understanding. It's good enough if there's no hatred between the two of them. Some passers-by see more clearly. But I saw that Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng got along quite well before. Shen Feng doted on Zhang Wanwan too when he heard that Zhang Wanwan wanted to eat a Rujiamo. He went to get several for free. But someone immediately responded. No one really takes what they see on variety shows seriously. Right? No one thinks Wanwan is interested in someone with connections like Shen Feng. Right? I laughed. Of course, Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng didn't know this. Seeing Sheng Wei and Meng'an fail, Zhang Wanwan excitedly clapped her hands with Shen Feng. The curse was successful. Shen Feng patted her head. Keep your voice down. I'm not censoring you now until you let others hear you. Zhang Wanwan nodded quickly. The little interaction between the two made many passers-by want to post comments. But when they saw that the internet trolls were still slandering Shen Feng, the passers-by held back again. Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng walked up to the staff of the Love Museum and applied for a word-guessing challenge. Many viewers came to watch the show for fun and brought their friends along to watch it. They wanted to see how well Zhang Wanwan and the newly debuted Shen Feng could do in the word-guessing challenge that even Sheng Wei and Meng'an couldn't complete. As the number of viewers and popularity in the late broadcast room continued to rise, Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng's word-guessing challenge officially began. Shen Feng was responsible for the gestures. Zhang Wanwan is responsible for guessing. After both of them indicated that they were ready, the staff showed the question board. Question 1. Beautiful as a fairy. Shen Feng pointed at Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan was stunned. And he immediately said, she is so beautiful that she can make fishes sink to the bottom of water. Geese drop to the ground, the moon hide in shame, and flowers shame the whole country. She has a beauty that is unparalleled, as beautiful as a lotus emerging from the water. And her beauty is so beautiful that it can be eaten with a feast to the eyes. That's right. Shen Cheng clapped his hands. Next question. Question 2. Beautiful as a fairy. Shen Feng pointed at Zhang Wanwan again. Zhang Wanwan immediately added, she is so beautiful that she can make fishes sink to the bottom of their geese drop to the ground, and the moon hide in the distance. Right? Next question. Staff. Director Chen. Audience. What is this gameplay? No, wait a minute, isn't this too fast? Guess 2 in less than 5 seconds. Is it a human? Is this really a test of their tacit understanding? Isn't this a test of how narcissistic Zhang Wanwan is? I'm curious about how many words she memorized to describe herself. Did the production team give away the topic in advance? Some comments have begun to question the fairness of the program team. The internet trolls and haters, who were also shocked by the speed at which the two guessed the words, now came to their senses. I quickly picked up their keyboards and started setting the rhythm. I think this is a giveaway. Is there a script? It must be La and YU Entertainment that paid the money to promote the CP of Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng. After seeing the barrage, Director Chen felt that he was extremely wronged. He really didn't take La and YU's money, and he really didn't reveal the answer, although he had found this staff member in advance. The questions were also set by the program team. But he never told anyone. Moreover, among the large number of adjectives that Zhang Wanwan just memorized, few were in the question bank. It was just a coincidence. Thinking of this, Director Chen quickly contacted the staff outside the venue. Tell the staff not to take any questions related to appearance anymore. And the next question, as expected, was not related to appearance. Question 3. Sit back and wait. I guess I won't guess it in seconds this time. Right? If you guess again in seconds, I will really suspect that the program team has revealed the topic. The commentator thinks that this question is still a bit difficult. Even director Chen thinks so. If Zhang Wanwan could guess it in seconds this time, he would start to suspect that there was a traitor among his men. Then Shen Feng pointed at his hand first. He pointed at Zhang Wanwan again. Zhang Wanwan immediately said, "Just sit back and wait." Director Chen. Audience. Damn, I told you that the question was revealed. How else can I explain this? Director Chen was also very angry and immediately wanted to check if he had any undercover agents under his command. But a barrage of comments suddenly popped up, leaving Director Chen and other irritable audience members stunned. Shen Feng first pointed at his own hand, then at Zhang Wanwan. And, pig. Any normal person would be able to guess that it was a case of waiting for the rabbit to come to them. Right? It's just a guess, not necessarily correct. The barrage was silent for a moment. I understand the truth. But why do you say Zhang Wanwan pig? Isn't it the scariest thing that Zhang Wanwan guessed it in just 1 second? She even admitted that she was a pig? Although I think this explanation makes sense, I still think they are guessing too quickly. At this time, the staff had already turned to the next question. Question 4. Childhood sweethearts. Shen Feng pointed at Zhang Wanwan, then pointed at himself. This time, Zhang Wanwan finally didn't guess immediately. She thought about it and suddenly said, "Are husband and wife of the same mind?" Seeing Shen Feng shaking his head, Zhang Wanwan started to guess again. Then love each other, respect each other like guests, treat each other as equals, husband and wife follow each other. None of them are right. Is it the love between brothers? Sworn brotherhood, or the love between father and son? Father and son fighting together in battle? Wait, husband and wife, brothers? Why are even father and son coming out? Is their relationship a bit too confusing? After a few seconds, Zhang Wanwan finally reacted, "Childhood sweethearts." Only then did Shen Feng nod. "No, let's not talk about those weird things about husband and wife. Brothers, father and son, why are Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng childhood sweethearts? Aren't they just colleagues?" Some viewers were confused. Isn't it because the company forced him to leave? It's possible after all, he's the gigolo that Lai is boss paid for. Some trolls took the opportunity to stir up trouble. Hey, I know Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, we were classmates in elementary school. They grew up together. If you don't know the truth, can you please stop slandering them? I don't believe you. I even said I'm Zhang Wanwan's father. It really doesn't cost anything to spread rumors. At this time, Zhang Hai City. Zhang Zhe, who was watching the live broadcast, frowned when he saw this comment. He reached out and typed the next line. "I am her father. Who the hell are you?" Then, "You have been banned by the room manager." Looking at the prompt on the screen, Zhang Zhe slammed the table in anger. Question 5. There is a lot of traffic. Shen Feng finally stopped pointing fingers at him or Zhang Wanwan when asked this question. Shen Cheng first made a driving gesture. He made another table tennis gesture. Zhang Wanwan followed suit and gestured. Then he guessed. "It's very busy." Right? Next one. Team Dragon is offended. Shen Feng's gesticulation is so good that one can guess the answer without even revealing the question. If the topic wasn't revealed, they have a good understanding of each other. If it were me, I would probably have to think about it for a long time. Maybe you're not smart enough. Question 6. Heaven and earth will punish you. Before Shen Feng started to gesture, the barrage of comments began. Blind guess. Shen Feng pointed to the sky first, then to Zhang Wanwan. One. Sure enough, Shen Feng pointed to the sky and then pointed at Zhang Wanwan. Heaven and earth will destroy you. Zhang Wanwan said immediately. Oh no, I really figured out their pattern. I feel like they may not have revealed the questions in advance. I understand the reason, but the question is still the same. Why is Zhang Wanwan a pig? 1. How can you admit that you are a pig? Can't you just struggle a little? Next, question 7. Question 8, question 9. The progress of Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng's group was so fast that it made everyone in the program crew feel their scalps tingling. Shen Feng's gestures were precise and concise, and Zhang Wanwan understood faster. For some of Shen Feng's gestures, the audience may not be able to connect them with the words to be guessed at first. For example, question 10. Know when to stop. The audience felt that this word was extremely difficult to guess. But Shen Feng only did 2 actions. First, both arms were raised in the same direction, and the head tilted to the side. A standard SKR movement. Then he gestured to stop. The audience was stunned. But Zhang Wanwan grumbled for a while, then shouted, "Stop it, enough is enough." Right? Next question. Damn, this is amazing. One is really good at gesturing. The other is really brave enough to guess. To be honest, My brother and I, who have lived with me for more than 10 years, may not have this kind of tacit understanding in understanding. Could these two really be childhood sweethearts? I've always thought they were very familiar with each other. Don't talk nonsense, let me clarify. My childhood sweetheart and I don't have this kind of tacit understanding at all. Soon, half of the 2 minutes had passed. Chen Feng and Zhang Wanwan had guessed 13 questions within 1 minute. Logically, they could have ended it. And Zhang Wanwan was having a lot of fun. She even raised her hand, wanting to switch sides with Shen Feng so that she could do the demonstration. The staff quickly contacted the director for help. The question bank he prepared only had more than 30 questions in total. Zhang Wei and Meng Yan had a round of guessing before, and the total number of guesses they made, including those they skipped, was more than a dozen. A remaining few questions were basically related to appearance, but the director didn't allow us to talk about them. His question bank has run out of questions. Director Chen could only pick up the intercom, coughed lightly and said,